became tense. Xiao Yang turned his head away and whispered, "How about we give it a try?" Chapter 190 For my own life. Xiao Yang withdrew his gaze and his ears turned red. This was not because of blushing, but was caused by Zhang Yan's ruthless hands. On the other side, Zhang Yan couldn't help but blush. What can that little bit of fabric block? No matter how interesting it is. It can't be this interesting. That woman is so annoying. She actually sent this kind of photo to Xiao Yang. Zhang Yan couldn't help but recall the scene of herself wearing those clothes. And she suddenly felt a chill in her heart. This is so shameful. Although he has a cheerful personality, he is quite shy on the other hand. Even when she had sex with Xiao Yang that day, she basically did everything according to Xiao Yang's ideas. What old monk, old tree, Guanyan. I totally don't understand why people are allowed to wear that kind of thing. Xiao Yang chuckled and cleared the private message in front of Zhang Yan. Zhang Yan finally felt relieved and murmured, "Watch less of this kind of stuff in the future. Lin Q and I are not enough." Enough. Xiao Yang quickly stopped talking. If it was Lin Q, maybe. Xiao Yang's mind suddenly flashed with some unhealthy images. It was true after all, she was willing to use. Xiao Yang then got to the point and said slowly, "By the way, Shai Chao, don't you have to go to school?" "Oh, ahead." Zhang Yan replied. "Zhang Yiming asked for a long vacation from school in order to get me to marry into the Fang family. If I want to go back, I can go back anytime," Zhang Yan said. To be honest, she still misses her school days, but now it's good that she and Xiao Yang are in love with each other. Xiao Yang let out a long sigh and said slowly, "Actually, I know why you indulged me to chase Lin Q." Zhang Yan was stunned for a moment. She didn't expect Xiao Yang to change the topic to this. After this period of treatment, although Xiao Yang still felt some pain, his arm had recovered a lot and the plaster had been removed. He would be basically healed after resting for a period of time. He put his arm around Zhang Yan, who leaned on his shoulder, blinking her beautiful eyes slightly, as if thinking about something. "Do you regret leaving the Zhang family?" Zhang Yan shook her head without any hesitation. Xiao Yang smiled and said, "Actually, you have your own life too. I know you want to stay with me all the time, because you feel that without the Zhang family and your family, I am your only relative, right?" Zhang Yan glanced at Xiao Yang and said nothing. "But you have your own life after all. I don't want you to have only me in your boring world. I know you like to play, make noises, draw, make friends, climb mountains, sing, fish, play ball." Xiao Yang let out a long sigh and looked at Zhang Yan with love. The latter was stunned for a moment, feeling a little surprised. Xiao Yang rubbed her head and said with a smile, "Speaking of which, the days with you are indeed very happy, but I don't want you to give up your once colorful life because of me. You're also the vice president of the tennis club, right?" Zhang Yan looked at Xiao Yang in surprise. She didn't expect that this man knew her so well. "Actually, I'm really happy that you've been with me all this time, but I also feel that you're not as lively and cheerful as before. You accompany me every day, watching boring TV series, and living like you are 40 years old at the age of 20. Maybe the Zhang family has dealt a heavy blow to you, but I still hope that you can be as energetic, charming, and free and easy as before, like Zhang Yan. Go back sometime. You have a tennis match next month, right? As a key player in the tennis team, you can't be absent," Xiao Yang said with a smile. At this moment, Zhang Yan's eyes were already covered with mist. "Xiao Yang. Okay, don't cry." Zhang Yan sobbed and just buried her head in Xiao Yang's arms. She always felt that Xiao Yang had given so much for her, so she should support him and stay by his side forever. She didn't know what Xiao Yang needed, but she tried her best to help him and take care of him. But there is always something missing in this life. After Xiao Yang said this, Zhang Yan finally realized what she was missing. It's a passion for life. The Zhang family's affairs were such a huge blow to her. Although she was very happy when she was with Xiao Yang, she felt a little depressed. Just as Xiao Yang said, she was 20 years old but lived like she was 40. Buying groceries, cooking, doing housework and watching soap operas every day. Everything is repetitive and boring housework. She devoted almost her whole heart to the family she built with Xiao Yang. A past life has long been covered in dust and fallen into memory. Okay, I will be discharged from the hospital in the next 2 days. And you can go back to school and return to your own life. What about you? Zhang Yan raised her head and looked at Xiao Yang with tears in her eyes. As for me, I still have a lot of things to do. Xiao Yang let out a long sigh, rubbed Zhang Yan's nose, and said slowly, "I acquired a company earlier. And I also have some land. I guess I'll be quite busy." Zhang Yan lowered her head and smiled. She was now filled with emotion. During this period of time, she has been with Xiao Yang. So she naturally knows that Xiao Yang is covered in injuries and is not in good condition. But even so, he was concerned about himself and wanted to return to a normal life. He even knows about next month's tennis match. What else could this be but love? Are you planning to trick me back to school so you can flirt with other girls? How is that possible? Xiao Yang looked righteous. Can you please have some confidence in me? I have seen the world after all. Do you think any random woman can catch my? Zhang Yan immediately burst into laughter and raised her face and asked. What about Lin Q? That was an unexpected situation. Such accidents don't happen every day, right? What the hell? Zhang Yan pouted and poked Xiao Yang's forehead. I don't care anyway. No matter how busy you are, you have to go home at night. Don't worry, I will go home on time to punch in and hand in my rations. When Zhang Yan heard the word, delivery of grain, she immediately lowered her head and her face turned red. Xiao Yan chuckled and moved his little hand. A pair of restless little hands gradually slid down the collar. Then can you promise me something? Xiao Yang suddenly asked. What's the matter? Zhang Yan was breathing rapidly and her face was flushed. But Xiao Yang is a patient, so he can only endure it for a while. It's the clothes just now. Get lost. Zhang Yan cursed and pulled Xiao Yang's hand away. How is that possible? It's so embarrassing to dress like that. That woman named Xiao Yuguang is so shameless that she even took pictures. Okay, then I won't wear it. Xiao Yang looked disappointed. What a pity with Zhang Yan's figure. If she puts it on, wouldn't it be? Xiao Yang let out a long sigh and felt his abdomen getting hot and his brain getting congested. Oh my god, that scene is so exciting. Chapter 195. What kind of woman can be so blind? After spending some time with Zhang Yan, Xiao Yang opened the private message in the background and started reading. Sure enough, I saw that Xin Xianran had already sent a private message and wrote down her WeChat account. Xiao Yang took a look and found that Shang Xian didn't broadcast live for long this time. It was as if she was waiting for him online specially. She went offline not long after. In the new house, Shang Xian, who sent the private message, was full of anxiety. On the one hand, I am looking forward to Mr. Yang adding me on WeChat soon. On the other hand, I feel a little uneasy. After all, no one on the internet knows what Lord Dragon King Yang is like. Beautiful or ugly, tall or short, fat or thin. What if it was a middle-aged greasy uncle? Or what should I do if he makes some excessive demands? In fact, Shang Xian has been a beauty in her class and school since she was a child. And there are countless people pursuing her. She is not a person who despises the poor and loves the rich. But Mr. Yang's generosity is really eye-catching. Besides, she has never shown her face in the Leaf broadcast room. So the other party should not be attracted by her looks. When Shang Xian first started live streaming while wearing a mask, it was because she wanted to use her talent to do so. Rather than being a bottle. She let out a long sigh. Half an hour, then an hour passed. She became increasingly uneasy. Why hasn't Mr. Yang added my WeChat yet? After all, Mr. Yang is such a rich man, he should be busy with work. So don't worry, Xiao Yi said from the side. I'm not in a hurry. Shang Xian said hypocritically. Then why are you staring at the WeChat page? I'm just refreshing my public account. Finally, a small red dot appeared. Shang Xian opened it quickly. 19 years old. China, Zhongdu. A few big words appeared in front of him. Shang Xian took a glance and a look of joy flashed across his face. If this information is true, then he is not an uncle. But maybe Prince Charming? She quickly agreed to Xiao Yang's friend request. Xin, right? I am famous. Hello, Mr. Yang. Shang Xian's fingers were shaking slightly as she tapped the phone screen. A handsome figure suddenly appeared in her mind and her heart beat rapidly. After thinking about it, Xiao Yang decided not to waste time and directly stated the purpose of his visit. I have a music company and I'm currently planning to sign some artists. I've been watching your live broadcast for a long time, and I feel that your voice and singing skills are all very good. Are you interested in joining our company and becoming a signed artist under me? Shang Xian took a look at the message and was stunned at first. And her face was filled with joy. Xiao Yi at the side was also surprised and asked. Music company? Yang is always in the music industry. No wonder he likes you so much and gave you so much money. It turns out he is attracted by your talent. I told you that you sing so well. You will definitely have a chance to be a singer. This company can't be FEI Huang Entertainment Company, as they are able to reward you with over 100 million yuan to help you build popularity. Xiao Yi guessed with her eyes wide open. FEI Huang Entertainment Company is the largest entertainment company in China, with countless resources and many first-line stars. According to the two's idea, this is the only company in the country that can be so generous. If you can enter FEI Huang, you will be very successful, Xiao Yi said enviously. Shang Xian was also very excited and quickly replied to agree to the contract. This was naturally within Xiao Yang's expectations. After all, they had given so much money as a reward. Any normal person would not be able to refuse. Let's do this for now. I'll contact you later then. Prepare your information so that we can sign the contract. Xiao Yang just said this in advance, of course, he is too busy now and can't call people to the hospital to sign the contract. As for letting the acquired music company manage this matter, it is really difficult for him to do so. Since acquiring the company, Xiao Yang has never been to a music company, and he has no idea what kind of talents the managers there are. If the contract is not good and people leave, wouldn't that ruin his mission? That would be a loss. He didn't mind the trouble and thought it wouldn't be too late to deal with these things after he was discharged from the hospital. The other side. Zhang Xian was also very excited after receiving Xiao Yang's reply. Her dream has always been to stand on the stage and sing her songs to every audience member. At this moment, she also felt that she was getting closer and closer to her dream. And all of this is inseparable from this man named Mr. Yang. By the way, take a look at Mr. Yang's circle of friends. Xiao Yi suddenly reminded. Zhang Xian also quickly opened Xiao Yang's circle of friends. I saw that the message at the top happened almost a month ago. Congratulations on the opening of Xingyang Self-Service Food Store. Illustration, a group photo. Xingyang Self-Service Food Restaurant. Zhang Xian was stunned. Xiao Yi also reacted, and the two looked at each other. Isn't this the barbecue restaurant we went to the day before yesterday? Which store is in Kedah? Yes, look, the waitresses in this photo haven't changed. This lady. So, this Xingyang Self-Service Food Restaurant is opened by Mr. Yang? Very likely. The two of them were immediately filled with shock. And make so much money running a barbecue restaurant. That's more than 100 million in tips. This is too weird. Anyone who can give more than 100 million in tips must be worth more than 10 billion. When will self-service barbecue restaurants be able to make so much money? The two continued to watch with confusion. Look, this boy standing in the middle looks so familiar. It looks so familiar, I feel like I've seen it somewhere. The two looked at Xiao Yang in the center of the crowd and recalled this. But after a while, they all shook their heads. It looks familiar. But I have no memory of it at all. Continue scanning. Another circle of friends appeared in front of the two. Confession failed again. Comment. Call me Li Ji. Has Lao Shao finished his confession? Come quickly, I'll wait for you at the old place. 6 heavens of ice and fire. Lao Shao, hurry up, we've been waiting for you. Starry Sky Dream. This is the 88th time, hang in there, it will soon be the 100th time. Nan Shengyao, I've made a lot of money, please continue. I will always make sure that you fail in your confession. The two women looked at each other. Is this the circle of friends of Mr. Yang, the richest man on the Domino platform, Lord Dragon King? No matter how you look at it, this looks like the circle of friends of a classmate from the next class. And he's still a dog licker. I confessed my love 88 times and failed. This is too exaggerated. So Mr. Yang is still a student? And he is a student in Jiangdu after all. The Xingyang food restaurant in his circle of friends is near the university town. The two of them had their worldviews completely refreshed by Xiao Yang's circle of friends. It turns out that the super rich can be so low-key. Since they are still students and are of the same age. Will they be handsome? And Zhang Xian quickly looked through her circle of friends again. Let's go back to the photo of Xingyang Self-Service Food Store grand opening. The boy in the middle, could it be Mr. Yang? For a moment, Zhang Xian's heart was pounding. So handsome. Rich, handsome, generous, this is too perfect. Is it just that the confession failed? What kind of woman could be so blind? Chapter 196. Just this time. He won't come again. A week has passed since the incident in the hospital. And Lin Qiyu has returned to school. But he was in a bad mood. He was slumped on the edge of the bed, looking discouraged. Xiao Yang sent another message. Should I reply or not? Lin Qiyu was caught in a dilemma. During this period, Xiao Yang would call and send WeChat messages to himself almost every day. It was like going back to the time when I first confessed my love to you. Just like punching in at work, being punctual and diligent. She glanced at the WeChat chat background. The background is a scene of a boy holding fresh fruits in his hands. Who else could it be but Xiao Yang? I can't go back. And please don't message me anymore. Lin Qiyu silently typed a line on WeChat. But after a moment, it was deleted and not sent. I don't know when it started. But I can't live without him anymore. Lin Qiyu let out a long sigh. His mind full of Xiao Yang's figure. She bit her lip lightly and suddenly frowned. There was a sudden pain in the abdomen. Lin Qiyu took a breath. After taking a look at the date, I knew why. Relatives are coming. She quickly lay down, and she felt better, but the pain still lingered. The scene from a month ago reappeared in Lin Qiyu's mind. It was also my period, and I felt a little hungry, so I went out to buy food in a weak mood. He held herself all the way, not daring to be too hasty for fear of shaking herself, nor too slow for fear of hurting herself. He carried me back to the dormitory and let me sleep in his bed. When I woke up, warm red water was waiting for me. At dinner time. The dishes on the table had been waiting for a long time. The scenes of that day flashed through my mind. Lin Q's tears immediately rolled down from the corners of her eyes. Why is it still you? She couldn't help but glance out the window. But this time, he won't come again. At this time. Besides Lin Qiu, there were others with worried looks on their faces. That is the director of the teaching department of Zhengde University of Finance and Economics, Chen Yan. To be precise, he is just a teacher and his job is easy. So he shouldn't have such a sad face. But what happened in the past few days was really too unexpected. This story began a few days ago, when someone told me that a student from the University of Finance and Economics named Xiao Yang had offended the Fang family. So, he attached himself to the matter and, at the suggestion of the Fang family, expelled the student named Xiao Yang. Originally, students who fought outside the school were punished according to the circumstances. Moreover, in his opinion, such bad behavior should be punished severely. It's just expelling a student, and it can also be used as an opportunity to curry favor with the Fang family. But who would have known that in less than half a month, the situation would change so drastically? The dignified Fang family was transformed into something completely different overnight. In an instant, the building was on the verge of collapse. As a university teacher who has been in the profession for many years, he still has some connections. Soon I got some information. Apart from the heavy rain, the most talked about thing was the young man, Xiao Yang, who slapped the eldest son of the Fang family in the face at the auction dinner. This completely confused Chen Yan. Before deciding to punish the student, he also fully investigated the other party's background. These information have been filled out when the students enrolled. From family, elementary school to high school, there is no surprising resume background. Like most ordinary families, or even worse than some ordinary families, there is only one student like him, so just expel him. After all, Xiao Yang himself was involved in a fight outside the school, which violated school rules and regulations. But it's different now. Everything he found out seemed to be related to this student named Xiao Yang. What information, background? The descriptions are totally inconsistent with the facts. A child who grew up in a working-class family, just over 19 years old, could pay more than 3 billion yuan in cash on the spot. Is this what you call an ordinary person? These days, a hair on Chen Yan's head has become less and less. Although the Fang family was blessed by heaven, a person who could challenge the Fang family was not someone a university teacher like him could afford to offend. At this moment, a phone call came in quickly. Chen Yan glanced at the notes. He became excited and answered the call immediately. Headmaster, is that Director Chen from the Academic Affairs Office? It's me. I heard that you expelled a student named Xiao Yang a few days ago? Chen Yan's heart suddenly sank. How come even the principal knew about this? In fact, the president of the University of Finance and Economics was also feeling nervous at this moment. He didn't care about students being expelled, and the mastermind behind it was the Fang family. So what could possibly happen? But who knew that the Fang family would run into big problems? In addition, after the dinner was filmed that day, many people began to inquire about Xiao Yang's background. After going back and for the few times, I finally found out about him. Who would have thought that upon checking, it was discovered that a student with such a powerful background was actually expelled? For a moment, not to mention Chen Yan, even he, the principal, felt a chill down his spine and quickly called to inquire about the matter. Chen Yan quickly explained, I am the one who makes the decision on this matter. How come I didn't know about this? Expelling a student is a big deal, especially a student with excellent grades. Director Chen, how could you expel an outstanding student without reporting it to the higher authorities? You are using chicken feathers as a token of authority. Your ideological awareness needs to be improved. When the voice fell, Chen Yan couldn't help but sweat profusely. Yes. I'm already trying to find a way to contact Xiao Yang. This is a mistake I made at work. I don't care whether you made a mistake or not. No matter what you do or what method you use, you must invite him back to school. This is the school's fault. You must deal with it seriously. In addition, write a self-examination report and submit it. Our school committee has decided to issue some public sanctions for your unauthorized decision this time. Go and deal with this matter immediately. If you can't do it, pack up and get out. The principal hung up the phone as soon as he finished speaking. This time, Chen Yan was stunned for several seconds. Sure enough, this must be the power behind Xiao Yang coming into play. He couldn't help but slap himself and said, why do you care about such trivial matters when you have nothing to do? What to do? His brows were furrowed. He opened the campus forum and found that he had asked people to delete a lot of videos about Xiao Yang fighting outside the school. Now it was much quieter. But he really didn't know what to do. He couldn't even find Xiao Yang. What would happen if he found him? Soon, a pinned post caught his eye. 99 Confessions of the Wealthy and Love Crazy Xiao Yang. This immediately cheered him up and he quickly clicked on it. In fact, I have seen such confession posts everywhere before, but I never cared about them. But the two words, Xiaoyang, really made his head numb. There is no way. The more you look, the more Chen Yan's expression becomes. Wow, he really confessed 99 times, not once less. He is more diligent than punching in at work. In this way, and I find Xiaoyang through Lin Qiyu. Chen Yan was greatly encouraged, and immediately checked the department and class that Lin Qiyu was in. Chapter 197. Take it. Boom boom boom. There was a knock on the dormitory door. Who is it? Lin Qiyu climbed down from the bed with some difficulty, holding her stomach, and opened the door. I saw a long group of girls standing at the door for a long time, and I didn't know what they were holding in their hands. For some reason, Lin Qiyu just felt a familiar feeling. The next second, the mask was taken off. Ciao. Before he could finish his words, Xiaoyang rushed in and locked the door. With a long sigh, Xiaoyang put the things on the desk beside him. It's really hard to get into your dormitory. I talked to the dormitory manager for a long time, but she wouldn't let me in. There's nothing I can do. Xiaoyang shook her long skirt with a very strange expression. There is a saying that goes, when it comes to women's clothing, there will be a second time after the first time. The second time I dressed as a woman, I have to say, I was much more skilled and my sense of shame was much lessened. What's more, he had a mask, so Xiaoyang was not panicked at all. With thermal stockings, the problem of air leakage in the lower body is perfectly solved. Lin Qiyu looked at Xiaoyang, who was looking contented in front of her, and quickly turned her head away. Then he rubbed his eyes. If you keep thinking about it, there will be a response. How come you really came? Is your stomach aching again? Xiaoyang looked at Lin Qiyu, whose eyes were slightly red, and knew at a glance that she had just cried. For some girls during their menstrual period, the symptoms are more severe and they will experience more pain than others. Xiaoyang knew all this and thought it was caused by the pain. Xiaoyang rubbed the little girl's head out of habit. It's still a familiar touch. But in the next second, Lin Qiyu had already dodged. But a trace of reluctance immediately flashed across his eyes. She was like a proud golden cat. She liked Xiaoyang Zhao's rubbing of her, but was afraid to get immersed in it and become inseparable from him. Lin Qiyu sighed, trying hard to hide her emotions, and pouted. What are you doing here? I came to see you. Xiaoyang was stunned for a moment, but smiled. I don't need you to come and see me. Lin Qiyu turned her head away, with only a fleeting look of joy on her face. Xiaoyang was not discouraged. He just turned around and opened the things he had just placed on the table. A stream of hot steam rose from the bottle. This is a larger thermos cup. Xiaoyang took out the top layer first. The red water was still emitting layers of mist. Xiaoyang smiled and said to Lin Qiyu, do you remember what you promised me at that time? Lin Qiyu was stunned and snorted coldly. What did you promise? Promise me that next time something like this happens, remember to call me. Xiaoyang looked around and found that Lin Qiyu was the only one in the dormitory. Li Shaikan and the others probably went to class again. Who's going to call you? Scumbag, Lin Qiyu cursed softly. Her voice was so low that it sounded like she was flirting. Xiaoyang laughed but didn't say anything. He turned around, took the water and blew on it for a while. Let me see if it's still hot. Xiaoyang took a sip and found the temperature to be just right. Brought it in front of Lin Qiyu. Open your mouth. Don't want. Ooh, Lin Qiyu closed her red lips tightly, and moved. Xiaoyang lowered his head. If you don't open your mouth, I'm going to kiss you. Anyway, there's no one else here except us, so you can't get any help from heaven or earth. As the face got closer, a flush flashed across Lin Qiyu's face. Okay, drink it. Lin Qiyu opened her cherry-like mouth. Xiaoyang brought a spoonful of water to her mouth. Drink it all in one gulp. The warm current of water flows down the throat. I don't know if it's a psychological reason or because the red water really works so quickly, but the warm current fell into Lin Qiyu's stomach, and he only felt warmth flowing in his stomach, and it didn't hurt so much. I can do it myself. She snorted and snatched the red water from Xiaoyang's hand. It doesn't taste good at all. It's so bitter. Lin Qiyu looked unhappy. But my heart is full of sweetness. This red water tastes too good. Just one more sip. Thinking in his mind, Lin Qiyu drank the bowl of red water in one gulp. My abdomen suddenly felt warm and extremely comfortable. All the previous pain seemed to have disappeared. Xiaoyang took the empty bowl back with a smile on his face. He picked up a chair and looked at Lin Qiyu with his cheek in his hand. I don't know why, but Lin Qiyu looks even cuter like this. Just like an unhappy little rabbit. Arrogant on the outside, but honest on the inside. Have you finished drinking? Is there anything else? If not, you can leave. But she also knew that deep down she didn't want Xiaoyang to leave. She hadn't seen Xiaoyang for so many days. She said that she didn't miss him, but she knew that she was almost going crazy thinking about him. No matter what I see or hear, I always think of Xiao Yang. So annoying. Lin Qiyu snorted coldly, his face full of coldness. It's really nothing. Xiao Yang opened the bottom layer of the large thermos. Suddenly, a rich fragrance filled the dormitory. Braised pork. Lin Qiyu immediately smelled her favorite scent and couldn't help swallowing. DSK, I don't like eating such greasy food. Lin Qiyu turned her head away proudly. Tears uncontrollably flowing from the corners of her mouth. Yes, it's not good to eat this when you're menstruating, but this boiled chicken is good for replenishing qi and blood. This carrot soup, this steamed sea bass. Plate after plate of dishes were placed on the table. These chickens, ducks and fish replenish your qi and blood. They are very suitable for you to eat, they are good for your body. As he spoke, Xiao Yang took out another bowl of rice. Well, it's all complete. No matter how arrogant Lin Qiyu was, she couldn't help but turn her head at this moment. I don't like eating these things. If I hadn't heard you say that these things are good for the body, I wouldn't eat them. Lin Qiyu frowned and picked up the chopsticks with a look of disdain. This fish is too old and not tasty at all. This chicken is sour and not tasty at all. This braised pork. Before he finished speaking, Xiao Yang took the braised pork away. The latter glared at Xiao Yang with an angry look on his face. This braised pork must not taste good either. Bring it here. Lin Qiyu bared his teeth and looked ferocious. It's a pity that Xiao Yang finds her even cuter. He laughed and put the braised pork back to its place. Lin Qiyu quickly picked up her chopsticks and filled her little mouth. I'm so embarrassed, woo woo. Even though he couldn't speak clearly, Lin Qiyu didn't forget to deprecate the braised pork. The soup flowed down the corners of his mouth, and a tear of happiness flashed in his eyes. Xiao Yang picked up a tissue and wiped the greasy corners of Lin Qiyu's mouth. Fool! Xiao Yang murmured something. The two looked at each other. At the same time, mist covered the eyes of both of them. Chapter 198, The World of the Small Mirror. Blah. Suddenly, Lin Qiyu sneezed. Xiao Yang quickly pulled out a tissue from the side. You have a cold? Lin Qiyu wiped it, biting her lip with a look of grievance on her face. Yes. Did you catch a cold when it rained heavily that day? Xiao Yang asked with concern. Lin Qiyu nodded without hesitation. Counting it up, it seems like a week has passed since that day. He immediately rubbed Lin Qiyu's little head with concern. Didn't you take the medicine? Yes. Lin Qiyu pointed to a bottle beside her, inside which lay small pills. She poured it out, her brows furrowed immediately. What's wrong? It's okay. A flash of bitterness passed across Lin Qiyu's face, and then he put the pill into his mouth. The next second, he quickly picked up the bowl of carrot soup and swallowed it along with the pill. Xiao Yang then understood why his cold had not yet healed. Fool, Xiao Yang cursed, stood up and packed up, then looked out the window. You can see downstairs from here. Just look up again and lift the curtain. A small mirror appeared in a small corner. Xiao Yang couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth. In the small mirror, you can clearly see anything happening downstairs in the dormitory building through the reflection. Xiao Yang suddenly smiled and looked past Lin Qiyu's desk. It corresponds to the main entrance of the dormitory. People come and go in front of the gate. Xiao Yang knew this location very well. It was the place where he had stayed for 99 days in the wind and sun. So in fact, although Lin Qiyu never showed her head when she confessed her feelings, she could see her every move in the small mirror. He couldn't help but smile knowingly. When Lin Qiyu saw Xiao Yang staring at the small mirror, she suddenly felt at a loss. But he still turned his head away stubbornly, with a look of indifference on his face. Just see it if you want to. I'll tear it apart in a moment. Thinking this in her mind, Lin Qiyu cleaned up the dishes very skillfully. After all, when I was at Xiao Yang's villa, I often had to clean up the dishes because I lost the game of rock paper scissors. As she was collecting the things, she looked up and saw Xiao Yang's face full of ant smile. Lin Qiyu suddenly became furious and put the plate and chopsticks aside. Snort. Xiao Yang still had a smile on his face. I don't know why, but even when Lin Qiyu is in a bad mood, she is still cute and charming in every move. Xiao Yu. What? How many times did you confess your love to me? Xiao Yang looked at the world in the mirror, and the scene of his confession appeared in his mind. He let out a long sigh. Although it was a task assigned by the system, the memory of those days had obviously penetrated into my bones. I confess my love every day, and I have dreamed of the moment when the confession is successful. Lin Qiyu, from the University of Finance and Economics, is the dream lover in the eyes of many people. When the voice fell, Lin Qiyu was slightly stunned. The expression was completely different from the original T.S. under E. She also couldn't help looking at the small mirror. Those scenes also appeared in my mind one by one. It's completely different from the confessions I saw online. The world in this small mirror is the world in which she began to know Xiao Yang. Lin Qiyu bit her red lips lightly for a long time before she slowly said, I don't know either. Did you fall in love with him when you installed the mirror? No, I installed the mirror just out of curiosity. Who likes him? I don't like him anymore. I also want to give him a son. Bubbly monster yee ya. To scumbag. Suddenly, a bell rang. This is the bell for the end of get out of class. Lunch break at noon. Li Shikaun and the others are about to finish class. Lin Q reacted and quickly put the dishes and chopsticks back into the thermos that Xiaoyang brought. I don't know how Xiaoyang brought in such a large thermos. Go quickly, don't let Li Shikaun and the others see you. Xiaoyang let out a long sigh and rubbed Lin Qiu's head. He still felt a little reluctant after so many days. He had only been intimate with Lin Qiu for a short while, and even. He glanced at Lin Qiu's red lips, which were deliberately puffed up to pretend to be angry. Suddenly, the lips fell and pressed upon it. Lin Qiu suddenly widened her eyes. But Xiaoyang's hands had already held her in his arms. She pushed Xiaoyang, but the latter did not move at all. Gradually, Lin Qiu's eyes became more blurred, her red lips slightly opened. And she looked like she was ready to let Xiaoyang pick her flowers. The hands gradually move upwards. Lin Qiu suddenly opened his eyes. She finally pushed Xiaoyang away, the corners of her mouth trembling slightly. Xiaoyang, Lin Qiu let out a long sigh. Actually, my dad used to like two women at the same time. After that, the three of them never got together again and never had any contact with each other again. A number of times my father and I have met over the years can be counted on my fingers. I don't want us to. Lin Qiu sighed. If you let me go, you and Zhang Yan will go further. Lin Qiu's voice trembled a little. She turned her face away proudly again, but her eyes were already wet. If it weren't for Zhang Yan, and if it weren't for the time you spent with her, would we have been together? The voice fell with a bitter smile. I'm sorry, Shiwei. Xiaoyang breathed a sigh of relief. I know I'm a scumbag, but I have to admit that I can't live without you. I've been through so much with you. I don't know what my world would be like without you. Stop talking about it, we shouldn't change the time we've already missed. You and Zhang Yan will be very happy together. Xiaoyang wanted to say something else, but this time, Lin Qiu's red lips were already pressed against him. This is the last kiss. Lin Qiu said silently in her heart, her body trembling slightly. In fact, she didn't know why she could say this. She was very touched by everything Xiaoyang did today and the things he sent her. I became more dependent on Xiaoyang in my heart. That she still couldn't accept it. Because of what happened in her family. Her father Lin Hanwen was once separated from his wife and children because of this incident. Lin Qiu has had to call other men dad since she was a child. And the number of words she has spoken to her own father can be counted on one's fingers. She doesn't want to become like her mother in the future. He also didn't want to destroy the relationship between Xiaoyang and Zhang Yan as a third party. It would have been great if I could have confessed my love to you for the 100th time. Maybe there won't be a time when Xiaoyang and Zhang Yan get to know each other. But the time that Xiaoyang and I had missed could not be changed. Xiaoyang was stunned for a moment. He looked at Lin Qiu. What if there was that 100th confession? Lin Qiu was stunned for a moment. The two of them looked at the mirror at the same time, which could clearly see everything happening downstairs. They seemed to see a person walking towards the mirror and shouting, Lin Qiu, I like you. Chapter 199 Lin Qiu, wait for me. Your 100th confession. Here we come. Lin Qiu, I like you. A voice came. I saw a huge crowd of people downstairs of the girls' dormitory. It was just time for get out of class to end. People coming and going stopped and looked at the boy. Xiaoyang and Lin Qiu couldn't help but look at each other. Someone actually came to confess his love. Xiaoyang raised his eyebrows slightly. Come down quickly, Li Shikaun and the others are downstairs. I saw a few girls walking past that boy, who else could they be but Lin Qiu's roommate? Xiaoyang nodded, packed up his things and left Lin Qiu's dormitory. Wait for me. Xiaoyang hesitated and left two words. Wear a mask. Xiaoyang smoothed her long skirt. Well, no one should be able to tell after all. Zhang Yan helped to do the makeup. The makeup shows the infinite charm of a mature woman. Come downstairs. Xiaoyang took a look. The boy who came to confess his love was wearing a tuxedo and looked handsome and stylish. His appearance is not bad, and his height and other aspects are at the level of a good-looking boy. Who is this? Xiaoyang mixed into the crowd and muttered. The senior at the front didn't even look back to see who asked the question. And directly said, Ding Hui from the music school next door. This kid is imitating Xiaoyang, coming here every day to confess his love. This must be the 6th time. Xiaoyang glanced at it thoughtfully. The boy named Ding Hua looked very confident. He shook his suit as if he was trying to maintain his elegance. Xiaoyang glanced at the dormitory where Lin Qiu was. Looking from below, I can't see the mirror clearly. Suddenly, he snapped his fingers. Behind him, a group of people came over pushing a huge object. Everyone looked at him in confusion, but Ding Hua had a smile on his face. He is not a student of the University of Finance and Economics. but a student of the Jiangdu Conservatory of Music next door. One day when I was browsing the forum, I happened to see the posts of Lin Qiyu and Xiao Yang. After some investigation, I was immediately shocked by her beauty. This University of Finance and Economics actually has such a beautiful campus, which can share the world with Shang Xin from their Conservatory of Music. Yinghua quickly finished the course of Xiao Yang's 99 confessions, feeling full of disdain. Isn't it just confessing 99 times? All you need is a mouth, right? If you can catch up with such a beautiful goddess, you will confess your love to her 99 times, and the 100th time will be a battle for your dignity. Xiao Yang is such an idiot. He could have succeeded if he had just confessed once more. But he still had to pretend to be so stupid. In that case, don't blame Ding. I don't have any dignity, it's just 99 plus 1. Don't even mention 100 times, 101 times will do. And this pure confession is so tasteless. As a student of the music conservatory, he came specially every day to express his feelings. And after expressing his feelings, he would sing a song himself. A love song every day. This is called confession. Yinghua's singing voice is not bad either. After all, he is studying this and is quite famous in the college. He cleared his throat and lifted up the thing that someone had just pushed up. Under the curtain, there was a mobile piano. A chair was brought over. Yinghua lifted up his tuxedo and sat down like a gentleman. His every move and gesture could be described in 2 words. Upper class. He slowly put on a white glove with a smile on his face. He adjusted the microphone he had mounted on the piano stand and cleared his throat. Over here. Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment. This is meeting an opponent. He frowned slightly and turned away. Damn, are you trying to poach my girl? You deserve it. Xiao Yang picked up the phone. Li Ji. Lin Qiyu was sitting in front of the desk. At this time, the dormitory door opened and Li Shaikan and a few others came back. Oh my god, why does it smell so good? I seem to smell the smell of braised pork. Chuo, did you order takeout? Several people looked at Lin Qiyu, only to see her wipe her mouth. No. Then he smiled. You said you didn't have any. Steamed sea bass, braised pork. And? What is this chicken leg bone? Lin Qiyu stuck out her tongue and chuckled. She looked in the mirror. The guy in the long skirt turned around and left, with a hint of dissatisfaction on his face. You just watch others confess to me. Right? Believe it or not, I immediately rushed down and agreed. Lin Qiyu suddenly felt angry. Soon, the sound of piano playing came from downstairs. Several girls were slightly surprised. Wow, this kid even brought a piano. It's useless to bring anything, these are all Xiao Yang's leftovers. Xiao Yu's heart has long been with Xiao Yang. Really? Besides, this singing skill is no match for Xiao Yang. When Xiao Yang's Sunny Day comes out, all of songs are garbage. Li Shaikan just smiled. In the dormitory, a song suddenly started playing and sung. It was the Sunny Day sung by Xiao Yang. I don't know when Li Shaikan copied it and played it directly on the speakers in the dormitory. Close the window again. Yinghua's elegant piano sound suddenly disappeared without a trace. Suddenly, only Xiao Yang's voice was left in the dormitory. A little yellow in the story has been floating since the year he was born. And the swing in his childhood has been swinging with his memory until now. Several girls immediately started singing together, including Lin Qiyu. Lin Qiyu felt warm in her heart immediately. This is the song Xiao Yang sang for himself. Only, she let out a long sigh. I just said something so serious. Xiao Yang. Will he really let go? Forget it, it's better to let it go. TSK, what a scumbag. Lin Qiyu cursed. At this time, the scumbag Xiao Yang was removing his makeup in his car. After taking a look in the mirror to make sure that everything was removed, Xiao Yang changed into men's clothes and felt much more comfortable. Outside the car, a figure walked over. Old Xiao? Here. Xiao Yang opened the car door and walked out. Fuck. This car is yours. This is the parking lot of the University of Finance and Economics. Li Ji's eyes almost popped out when he saw such an awesome super sports car. Awesome, this is Koenigsegg. You actually know the value of this? Xiao Yang asked in surprise. After the previous car was scrapped, Xiao Yang quickly went to the store to pick up another one. Coincidentally, the car was in stock and it was new, so Xiao Yang paid the full amount for it. That's it. Turtle, a 20 million car. Wait a minute, I'll take a picture. Fuck you, why didn't you tell me that someone was trying to steal my girl? Is this how you treat your brother? Li Ji suddenly looked bitter. Didn't you lose contact with me during those few days? That's right. Xiao Yang immediately realized that he had been lying in the hospital those days. I've got your guitar. Okay, Xiao Yang took the guitar from Li Ji, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Where are you going? Go to the girls' dormitory. If someone is trying to steal my girl, how can I not go and meet him? Xiao Yang's mouth curled up slightly. System, exchange a few of those 10 songs for me first. Damn it. You think being able to sing is a big deal? I'm going to sing you to death today. Chao Yang cursed, picked up his guitar, and walked away. Lin Q, wait for me. Your 100th confession is here. Chapter 200, the 100th the confession. Chao Yang was wearing casual clothes at the moment. The weather was a little chilly, but he was in good physical condition and didn't feel cold. Li Ji followed behind him, and kept asking about the car. Don't ask anymore. I'm a billionaire and I'm telling you. Chao Yang waved his hand. The latter even walked with a lot more wind. Well, my brother is a billionaire. With people coming and going. Everyone knew that Chao Yang was expelled from school. After all, he was somewhat famous in the school. He casually greeted the people passing by and headed towards the girls' dormitory in an orderly manner. Chao Yang. Is that Chao Yang? A freshman asked. Yeah, damn, Chao Yang is back. Is he going to the girls' dormitory? I remember now that someone from the music academy next door followed his example and confessed his love to Lin Q. Chao Yang is probably trying to get back at someone for poaching someone. It's going to be a good show. Come on, come on. Support Chao Yang, damn it. Our school's president can be taken away by students from other schools. That's right, Chao Yang and Lin Q are a match made in heaven after all. One is the school idol and the other is the most handsome guy in the school. Anyone can confess to my school idol. Lin, and you want to imitate others and confess 99 times? You guys think Chao Yang is planning to make a big move this time? You mean? The 100th confession. Fuck. Didn't he say that not confessing for the 100th time was an explanation to himself? Yeah, it's dignity to confess for the 100th time. It's been so long, why don't we take back our dignity? Besides, Colonel Lin has also confessed his love for Chao Yang in public. That's true. Quick, 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 wave the flag and cheer for Chao Yang. For a moment, people took out their mobile phones and sent messages. Hurry, 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 to the old place, Chao Yang is going to confess his love for the 100th time. Hurry up, brothers, if you're late, you won't even have a seat in the front row. Fuck, this is the 100th time you're confessing your love to me. Are you lying to me? Someone questioned. Bullshit. Chao Yang is almost there, why would I lie to you? For a moment, some students who were eating suddenly put down their bowls and chopsticks. Let's go, to the girls' dormitory. The students who were queuing for food suddenly turned their heads. Auntie? Is it that the food today is not delicious? Or is it that my hands are shaking so badly that I scared all the students away? The cafeteria, which was originally crowded, suddenly became much emptier. And people all rushed in one direction. Chao Yang himself didn't notice that. Without him knowing when, there was already a huge group of people behind him. Here, some people had been waiting for a long time. And on the upper floor of the girls' dormitory, many people also leaned out of the window to look. It must be said that the second floor of the girls' dormitory is simply a VIP audience seat. And many girls have even run to the dormitory downstairs to wait. There were people eating melons in the front row. The only one missing was an old man selling snacks from a cart. The dormitory manager's face was filled with shock. She stood at the dormitory door with a broom in her hand, ready to act without any delay. Are you guys done yet? You guys should take turns to confess your feelings. Right? The dormitory manager's angry roar immediately interrupted Ding, who was soulful singing. He was stunned for a moment and looked at the dormitory manager. Auntie, what are you saying? You sing so terribly. The dormitory manager didn't give her any face at all. In the past, it was okay when Chao Yang came. After all, he was a student of the school, and the kid was polite. He always greeted her with a smile and was very polite. You are nothing. No one is as handsome as Chao Yang. Enghuo was about to make some excuses, but at this moment, someone shouted, Chao Yang is here. For a moment, everyone turned around. And even Chao Yang himself was frightened. It seemed like everyone was waiting for him. For a moment, hundreds of people came forward and stared at what was behind Chao Yang. Li Ji, who was following behind him, suddenly took more arrogant steps. Others also made way. It's really coming. Come on. Lao Xiao. Kill him. Old Xiao, come on. Damn it, who the hell is worthy enough to confess his love to Colonel Lin? Watch out for you. Old Xiao, do you need a weapon? I have a stick. Chao Yang was speechless. I'm not here to fight. He walked up to the dormitory manager. Auntie, I may disturb you again. I'm sorry, Chao Yang said apologetically. It's okay, we're used to it, the dormitory manager replied with a smile. You see, I was in a hurry to go out today and didn't bring anything with me. I just happened to have a box of facial mask, which would be the best for someone of your age. Chao Yang handed over a facial mask. Hey, you just came here. Why are you being so polite? It's my duty. On the side, a sharp-eyed girl saw the facial mask and her eyes widened immediately. Oh my god, this is ST Blue's latest volcanic mud mask. I just checked it the day before yesterday, and one box costs 10,000 Canadian dollars. As soon as the words fell, the girls all showed expressions of envy. When the dormitory manager heard this, she wanted to be polite again. But she was afraid that Xiao Yang would go back on his word. So she quickly put the things away. Oh my god, this facial mask costs over 10,000 yuan. I've never used anything so expensive in my life. It is impossible to return to youth. But when looking at these little girls, the dormitory managers are envious. And this time they also feel envious. Then please excuse me. Auntie, I will be done soon. It's okay, just go about your business. Auntie chuckled and glared at Ding, who was standing beside her. Look, they all came here to confess their love, and what they did was so beautiful. Ding, whose mouth twitched as well. Are you confessing your love to Lin Qiu or to the dormitory manager? You just gave me a box of facial masks worth 10,000 yuan? Xiao Yang looked up and saw that the windows of Lin Qiu's dormitory were closed and the curtains were drawn. I guess I can't see the scene downstairs clearly through the small mirror. He looked up and smiled. For a moment, the girls upstairs were drooling. I don't know why, but Xiao Yang looks particularly handsome today. Compared with Ding, who next to him, one is in the sky and the other is underground. Could you please help me tell Lin Qiu I owe her the 100th confession, and I want to fulfill it today? Xiao Yang sighed. All of a sudden, the girls took action. Some people ran towards Lin Qiu's dormitory, while others just started shouting on the spot. Lin Qiu, Xiao Yang's 100th confession is here. At this moment, everyone present was stunned. The 100th confession. Oh shit, Xiao Yang is really here. For a time, the crowds were so huge that it could be called the Spring Festival travel rush. Ding Hui's face looked gray. What are you doing here? Xiao Yang looked at Ding Hui and smiled. Well, can you lend me your speaker? Chapter 201, The 100th Confession Part 2. Before Ding Hui could refuse, the people around him had already surrounded him. No way. You can't even lend me a stereo? What the hell? Are all the people from the music school so stingy? Wait, Xiao Yang, I'll get you a microphone right away. It was the dormitory auntie who took out a bunch of sockets from the dormitory and asked, do you want to plug in? Xiao Yang glanced at Ding Hui. It seems I don't need to borrow from you, I'm pretty popular. However, the people on the side had already started to act sarcastic. What kind of person is this? He can't even lend me a speaker. It's just a broken speaker, like no one has it. Are you afraid that Xiao Yang will confess and just beat him up? I feel like when Lao Xiao's voice came out, Colonel Lin probably ran down from the dormitory building. For a moment, everyone was talking at once, and Ding Hui himself began to doubt his life. How could I say don't want to lend it? I didn't say anything, okay? It wasn't you who came up and said you wanted to lend it to him. I haven't even said anything yet. Also, dormitory manager. Could you please be reasonable? Everyone is here to express their feelings. Do you have to smile like you're welcoming guests? He shook out his tuxedo. Never mind, I can't argue with such a vulgar and unappreciates person. I am in the upper class. Here, the speakers were quickly taken down, along with the microphone stand. Xiao Yang connected the microphone to the socket brought out by the dormitory manager and tried it. Hey. Xiao Yang's voice seemed to be extremely magnetic. Just a test mic made the whole audience boil over in an instant. Xiao Yang's voice is so nice. Love it. Is this the voice of the campus hunt from the University of Finance and Economics? Even Xiao Yang himself was confused. When did this buddy become the campus idol of the University of Finance and Economics? At this moment, there were so many people surrounding the place that people who didn't know would think that the big star was having a concert. Inside the dormitory, Lin Qiu and the others were still unaware of what was happening downstairs until someone knocked on the door and came up to inform them. Then she showed a surprised expression. The 100th confession. Damn, Xiao Yang is serious. Look, he has even set up a microphone underneath him. Xiao Yu, this is the 100th time I confess my love to you. Look, there are so many people. Several close friends who had already become Xiao Yang's fans drew back the curtains and opened the windows. Oh my god, I finally get to hear Xiao Yang sing live. I absolutely love his sunny day. However, the girl who came up to inform Lin Qiu asked without knowing why. What is sunny day? Can Xiao Yang sing? Lin Qiu bit her lip lightly and said calmly. TSK, that's what he calls singing. My cat sings better than him. As soon as he finished speaking, the girls rolled their eyes. Just be ordinary. Downstairs. Xiao Yang cleared his throat and said slowly. Can everyone be quiet for a moment? After the words were spoken, the whole audience fell silent. Xiao Yang himself didn't expect that he would have such a great influence. Countless people were holding up their phones and taking pictures. They all looked at Xiao Yang without saying a word. Don't miss someone's 100th confession. Xiao Yang took a long breath and said slowly. Lin Qiu, I like you. In fact, I have said this 99 times. This is the 100th time, and it is also the 100th time I confess my love for you. Xiao Yang raised his head and looked towards the location of the small mirror. He couldn't see the scene in the mirror, but he knew that Lin Qiyu could see himself through the mirror. In this way, it is as if the two of them are looking into each other's eyes. I always thought that the luckiest thing in my life was meeting you. But later I realized that it wasn't the luckiest thing. The luckiest thing would be to grow old together with you. The road ahead is still long, and we don't know what will happen. If possible, can we hold hands and look forward to it together? You once asked me what I liked most about you. Now I can answer that what I like most is your smile. When it blooms on your face, I feel as if a spring breeze is blowing, warm and melting my heart. My favorite thing is you sneakily eat the food I cook in the kitchen, and shake your head like a lying little rabbit, pretending nothing happened. My favorite thing is when you rolled your eyes at me and told me that I'd become stupid if I rubbed my forehead too much. I love the way you act like a spoiled brat after you lose the rock-paper-scissors game. Your every stubbornness and every smile are deeply imprinted in my heart. Everything we've been through, I can't erase it from my mind. I miss you, and I don't want to leave you. If possible. No matter what happens in the future, please walk with me. Okay? I don't want to spend the rest of my life without being able to gently rub your forehead. Without being able to see your smile, without being able to see your smile, without being able to see you lazily lying in my arms and acting coquettously. Lin Qiyu, I like you. From now on, walk with me. Xiao Yang let out a lone sigh. At this moment, everyone around was stunned. Rubbing your forehead, acting cute, and stealing food? Is this my cool and prestigious university, University of Finance and Economics? That's not right, this is living together. Holy shit. When did they start living together secretly? It's so exaggerated. Ding Hui, who was standing aside, already had a look of dejection on his face. Damn it, didn't they say they weren't together? How come they were living together? And even acting cute and lying in my arms. Depend on. In the dormitory. Lin Qiyu's face flushed. Damn Xiao Yang. Why did you reveal all those embarrassing things about yourself? The girlfriends beside her also looked at Lin Qiyu with strange smiles on their faces. Li Shaikan was surprised. You are living together. No way. Lin Qiyu turned his head away and snorted coldly. She stopped looking in the small mirror and leaned out of the window looking down. At this moment, Xiao Yang also looked over. Their eyes met and their expressions were conveyed. Lin Qiyu. Colonel Lin. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Qiyu, which made Lin Qiyu quickly retract his head. Still shy. How could he say such blushing sweet words in front of so many people? Lin Qiyu covered her face, full of shyness. Downstairs. Xiao Yang smiled slightly. He patted the guitar in his hand and said slowly, I know you have heard this song many times, but this time, I want to make it clear. This song is made for you. Sunny. I hope our future will be as bright and sunny as a sunny day. The words fell. Xiao Yang placed his hands on the strings. The next second, a clear and bright sound came from the wooden guitar. Everyone around them consciously stopped talking and looked at Xiao Yang in the center of the crowd. A prelude begins. Everyone's face was gradually filled with astonishment. Oh shit. What a nice prelude. Li Ji stood aside with a confused look on his face. Can Xiao Yang sing? Soon, many people were gradually immersed in this melodious tune. Light and casual, just like Xiao Yang at this moment. 100th confession, starting from sunny day. Everyone stopped and said nothing. In the huge campus, which was crowded with people, everything became quiet at this moment, with only Xiao Yang's singing voice floating in the air. Little Yellow in the story. Chapter 202, The 100th Confession Part 3. The prelude is simple, clear and concise. Xiao Yang gently plucked the strings of the zither, and the sound was transmitted to everyone's ears through the speakers. He lowered his head, and his clear eyes swept around. As if he was a little lost. I'm so tired, so tired. A random melody. Casually as if without thinking of the lyrics. Ding Hui on the side snorted coldly. That's it? You come out and sing without even thinking of the lyrics. Aren't you afraid of being embarrassed? But when he looked around, he saw that everyone was immersed in the sparse singing. This is campus, this is youth. Which boy here has not imagined himself sitting under the shade of a tree, holding a guitar, singing love songs to the girl he loves? What girl hasn't fantasized about a handsome boy playing guitar and expressing his love to her? Everyone looked at Xiao Yang. The boys showed expressions of great admiration, while the girls' eyes were full of stars, hoping that Xiao Yang was confessing his love to them at this moment. Upstairs in the dormitory, the voice fell. Lin Qiyu's eyes were slightly red. Even though she had heard this song many times, when she heard Xiao Yang singing it himself, she couldn't help but look at the man downstairs a few more times, and her mind was filled with the scene of herself flying in his arms. The beauty was intoxicated, and Lin Qiyu's infatuated eyes were seen by everyone. This is love. And several girlfriends in the dormitory couldn't help but hum along. People around took out their phones to record this moment. What better way to express your love than singing your own song to the girl you love? The lyrics are simple and clear, and he paid a lot to express his feelings. Lin Qiyu bit her lips, afraid that she would cry. And her eyes were already filled with tears. This love is called humblance. Yes, being able to confess 99 times is already the utmost humility. And this 100th confession has already dedicated my dignity to the other person. My idol is Xiaoyang. From now on he sings so beautifully. He must have composed the music and written the lyrics himself. So cool. If this is not love, then what else can be called love? The boys present were more or less dissatisfied with Xiaoyang before. After all, he was dating everyone's goddesses. But at this moment, they were convinced. Colonel Lin's man should be someone like Xiaoyang. He is handsome, talented, and most importantly, infatuated. The last word fell. Bye-bye. Xiaoyang looked towards the dormitory window. Their eyes met, full of affection. Xiaoyang let out a long sigh. And there was already thunderous applause from the audience. Old Xiao, do it again, Li Ji cheered. Xiaoyang's singing is so beautiful. Please sing it again. Oh my god, Xiaoyang is so handsome. You will be my idol from now on. Men and women were all crazy. Xiaoyang couldn't help but smile. Everyone, this is a confession. Not a concert. How can we do it again? Aha! That's right. This song is written for Lin Qiyu. She is so happy. I'm so jealous that my skin is breaking apart. I don't know who suddenly started to make a noise and said, "Be together." The next second, the sound of waves became higher and higher, filled with the sounds of the waves coming together. Lin Qiyu was somewhat moved. She looked at Xiaoyang downstairs, still pursing her lips and not saying a word. "Xiaoyu, why don't you run downstairs to find your lover?" Lin Qiyu turned her head away. "That's it. It's not like I haven't sung it before." Several people immediately laughed, and Li Shaikan shouted downstairs, "Xiaoyang, Xiaoyu said it's not enough, change another song. 1, 2, 3, 4, let's do it again." Suddenly, the sound wave changed again. "Sing another song." Again. He looked at Lin Qiyu, who had turned her head away upstairs, and smiled immediately. "Okay. Xiaoyu, a lot of things happened during this period. It's my fault." Xiaoyang took a long breath and slowly raised his head. "You said that if I let you go, I can go further, but how can I let you go? I can't live without you for the rest of my life." The next song is called Secret That Cannot Be Told. This song expresses all my feelings. After saying that, Xiaoyang walked up to Ding Hua. The latter was already stunned. How can we compare them? It's okay that he has a past. But when it comes to singing, even students from this music conservatory can't compare to him. What else do you want to do? Can I borrow your piano? Okay, Ding Hui agreed immediately. I'm afraid that if I speak too slowly, everyone will criticize me. Xiaoyang sat down directly. In fact, he was not very good at playing the piano. But after selecting a song from the system, in addition to the singing of the song, the music score and the instruments used were all deeply imprinted in his mind. And he can clearly play the tune on the piano, of course. He can't play other songs, only the songs exchanged by the system. There is no standard fingering, no standard sitting posture, and no immersed expression. Xiaoyang frowned slightly and just played the song according to the memory that came out of nowhere. A moment the piano sound rang out. Everyone present stopped playing at the same time, not daring to disturb Xiaoyang. Xiaoyang's gaze was still on the windowsill. The pink long skirt, he knew it was Lin Qiyu's back. Although she didn't turn her head, she could hear it clearly. It's a very simple prelude, but it carries an inexplicable sadness. For a moment, everyone's faces became solemn, as if they were immersed in the emotion of the song. Xiaoyang raised his head, and his voice soon reached everyone's ears. Cold coffee left the coaster. The emotions I held back were far behind. Desperately trying to redeem the past. It is still clearly visible on my face. From the trembling voice and expression, everyone seemed to feel Xiaoyang's desire to regain the past. At this time, Lin Qiyu, who was on the windowsill, also turned his head and looked at Xiaoyang. My heart was pounding. He wants to redeem the past. But it wasn't so easy to recover in the past. Lin Qiyu sighed. I could already feel Xiaoyang's loss from the lyrics, and my heart also felt heavy. As for the others, they were slightly stunned, and felt that there seemed to be an invisible light on Xiaoyang's body. As for the girls, no matter whether they had a male companion or not, they only had Xiaoyang in their eyes. Handsome and infatuated. This label has been deeply imprinted in everyone's mind. The most beautiful thing is not the rainy day. It's the eaves where I once hid from the rain with you. The voice fell again. Tears instantly welled up in Lin Qiyu's eyes. It rained heavily that day, and he walked for several hours carrying himself on his back, wading through the water, and his legs were frozen. And that's not the most beautiful. The most beautiful moment was when Xiaoyang and I were hiding from the rain under the eaves together after we escaped from the trouble. Those scenes seemed to be happening right before my eyes and appeared deeply in my mind. He wrote it. These are all the things that happened to me. A picture of memory. The dream started to become less sweet while swinging on the swing. Yes, the dream is not sweet anymore. Lin Qiyu bit her red lips lightly, trying not to cry out loud, but her tears had already wet her face. Chapter 203, The 100th Confession, Winning the Beauty. Xiaoyang took a deep breath. In the chorus, the mood suddenly becomes higher and the voice becomes louder. You said that if you let go of love gradually, you will go further. Why change the time that has been missed? You use your fingertips to stop me from saying goodbye. Imagine you were here before it was all gone. Sadness is all over his face. I couldn't help but feel that the people around me looked as if they were recalling something. They sighed but said nothing. Change the time you have missed? How to change? Neither knows. Only Lin Qiyu covered her mouth with her hands, tears streaming down her face, a look of surprise on her face. Didn't I say this when Xiaoyang left the dormitory? I hope Xiaoyang won't try to change the time that has been missed. After 99 confessions, I met Zhang Yan. That was the time they both missed together. Some things, if you miss them, you may never miss them again. Just as Xiaoyang sang, he tried hard to make amends. But when he left, I told him not to think about changing the missed time. Otherwise the future of the three of us would be unimaginable. I persuaded him to let go of his love for me. And if it is love, how can we let it go easily? Lin Qiyu's heart was already aching so much that he felt as if he was suffocating. Is this a song that Xiaoyang just composed? What I just said has now become a song. She couldn't stop crying. Her heart had already been conquered by Xiaoyang's song. But the song is not over yet. You said that if you let go of love gradually, you will go further. Maybe fate only allows us to meet. Let us only fall in love with this season of autumn. Only after falling down did I discover these fragments of happiness. Xiaoyang's face was filled with sadness. The last sentence. How can I pick it up? His voice was a little hoarse, filled with incomprehensible sadness. At this time, among the onlookers closest to Xiaoyang, some girls already had red eyes. Wow, how much does Xiaoyang love Lin Qiyu to be able to write a song like this? Yes, after confessing my love for him 99 times, now it's the 100th time. These two songs brought tears to my eyes. If a boy could write two songs like this for me, I could even get married to him right away, not to mention becoming his girlfriend. Look at the windowsill again. At this moment, even Lin Qiyu's girlfriends were moved by Xiaoyang's sad mood. Their eyes were red and they were all moved. Xiaoyang likes you too much. Yeah, to be able to write a song like this. And so moved by these lyrics. Lin Qiyu bit her red lips, said nothing, and just stared at the boy in the crowd. He is dazzling and stunning. Let us only fall in love with this season of autumn. Yes, we only knew each other for one season. We were in love for only one season. Is this really the end? Lin Qiyu couldn't help but ask himself in his heart. No, she really didn't want the relationship to end. Xiaoyang, I really like you. I found that I can't live without you either. Lin Qiyu stretched out his hand, as if he wanted to grab Xiaoyang from above. No, I don't want to leave you. She bit her red lips, as if she had made some decision. At this moment, Xiaoyang did not stop. The piano keys were tapping softly, and his eyes were fixed on the windowsill. Cold coffee left the coaster. The emotions I held back were far behind. You said that if you let go of love gradually, you will go further. Maybe fate only allows us to meet. Let us only fall in love with this season of autumn. Only after falling down did I discover these fragments of happiness. How can I pick it up? Xiaoyang almost roared out the last sentence. Tears flashed from the corners of my eyes and flowed down. The song ends, floating with the sound until it disappears. The air around seemed to freeze. Everyone was looking at Xiaoyang. Even Ding Hui, who was standing beside him, was stunned and convinced. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. No one made a sound. Xiaoyang's lips curled up slightly as he smiled, but the tears on his face didn't seem to be out of place at all. That's what he seems to be like. Everyone's eyes followed him to Lin Qiyu, who was on the windowsill. The latter's eyes were red and tearful. If it were any other time, these boys would have probably gone berserk long ago. My goddess was made to cry by another man. I feel so sad. But at this time, no one had any objection to Xiaoyang. They looked at Lin Qiyu quietly, the focus of everyone's attention. Lin Qiyu herself was trembling slightly and didn't know what to do. Xiaoyang let out a long sigh and picked up the microphone. Lin Qiyu, this is my 100th confession. If possible, I don't want the happiness between us to last only one season. I want to grow old with you, and spend all the time of my life with you. Let me pick up our love again, okay? Lin Qiyu, promise me, don't leave me again. There were hundreds or thousands of students, and not one of them made any extra noise to disturb or influence Xiaoyang. It was so quiet all around that if you didn't know, you would think the school was on holiday. Everyone looked at Lin Qiyu, wondering what she would do next. Two love songs, one more beautiful than the other. Both were written by Xiaoyang for Lin Qiyu. The girls were full of envy. If this were for myself, that would be so happy. At this moment, even Lin Qiyu's close friends were looking at her closely. Love, if you don't hold on to it, it will slip away at any time. Love for a season or love for a lifetime, Shuoi? Grasp it well. Lin Qiyu looked at Xiaoyang, who was full of affection, and her heart had already fallen for him. But Zhang Yan? What future? No, she only wants Xiaoyang. Almost in an instant, Lin Qiyu covered her eyes and wiped away her tears. She left the window sill where she could look down, took light steps, and rushed out of the dormitory sobbing. Behind him, the women followed closely. This time, Lin Qiyu ran with almost all his strength. She was scared. I was afraid that I couldn't catch up with Xiaoyang. Just like before, it was because of my disapproval that Xiaoyang and Zhang Yan were together, and it was also the time and space that I missed. This time, she didn't want to be slow anymore. I don't want to lose the happiness that I deserve because of my pride. Everyone's eyes turned to the stairs of the girls' dormitory again. Although they knew that Lin Qiyu would rush down the stairs, they were still full of anticipation. Is this what love looks like? Finally, at the stairs, a light figure appeared. Lin Qiyu's eyes were red, and it seemed as if tears were left behind her as she ran. She opened her arms and ran towards Xiaoyang. Xiaoyang stood where he was and opened his arms. Plop! Lin Qiyu completely merged into Xiaoyang's body, and the two of them hugged each other tightly. Xiaoyang, I promise you, I will never leave you again. Lin Qiyu buried her head in Xiaoyang's chest. Xiaoyang just rubbed her little head and whispered, "My 100th confession." Satisfied? Yeah. Lin Qiyu nodded suddenly and just hugged Xiaoyang tightly, as if afraid that he would run away. At this moment, thunderous applause broke out all around. Some people are envious. Some people are sighing. At this moment, no one was jealous. They are a perfect match made in heaven, a talented man and a beautiful woman. Ding Hui, who was standing by, also shed tears of emotion, and had already cursed himself countless times in his heart. Damn it, who the hell do you think you are? You even dare to steal the girl from male god Xiaoyang. Are you more infatuated than others or more talented than others? None at all. Woohoo, from now on, Xiaoyang will be my idol. From this moment on. A 99 confession posts on the forum can finally be updated. Xiaoyang, a sophomore student majoring in economics at Zhongde University of Finance and Economics, confessed his love to Lin Qiyu for the 100th time. Finally got the beauty. Chapter 200 for a talented man and a beautiful woman, unparalleled in the world. In front of Zhongde University of Finance and Economics, a black car slowly stopped. Hello, Director Li. Student Yang. It's been a long time since we last met. Director Li was filled with emotion and smiled at the young man in front of him. Yes, it's been a year. I still remember the scene a year ago when Director Li led the team and made a big splash. We exchanged greetings while walking on the campus path of Zhongde University of Finance and Economics. Clustered in the middle is the student from the business school next door, Yang Wei. This is a teen. Yang Wei doesn't dress like a student. He is dressed elegantly and appropriately, and it seems that he is here to discuss business. I didn't expect that classmate Yang would enter the workplace so soon. You were the runner-up in last year's national finance competition, Director Li said with a smile. I have to enter the workplace eventually. Am I not here to discuss cooperation with your school on behalf of the company? Yang Wei said with a smile. Yes, we must always put practice into work. Yang Wei smiled and changed the subject. I looked at the list of contestants and I feel that the opponents in this year's national financial competition are very strong. That's right. Is Director Li still leading the team this year? Director Li smiled and nodded. And I am really looking forward to it. If possible, I would really like to compete with Lin Qiyu again in the national competition. The corners of Yang Wei's mouth rose slightly, with a hint of pride on his face. He is the most famous talent in the business school and the runner-up in last year's national finance competition. And it was Lin Qiyu who helped him win the runner-up title. In the national competition, his score was second only to Lin Qiyu. Director Li frowned slightly, shook his head, and said, Lin Qiyu will not participate in the financial competition this year. What? Yang Wei was extremely surprised. Why? He asked, puzzled. Lin Qiyu was the champion and seeded player of last year's national competition. How could I not participate in this year's national competition? If she doesn't want to participate, there's nothing I can do about it. Director Li smiled. Yang Wei suddenly raised his head, frowned, and asked, Director Li, do you know where junior sister Lin is at school? I think if it were me, I should be able to persuade her. Yang Wei's face was full of confidence. Director Li's face suddenly flashed with joy. He turned around and said to Yang Wei with a smile, "That's great, I'll take you to find Lin Qiu right now. I'll call their dormitory manager and ask her to come over quickly." Director Li took out his cell phone and made a call. "Call the girls' dormitory and ask Lin Qiu to come to the college building to find me." After the call ended, Yang Wei smiled and said, "I didn't expect the learning atmosphere in your school to be so good. It's quiet and peaceful, without any unnecessary noisy sounds. Haha, the learning atmosphere of our school is really good. It's lunchtime now, so there aren't many students hanging around." Director Li glanced at him as he spoke. "I saw that in the distance. There were only a few people in the know. One canteen, which usually had the most people. What's going on? Did the learning atmosphere in school really improve overnight? It's dinner time." Even on the nearby basketball court, there weren't many people. Although he was doubtful, he did not try to dig deeper and always looked for the best. Such a quiet and peaceful campus with a strong learning atmosphere is what he wants. Director Li led the group toward the college building. Several people said this casually with smiles on their faces. When they were halfway there, suddenly, cheers came from afar. Looking again, there was a sea of people gathered there, forming circles. "What's going on?" Yang Wei asked with a smile. "That should be the girls' dormitory over there. Maybe someone is confessing their love there or something." Director Li often saw this scene and just said it casually. "This kind of thing often happens in our school. There is always a lack of people seeking love downstairs of our President Jiang's dormitory." Yang Wei laughed. "Aha, speaking of which, Zhang is also a young and promising student. You two are indeed talented men and women in the business school." Yang Wei smiled and did not deny it, his face full of pride. At this time, Director Li's cell phone rang. He quickly picked up the phone, his expression changing slightly. "What? Lin Qiu is being confessed to right now and has no time to come over?" Director Li sounded surprised. He glanced at Yang Wei and said nothing more. "Okay, then you go ahead and get busy." Director Li hung up the phone, glanced at his phone, then glanced at the cheering crowd in the distance. His meaning was very clear. Yang Wei also looked at the crowded girls' dormitory in the distance. "So, this is a confession to Lin Qiu." He looked at Director Li. The latter frowned slightly. He also knew a little about Lin Qiu's affairs. It seemed that there was a boy who had been pursuing her for a long time. Dozens or even hundreds of times. He also suspected that Lin Qiu gave up the competition because of this incident. "I did ask, but Lin Qiu kept her mouth shut and didn't reveal anything." From this point of view, the crowds of people downstairs of the girls' dormitory must be the boy who confessed his love to Lin Qiu. "I'm a little curious. Why don't we go and take a look?" Yang Wei smiled, but still a little impatient. The junior sister Lin, who had defeated him in the national competition, was very pretty. Like a fairy from heaven. After only one glance at her, he felt that he would never forget that exquisite face for the rest of his life. The most important thing is that she is also very talented and academically gifted. Having dominated last year's financial competition, she is aloof and otherworldly, making people unforgettable at first sight. Lin Qiu's peerless face still clearly appeared in his mind, and Yang Wei was full of anticipation. As for confession? There is no man in this world who is worthy of him. Only someone as talented as me can stand shoulder to shoulder with her. In this world, who could be a more perfect match than them? Yang Wei was full of confidence and was already looking forward to Lin Qiu's surprised expression when she saw him. She must have forgotten me too. After all, I was a genius who could stand shoulder to shoulder with her. And we were her rivals on the battlefield. He felt that this beautiful schoolgirl should remember him, and maybe even miss him every night. After all, they are the most suitable for each other. The couple is talented and beautiful, unparalleled in the world. Yang Wei smiled slightly, straightened his suit, and brushed off the dust that didn't exist. Director Li glanced at Yang Wei as someone who had experienced this. He naturally knew what Yang Wei was thinking. It's normal for young people. Maybe Yang Wei can persuade Lin Qiu to re-enter the competition. In this way, he can have more confidence in the national financial competition. Okay then, let's go over and take a look. Director Li smiled, then frowned as he looked into the distance. After a short while, excited cheers were heard from afar. He really doesn't like this kind of school atmosphere. School is a place for learning. Is it a place for you to pick up girls and learn? Especially the boy who pursued Lin Qiu, if I remember correctly. His name should be Xiao or something. Forget it, I can't remember the poor student's name anyway. Chapter 205. Why should I know you? Now Xiao Yang and Lin Qiu were in the center of the crowd. Xiao Yang wiped the tear marks on Lin Qiu's face, and even the tears flowing from the corners of her eyes seemed to be filled with happiness. At this moment, Lin Qiu is the happiest girl in the world, and Xiao Yang is also the happiest boy in the world. What is a talented man and a beautiful woman? What is a match made in heaven? All the students were convinced, even Ding Hui, who was standing nearby, couldn't help but applaud. Xiao Yang hugged Lin Qiu and said slowly, "Thank you for your support. If you didn't know, you would think I was having a concert." "Haha! Isn't this a concert? Lao Xiao, I am your loyal fan." Everyone joked. Xiao Yang glanced at Lin Qiu, who was shy, and knew that she didn't like being surrounded by so many people. After thinking for a while, he picked up the microphone and said, "Let's stop here today. Sorry to bother you all. I know that at this time, some of you should be taking a lunch break, some should be eating, and some who are studying for postgraduate entrance exam should be in the library. I'm sorry to disturb you all. Let's go now." Xiao Yang said apologetically. What he said was all true after all. This place was not far from the library. If he opened his voice, he would definitely disturb the students who were studying. At this time, everyone just shook their heads blankly. "Don't disturb me." "Yeah, not a bother at all. Another song." "What's the matter with disturbing or not disturbing? Take a shorter nap so you won't die suddenly." "That's right. I want to hear my idol Xiao Yang sing another song now. One more song, it's so good." Everyone was reluctant to leave, and Xiao Yang couldn't help but smile bitterly. Of course he still has songs. And now that the confession is over, I should take Lin Qiu somewhere to spend some time alone. Who is interested in singing here? Just as I was about to speak, suddenly, a cold voice came from outside. "What are you doing?" "Nonsense, what is a school? It is a place for rigorous study. Why are you gathering together? Are you making trouble?" Everyone looked and saw a middle-aged man walking over, followed by a young man in a suit. "It's Director Li." Director Li from the School of Economics was naturally well known, and many students turned their heads away. Director Li is well known for his strictness, and many students are still a little afraid of him. Although most university teachers are very lenient and do not interfere with students' daily lives, Director Li is different. He often scolds students. Xiao Yang naturally knew Director Li, and he quickly waved his hand to signal everyone to disperse. However, Ding Hui on the side snorted coldly. "The school is my home. I sit at home and chat with my family. What's wrong with that?" Everyone looked over immediately. Eng Hua naturally didn't know who Director Li was. And even if he did, what would that do? "I'm not even a student of this school. So how can you expel me?" Sure enough, Director Li glared at me. He was about to scold this shameless student, but the next second, he saw Lin Qiu's head buried in Xiao Yang's arms. He was immediately furious. He was naturally very distressed about Lin Qiu's withdrawal from the national competition. I tried to persuade Lin Qiu many times, but to no avail. He knew that Xiao Yang had confessed his love to Lin Qiu, and he had speculated whether it was because of this that Lin Qiu chose to give up the national competition. Now that the facts are before our eyes, there is no need for speculation. He immediately glanced at Xiao Yang, and he didn't seem as enthusiastic as he was with Yang Wei just now. As for Xiao Yang, he was not that familiar with him. After all, in his heart, he could only remember good students. How could he possibly remember a student like Xiao Yang? When Yang Wei saw that the goddess he had been thinking about was in someone else's arms, his face suddenly turned pale. He looked at the two of them in disbelief and actually took a step back. How is that possible? Only I am worthy of a goddess like Lin Qiu. How could there be any other man who is worthy of her? He is the most handsome boy in the business school, and the runner-up in the national finance competition. He is so outstanding that he even admires himself. Lin Qiu can only be a good match for me. What are other men? He is blind, his goddess must be blind. Director Li also glanced at the person behind him with a frown. He had the same question in his mind. How could Lin Qiu be in love? She has been confessed to so many times that almost all the boys in the school have a crush on her and are pursuing her. But liking it is one thing, pursuing it is another. But they never thought that Lin Qiu would be interested in these boys. This is an obvious thing. Who can be worthy of a girl like Lin Qiu, who comes from a superior family, is talented, and is as beautiful as a fairy? Just him? So uncouth. Director Li directly gave his own evaluation of Xiao Yang's clothes. He strode forward and looked at Lin Qiu. "Student Lin Qiu, what are you doing here? And I stay here?" Lin Qiu turned her face away, completely different from her previous look, her face full of coldness. She didn't like Director Li during the national competition last year. He was too strict and forced her to study hard. "Originally, I was just thinking of going to Kyoto for a trip at public expense. What national competition champion? I don't even care about that. That little prize money wasn't even a fraction of her own pocket money. So she didn't want to participate this time." "Okay. Stop messing around. Yang from the business school is here to see you. Let's go to the school building and talk," Director Li said coldly, waving his hand. "Business school? What classmate Yang? I don't know him." Lin Qiu shook her head and refused directly. Yang Wei was stunned. He never expected Lin Qiu's reaction to be like this. He turned his head away awkwardly without saying a word. Director Lee didn't think too much about it and said directly, "It's the one who won the runner-up in the national financial competition last year. Yang Wei, the last disciple of Professor Wang from the business school." Yang Wei couldn't help but glance at Lin Qiyu. They both thought that Lin Qiyu would remember, but she was stunned for a moment, her face full of confusion. Second runner-up? Why should I remember the second place? It's not that she looks down on Yang Wei, it's just that there are thousands of contestants in the national financial competition and hundreds of financial universities. Why would she want to know so many people? What's more, Yang Wei. This name is too unlucky. Zhao Yang, who was standing aside, couldn't help laughing. This name is indeed a bit confusing. Yang Wei looked embarrassed and could only let out a long sigh and walked out of the crowd. Lin, long time no see, how have you been lately? I wanted to compete with you again after I got back. On answering the questions in the final, you were so fast that I am still amazed at how you could be so good. By the way, you smiled at me when the exam was over. You should remember me. So you are the Yang Wei. Lin Qiyu was slightly stunned and asked, a little confused. Yang Wei's face suddenly darkened. Is this kind of joke between strangers popular nowadays? He let out a long sigh. I'm Yang Wei, we participated in the national competition finals together. Lin Qiyu was stunned for a long time. She really couldn't remember such a person. Zhao Yang rubbed Lin Qiyu's little head and said, "Forget it if you can't remember it. On T, think about it. It's a waste of brain power." Lin Qiyu nodded cutely. Yeah. At this moment, Yang Wei was completely stunned, with embarrassment all over his face. How is this possible? She didn't even remember herself. I have been thinking about her day and night for the past year, and I thought she was also missing me, such a powerful rival. But she didn't even remember herself? So what I thought was a mutual love was actually just one-sided. At this moment, his mentality was a little broken. It seems like how I became a bootlicker. A bootlicker who longs to lick the goddess but cannot get her. Why, I'm the most handsome boy in the business school. A talented genius. He's the last disciple of Professor Wang, the most famous professor in the business school. I am the runner-up in the national financial competition. I am such a dazzling and gifted person, but Lin Qiyu doesn't even remember me. It collapsed. My mentality collapsed. The people around had already been amused by Yang Wei's performance. The name itself was enough to make them smile, and now coupled with the plot. Aha! Some students couldn't help laughing. Goddess Lin is so right. You are the second place, why should I, the champion? No, you idiot. Chapter 206. The cool school beauty is just right. Yang Wei looked embarrassed. He's the most promising student in the business school and Professor Wang's last disciple. This identity alone is enough to make people in the circle worship him. Before he graduated, he received job offers from many companies. How can such a brilliant person with a bright future be forgotten? And this person is the goddess in his mind. Yang Wei said in disbelief. Have you forgotten that there are only 4 of us in the finals? And I'm right next to you. Lin Qiyu blinked and fought hard. After a moment, I suddenly realized. I remember now. Yang Wei's expression gradually changed, and he suddenly smiled. I remember it. As expected, it was just a joke played by junior sister Lin. Why should I be forgotten? He looked at Lin Qiyu with anticipation, waiting for her next words. That bitter melon, no, that constipated face is you, right? And made the onlookers around him cry wildly. This is so cute. My Lin Qiyu. Zhao Yang couldn't help but rub her cheek. But in Yang Wei's eyes, this scene was not cute at all. Constipation. What is that? Lin Qiyu was stunned for a moment and explained. I didn't mean that. What I meant was that you were constipated because you didn't answer the last question. Right? As soon as the words fell, the students around him couldn't help but burst into laughter. Constipated face. Colonel Lin is so talented. And at this moment, look at Yang Wei again. So vivid. Doesn't he look like a constipated face right now? Think about the arrogance and confidence he had when he stood up just now, which formed a sharp contrast with his current moment. Everyone looked at Yang Wei mockingly. Idiot. A student from the neighboring school has the nerve to show off in front of Zhao Yang, the most handsome man in our University of Finance and Economics. Still wanna poach people. Can you dig it? You wanna be the favorite across school? What the hell are you dreaming of? Now, people don't remember you at all. They only remember how you looked when you made a fool of yourself. Yang Wei was so embarrassed that he couldn't speak, and his whole body was shaking. He thought this would be a long-awaited encounter. A reunion and reminisce. But who could have imagined that this was how Lin Qiyu viewed me? This is like sticking your face out to get hit. Director Lee, who was standing by, was also very embarrassed at the moment. So he could only smile and say, Lin Qiyu, don't joke around so casually. After all, they are classmates from a friendly school. And they all take it seriously. Lin Qiyu didn't care at all. Just a second place guy. I don't know this person at all. But I approached him shamelessly. Everything else was fine. He had just reconciled with Xiao Yang, but what if Xiao Yang misunderstood him because of him? Lin Qiyu just glared at him with disdain. If I remember correctly, I got full marks in the finance competition, but this guy got not even half of mine and couldn't answer a single big question. With such a huge gap between them, you still want to look up to yourself. What are you thinking? Yang Wei's mentality really broke down. He took a step forward and stared at Lin Qiyu with wide eyes. Junior sister Lin, you are not kidding, you really don't know me? Are you mentally ill? How should I know you? Lin Qiyu was as arrogant as ever. Xiao Yang remembered that Lin Qiyu was like this when he first met her. Who would have known that she is as cute as a kitten in private? Yang Wei still seemed to not believe Lin Qiyu's words. And his breathing became a little rapid. Because I have always been thinking about you. Am I not your strongest opponent? The strongest opponent. Lin Qiyu laughed out of anger, his face full of sarcasm. I'm sorry, I really don't know you. If there are people who miss me, they can probably line up from here to the school gate. I can't know them all. Lin Qiyu glanced around. The next second, countless hands were raised. Yes, I miss Goddess Lin too. Goddess Lin is right, I have been thinking about you for a long time. But unfortunately I can't even add you on WeChat. Goddess Lin, please just give me my ID number, I've been thinking about it day and night. Everyone looked at Yang Wei with a teasing look. Good man. If you miss me, do I have to remember you? Do you know who Lin Qiyu is? The treasure of the University of Finance and Economics and the dream goddess of millions of boys. Yang Wei seemed a little unwilling to give up. He said angrily. But I have wanted to see you for a long time. I have been studying hard and solving problems this year. I want to compete with you side by side. That's just your wishful thinking. Lin Qiyu said bluntly. What about my feelings? Are you done yet? What's so special about you? Are you sick? Can't you see that my boyfriend is here? Lin Qiyu couldn't help it any longer. So she took Xiao Yang's hand and spoke coldly. I suggest you turn left and go 1 kilometer ahead. There is the best mental illness hospital in the city. Check to see if there is something wrong with your brain. If not, I suggest you go directly to Kyoto Brain Hospital. The voice fell. Xiao Yang himself was stunned. I'm almost not used to it. Even though Lin Qiyu always acts cute and adorable when she is with me. She used to be a student at the high-class University of Finance and Economics. That was the ice goddess who had rejected his confession 99 times with harsh words. The people around couldn't help laughing. Many boys immediately burst into tears. This is the aloof University of Finance. What's the matter with Lin Qiyu hiding in Xiao Yang's arms? That's how it should be. There are also many boys who are very happy. Oh my god, I was rejected in the same way. So cool. They are from their own school, and they have no objection to how Xiao Yang, a student from the same school, pursues them. You are an outsider. Why are you pretending to be so arrogant? Many people did not hesitate to show their mocking attitude. This talented student from the business school completely collapsed at this moment. Looking again, I saw Lin Qiyu suddenly frowned, turned her head and buried it in Xiao Yang's arms. Well, I'm excited. Lin Qiyu looked at Xiao Yang, stuck out her tongue, and her face flushed. Looking again. This is completely different from the sarcastic and arrogant schoolgirl just now. What is aloof? In front of Xiao Yang, she is like a well-behaved little kitten. And she is still acting cute. The WSL. Everyone was so cute by Lin Qiyu's little action that they were bleeding. Xiao Yang couldn't help but smile slightly. Lin Qiyu. Oh Lin Qiyu, how can you be so cute? Yang Wei's face was dead silent. He couldn't figure out where he lost. Even so, he is not as handsome as me. No, he is indeed more handsome than me. But I have talent. I am a brilliant graduate of the business school and the executive director of a multi-billion-dollar company. At this time, Director Li also stood up and said in a cold voice, Xiao Yang, right? I remember that you had been expelled from the school. It is not appropriate for you, a social idler, to appear here and gather a crowd to cause trouble. Chapter 207, Every word is heartbreaking. Gathering to cause trouble? Xiao Yang looked at Director Li in surprise. Before he could open his mouth, Lin Qiyu spoke first. Director Li, it's too much to say that you can even accuse Xiao Yang of gathering to cause trouble. Also, how come Xiao Yang is a social idler? Director Li did not expect that the dignified Lin Qiyu would speak for Xiao Yang. He was already dissatisfied with Lin Qiyu's refusal to participate in the national competition, and this made him even more angry. Especially Xiao Yang, this gangster who dresses in a shabby way. How can a student be good if he was expelled from school for fighting? Lin Qiyu is actually with a boy like this. She is the star of the University of Finance and Economics. Isn't this destroying her own image? For a moment, the anger on his face was no less than Yang Wei's. Lin Q, you are also a high-quality girl according to what you young people say. You are also a white, rich and beautiful woman. Look at this Xiaoyang you like. A student who was expelled from school for fighting. How can he be worthy of your lifelong trust? You are still young. Although you believe that love is beautiful, you have to learn to distinguish between love and flattery. If your parents knew that you were dating such a person, would they agree? Director Li immediately said earnestly. He looks like an old teacher who is worried about his students. It's not that he has such a kind heart, but as the dean of the college, he also knows that there is some power behind Lin Q who he cannot afford to offend. So he has to make his tone sound gentler. But what he didn't know was that no matter how gentle his tone was, no matter how much he brought up the matter of Lin Qiyu's parents, Lin Qiyu would not be shaken in the slightest. Anyone who says Xiaoyang is not her will become her enemy at this moment. Lin Qiu's face was suddenly filled with disgust. Director Li, since when has the school been able to control the love lives of students? This is not against school rules and regulations besides. This is a school, downstairs from the dormitory, and we are not considered to be gathering to cause trouble. After all, we live here. As soon as the words fell, everyone around nodded and said in unison, yes, we live here. Some boys also said the same thing. Director Li's face suddenly looked like he was constipated. It was the first time that he was confronted by so many students. He was the dean of the college. None of these students would be surprised at him for not behaving well. How could it become like this now? He scanned everyone's faces. This is downstairs of the girls' dormitory. How dare you, a bunch of grown men, say that you live here? But Director Li had no way to deal with their self-righteous attitude. He had no choice but to look at Xiaoyang again. Anyway, it's break time now. This place is not far from the library and is near the dormitory building. Students need to rest and those taking the test also need to study. You guys are making a lot of noise here and are affecting other students' normal routines. Especially those outside the school. Please leave our school immediately. Our school does not welcome social hooligans like you. Xiaoyang frowned slightly. Director Li kept calling them outsiders and social thugs, which seemed like he was slapping himself in the face. He was already somewhat dissatisfied with being expelled from school. After all, he didn't know how to explain it to his parents. In the eyes of his parents, this punishment was already very severe. His expression gradually became gloomy, and he stared at Director Li. For some reason, Director Li felt that Xiaoyang's eyes gave him endless pressure. How can this student be so arrogant? I'm telling the truth. Does he dare to hit me here? Seeing this, Lin Qiyu immediately became angry. She had never seen Xiaoyang so angry before, and immediately took a step forward. Director Li, what did you say? Director Li was confused. Is Lin Qiyu crazy? For such a student, he even ignores the teacher? Yang Wei stood up and chuckled. I thought he was someone else. But it turns out he's not even a student. He was expelled from school. If I were you, how could I have the nerve to enter the school gate? They're still here trying to stir up people's hearts and deceive junior sister Lin with sweet words. Having said that, he shook his head again and looked at Lin Qiyu. Junior sister Lin, you know that if you miss me, you will regret it for the rest of your life. What right do I have as a young man in society, a useless person, to be with you? Only I can accompany you to the top? We were the champions and runners-up in the national finance competition. Many people felt that we were a perfect match, a match made in heaven. You're going to give up a genius like me who has unlimited prospects and a bright future just for this person? A bad student who was expelled from school because of fighting. The words fell. A whole audience was in an uproar. Damn, this kid is too confident. No, this is not confidence. This is simply stupidity. Xiaoyang, a handsome man who can write songs and is affectionate, was actually called a bad student and a loser by him? She also acted as if Goddess Lin would not marry anyone else. He treats himself as a gold mine, as if it would be a huge loss if Goddess Lin didn't date him. Xiaoyang couldn't help laughing. Fang Jingyang is crazy enough. Fang Jingyuan is crazy enough. These two people even give gifts and cars to girls when they are pursuing them. How come you are even crazier than these two? You don't give me anything. But you are just trying to poach my employees with empty words? Why don't you go to heaven? Fuck, you really are a cerebral palsy. Mentally retarded idiot. Lin Qiyu couldn't bear it any longer. Although she is aloof, no matter what, she can only say a few sarcastic words at most. But who would have thought that a fairy like goddess like Lin Qiyu would be forced to swear? Director Li also looked at Lin Qiyu in amazement. He always felt that Lin Qiyu was polite to everyone and was considered a well-educated and well-mannered person. Now, Xiaoyang has led him to the point of swearing. Instead, the spectators cheered. This is their school. This is so cute. He was very domineering when scolding people. But the key was that there was a hint of cuteness in his domineering attitude. There is a hint of helplessness in the cuteness, and a hint of tsundere in the helplessness. It's the newest version of the schoolship. Have you ever experienced Lin Q2? 0. Yang Wei didn't expect that he would be scolded by Lin Qiu. And the scolding was full of foul language. His whole body froze and he just looked at Lin Qiu stupidly. What did you say? You can't hear clearly, okay? I'll say it again if you still can't hear clearly. Turn right after you get out of the school and take bus no. 31. It will stop at 6 stops after getting off the bus. Walk east for 300 meters. That's the best ear hospital in the city. Lin Qiu's face was cold and handsome. As soon as these words were spoken, the boys became even more excited. This is their Colonel Lin. He even has a map in his head when he scolds people. Right? Yang Wei was also confused, and heard Lin Qiu's next words. I said you are a cerebral palsy, mentally retarded idiot. Why are you playing the role of a domineering CEO here? You've read too many online novels, right? They say they are a match made in heaven. But you don't even realize what a piece of shit you are. Compared to Xiao Yang, you can't even compare to Xiao Yang's fingernails. Xiao Yang is a woman dressed as a woman. Fortunately, Lin Qiu took it back in time and turned to ask everyone. Everyone, tell me, is this guy named Yang Wei not even as good as Xiao Yang's fingernails? For a moment, everyone said in unison, yes. How can he compare to the male god Xiao Yang? What a rotten fish and shrimp. I really don't know where this confidence comes from. You are shameless. You really think you are invincible, don't you? Fingernails, isn't my male god Xiao Yang's fit better than his? Even if my idol Xiao Yang has a disfigured face, he is still much more handsome than you, Xiao Yang. It's embarrassing, isn't it? But the most embarrassing one is Yang Wei. These words are like knives stabbing my heart. It's numb. This is really numb. Chapter 208. Return to school? For a moment, Yang Wei was so angry that he couldn't speak. Upon seeing this, Director Li knew that he had to say something more. After all, Yang Wei came to the University of Finance and Economics to discuss cooperation. If he was offended, it would not be good. He immediately swept his sharp eyes over everyone and scolded them. You are all students, and you are outstanding talents in this society and the pillars of the future country. How can you say such unbearable words? It's vulgar. In front of outsiders. You must have the qualities that a college student should have. After the words fell, Yang Wei also shook his head. Director Li, we are all college students, but I really didn't expect that the quality of your students in the University of Finance and Economics could be so low. Director Li was stunned for a moment and looked at Yang Wei. Good man, I spoke up for you, but you stabbed me in the back. Right? Are you really going to continue with what I said? His face straightened, and he was obviously dissatisfied with what Yang Wei said next. But after thinking about it, he looked at Lin Qiu and shook his head. You? Follow me to the academy building. I think Lin Qiu should listen to this. After all, he is still the director of the college and was also the teacher who led Lin Qiu's team in the competition. Sure enough, Lin Qiu frowned slightly, obviously wanting to refuse. A Director Li's position was there after all. Seeing that Lin Qiu was a little hesitant, Xiao Yang stepped forward and said, if you have anything to say, just say it directly. If you need anything, go to the college building and tell us. Director Li glanced at Xiao Yang. Are you so annoying? Do you really think I can't do anything to you just because you are not a student of this school? He stamped his feet in anger. Where are the security guards? Why are these scum who were expelled from the school and idle people in society allowed into the school? Just then, a voice suddenly came from behind. Who do you call scum and who are the idlers in society? A confident voice. Everyone looked over. Director Chen from the Academic Affairs Office. Someone recognized it immediately. Director Li naturally also recognized the Deputy Director of the Academic Affairs Office. After all, the school's main academic affairs office must be above the branch colleges. Although he is only a deputy director, when we meet normally we are just at the same level, but the academic affairs office is always a department with great power. In addition to managing the school discipline and style of students, it also manages issues related to teachers' administrative style. If he caught a teacher doing something dirty, it wouldn't be difficult for him to punish him. Director Li stepped forward quickly and asked, Director Chen, what's this? I'm here to see classmate Xiao Yang. As the voice fell, the whole audience was in an uproar. Xiao Yang knew something about Director Chen, and he basically coordinated the disciplinary situation of students. And he seemed to remember the notice of his expulsion. The signature on this notice is the two big words Chen Yan. Xiao Yang glanced at Chen Yan and said, I am no longer a student. Did Director Chen call me by the wrong name? If it were in the past, Xiao Yang might have been a little in awe of his teachers. But after going through so many things, even people from the Fang family were slapped in the face by him. As a school director, he really had nothing to be afraid of. So he didn't give him a good face. No, I came to see classmate Xiao Yang this time just to apologize to you. Chen Yan let out a long sigh, his face full of flattering expression. It was natural that Xiao Yang didn't treat him well. If it were me, it would be strange that I would treat him well after being expelled from school. His face immediately changed to one of apology, and he lowered his posture very low, and slowly said, "It was my mistake at work last time. I fired Xiao Yang without investigating the matter thoroughly. After investigation, what happened that day was purely because of Xiao Yang's bravery. Besides, the two parties have already reached a settlement, so there is no need to pursue responsibility." At this point, Chen Yan frowned and said slowly, "It was indeed the Academic Affairs Office that did something wrong in the beginning. Now that there are many people here, I formally apologize to Xiao Yang and hope to get your forgiveness." Xiao Yang himself didn't expect Chen Yan to say this. When he looked again, he saw Chen Yan bowing to him and really apologizing. The people around were also slightly stunned. This is a deputy director of the academic department bowing to apologize to students. Although the apology came late, Xiao Yang felt much better. The Fang family was behind this matter, so there was no need to argue with Chen Yan. A teacher. Before he could speak, Chen Yan suddenly continued. "Actually, after our discussion, we hope to award Xiao Yang a 3 Good Students Award. But this still requires some procedures." After the words fell, everyone present was stunned. "Wow, you can win the 3 Good Students Award for fighting outside of school?" Even Director Li felt his head was full of confusion at this moment. A student was expelled for fighting, and now you tell me you plan to give him an Outstanding Student Award? Are you kidding me? Xiao Yang himself did not expect that Chen Yan would say such things. He waved his hand. "No need for the Outstanding Student Award. Besides, I'm not a student anymore." As soon as he finished speaking, Chen Yan hurriedly said, No, on behalf of the University of Finance and Economics, I welcome Xiao Yang back to campus. I will bear all the consequences of all previous mistakes at work. If Xiao Yang needs to explain things to his family, or if this incident causes any financial losses, you can tell me and I will compensate you." Chen Yan let out a long sigh, fearing that he would anger Xiao Yang. That can pin a person like Fang Jingyang to the ground and slap him in the face. If he really plays with me, I can withstand a few rounds. He was very self-aware, seeing that Xiao Yang seemed a little confused. He quickly continued, "Regarding your return to campus, the Academic Affairs Office is already preparing the notification. Once all the formalities are completed, we can officially notify the whole school and revise your student information. I'm sorry, Xiao Yang, for the trouble we've caused you. We will do our best to compensate you now. I hope you can put aside the past and return to our University of Finance and Economics." The words fell. Xiao Yang was stunned for a long time. At this time, Chen Yan's forehead was also oozing with sweat. He was afraid that Xiao Yang would directly disagree and give him the cold shoulder, which would then make him truly hopeless. The students around were also deeply shocked. A student who was expelled was invited back by the school, and the deputy director of the academic department personally apologized. This is too magical. At this moment, Director Li only felt a burning pain on his face. Xiao Yang, a social scum who had just been scolded by him and regarded as a social idler, has now transformed himself into a student again. Was he invited by the teaching department? Are you kidding me? The corner of his mouth twitched, and he felt a darkness in front of his eyes. Director Li frowned and turned his head. "Director Chen, re-admitting students should be the responsibility of the admissions office. Besides, how could the school agree to readmit a student who has been expelled for a long time with bad records? Are you doubting what I said?" Chen Yan didn't give me any face and said coldly. In his eyes, Director Li is almost finished. That's Xiao Yang, a mysterious rich second generation who overthrew the Fang family and repeatedly slapped them in the face. Are you still pointing your finger at other people and scolding them? You want to die? Fine, I won't stop you, just say whatever you want to say. Maybe Xiao Yang will take out his anger on you, and then I'll be fine. Chen Yan was in an active mood and looked at Director Li provocatively. Sure enough, when Director Li saw Chen Yan's gaze, he became furious. Deputy Director of the Teaching Department. So what? I'm the director too. Still positive? He immediately said in a stern voice. Since he was expelled, his readmission must go through our School of Economics. Xiao Yang was originally a student of our School of Economics. Why didn't our office receive any notification? Also, when did the Department of Instruction become eligible to admit students? As the deputy director of the school's teaching department, you should understand your responsibilities and not abuse your power for personal gain. You should go back on your word and admit a student who was just expelled from the school. What about the reputation of the school? You have no shame. But we still have some. Director Li's voice was stern, but he really seemed to be being fair and just. Even Yang Wei, who was standing by, couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Director Lee is right, although I am not a student of your University of Finance and Economics. I think that this is the fact. The University of Finance and Economics is a famous university in our J province and is also well known throughout the country. They are so reckless and have no regard for the reputation of the school. Anyway, our business school would never do such a thing. Chapter 209 The Best Man. After he finished speaking, Director Lee glanced at Yang Wei. Although what Yang Wei said was a bit strange, he was still speaking for himself. But at this moment, others showed contempt for these two people, especially Yang Wei. What is low quality? Why is the quality of our University of Finance and Economics so low? But Chen Yan smiled. Director Lee, why should I listen to you? You are no longer from our University of Finance and Economics. When did you start working at the business school? Yes. Director Lee, when were you transferred to the business school? Someone asked. The next second, someone in the crowd said. Director Lee brought in such a pretentious person and started to criticize our students from the University of Finance and Economics. If someone didn't know, they would think you had betrayed us. This hat cannot be buttoned. Director Lee's face suddenly changed. Nonsense, when did I not become a teacher at the University of Finance and Economics? I am just trying to protect the reputation of our school. You call this protecting the reputation of our school? Chen Yan changed the subject. Xiao Yang is an outstanding student of our school. With excellent character and academic performance, he has always been a role model for our students of the University of Finance and Economics. And as a teacher of our University of Finance and Economics, you always belittle our outstanding students. What is your intention? This. What do you mean Xiao Yang became an outstanding student? Wasn't he expelled from the school by you? Director Lee became a little excited and pointed at Chen Yan. Didn't you hear what I just said? He has been approved by the school to return to campus. And the previous punishment is invalid. Chen Yan chuckled. I just said it as a deputy director of the teaching department. What qualifications do you have to admit students? Director Lee also responded sharply. I'm not qualified, but the principal must be qualified. After saying that, Chen Yan took out his phone. A few hours ago, the principal had been urging him to complete this task. Chen Yan also knew that he could not suppress this matter, and the best way was to call the principal directly. At this moment, when Director Lee saw Chen Yan dialing the principal's number, his face became a little gloomy. Headmaster, I have contacted classmate Xiao Yang. He is right next to me. Chen Yan directly stated his purpose. Oh? I have informed him of our school's decision to allow him to return to campus. That's good, well done, Director Chen. The principal's voice reached Director Lee's ears clearly. Director Lee could naturally recognize the principal's voice, and his face immediately became gloomy. However, after finishing his talk, Chen Yan did not hang up the phone directly. Instead, he changed the subject and said with some regret, Student Xiao Yang has no objection to our school's decision, but Director Lee is quite critical of it. He thinks that a student like Student Xiao Yang who has a bad record is not qualified to enroll in our University of Finance and Economics. As soon as he finished speaking, Director Lee's face suddenly lit up. He never expected that Chen Yan would suddenly do this. Sure enough, I heard the principal's voice on the other end of the phone suddenly become much deeper. What did you say? Director Lee, which Director Lee? It's Director Lee from the School of Economics. Let him answer the phone immediately. Chen Yan nodded repeatedly and handed the phone to Director Lee with a smile. The latter looked as pale as death and had no choice but to take the phone and listen silently. Soon, an angry voice came from the other end of the phone, which scared Director Lee. The latter repeatedly said that. After the call was hung up, Director Lee was still in shock. He looked at Xiao Yang again. My mind is already full of doubts. How could an ordinary student who had been expelled from school possibly alarm the principal? Could it be that Xiao Yang has some other background? Or is it the power behind Lin Qiu? Yes, I should have thought of it earlier. No matter what, Xiao Yang is still Lin Qiu's boyfriend. Looking at Lin Qiu's attitude, I'm afraid she had already arranged all this. The others looked at this scene in amazement, while Xiao Yang smiled slightly. I have to say, it would definitely be a great thing for him if he could return to school. At least I can explain it to my family. As a human being, some diplomas are always good. Director Lee has no objections now, right? Director Lee just nodded slightly, as if he had not yet come to his senses. People like Li Ji, who had a good relationship with Xiao Yang, were already jumping for joy. Lao Xiao can go back to school again. Lin Qiu's face was also full of excitement. This way, I can see Xiao Yang every day again, have breakfast with him, walk around the campus, and walk hand in hand on the campus avenue. But at this moment, human sorrows and joys do not seem to be shared. Yang Wei couldn't hold it anymore. He felt like a clown. If you can make a funny expression, that would be perfect. He took a deep breath, looked at Xiao Yang and Lin Qiu who were happy, and snorted coldly. It's just a re-enrollment no matter what. I'm still just a mediocre student. As the voice fell, the faces of the people around suddenly turned gloomy. Xiao Yang couldn't help but sneer, hearing what you said. Do you think your student status is a shame? Yang Wei's face changed. I didn't say that, it's just that you are so far behind me. I am Kun Peng of the ninth heaven, and you are nothing but a firefly. Xiao Yang was immediately amused by his immature words. But the corners of his mouth slightly raised. I have to say, you are really the best among the PUXN boys. As soon as he finished speaking, the students burst into laughter. Yes, a top-notch PUXN man. I always thought that kind of guy only existed in short videos. But today, I've learned something new. Yang Wei was stunned and looked around. What are you laughing at? Who made you laugh? Do you have the right to laugh at me? As soon as he finished speaking, the laughter around him became louder. His expression flickered, and he turned around and looked at Director Li. What is a PUXN man? Director Li was stunned for a moment. He didn't know what this meant. However, a student was kind enough to explain. As the name suggests, a man with ordinary but unusual self-confidence is an ordinary man. Ordinary. Extraordinarily confident. Yang Wei's face suddenly became extremely ugly. Is this what you call ordinary? I'm the runner-up in the national finance competition. What qualifications do you have to call me ordinary? He still wanted to struggle. At this time his goddess, Lin Q, sneered, runner-up? That's such a pity that I can never be number one. You. Yang Wei's eyes flashed with ferocity. He looked at the goddess he had been thinking about with a mocking face, and suddenly he was unable to say a word. He looked at Xiao Yang coldly, attributing all this to Xiao Yang. If it weren't for his sweet talk, how could the goddess speak for him and attack herself? Xiao Yang, right? No matter what, you are no match for me. Once you enter society, you will understand that incompetent people like you will only be beaten by society. Beat? Xiao Yang laughed. I don't know who was the target of the beating. At this time, Director Li suddenly said, okay, stop mocking Yang Wei. He is here to discuss cooperation on behalf of the company. Speaking of this, Yang Wei suddenly became tough. He said with a gloomy face, yes, I came to your school to discuss cooperation on behalf of Xingyang Food Company. After that, he looked at Xiao Yang and sneered, students like you will eventually have to enter society and find a company to work hard for food and clothing for half your life. And me. Before graduating, he was already the executive director of the company. After saying this, he patted his clothes confidently, his face full of confidence, and he was very satisfied with his position. Xingyang Food Company. Xiao Yang was stunned. You've heard of it, too? Yang Wei smiled and looked around. Our company is a large enterprise with hundreds of millions of dollars in investment. You will all be proud to join our company. Only, he stared at Xiao Yang. A student with such low quality like you will probably never have the chance to work in a large company like ours in your lifetime. Chapter 210. You are not even qualified to clean the toilets in our company. Xiao Yang was stunned at this moment. Xingyang Food Company. If this isn't our own company, then which other company could it be? Seeing Xiao Yang's surprise, Yang Wei thought that Xiao Yang was shocked by his own identity, and the expression on his face became more and more exciting. He smiled and held his head high, looking very proud. Director Li frowned and looked at Yang Wei. Yang Wei raised his lips and said slowly, yes, I am here to discuss cooperation with the University of Finance and Economics on behalf of our company. Although our Xingyang Food Company was established not long ago, it has already injected hundreds of millions of dollars in capital. The company is young, but it has a wealth of talent and sufficient funds, and its future prospects are immeasurable. We at Xingyang Food Company pay great attention to young people with imagination. We hope to create a unique and powerful enterprise. We have set our sights on the university town. Our main intention is to build a young, energetic and imaginative management team. I came here this time to discover outstanding talents with growth potential and creativity, invite them to participate in our company's assessment, and allow them to enter the company for internship while they are still in school, so as to start training from young people. In Mais, you are just blank sheets of paper that have not yet entered society, and I will pick out the purest and highest quality white paper, and carve out a perfect business vision on it to help you realize your future life plan. Yang Wei smiled and looked around. At this moment, the mocking looks on the students' faces gradually faded away. They looked at Yang Wei in surprise, and their hearts were already moved. A large company that has injected hundreds of millions of dollars. Xingyang Cuisine. Why does it sound a little familiar? This guy named Yang Wei does look impressive after all. He is still a student, but he is already the executive director of a large company. After all, he is the runner-up in the national financial competition. Indeed, although it's a bit annoying, he does seem to have some strength. From what he said, do we have a chance to enter such a big company? hearing the sounds of discussion around him and seeing the gradually changing expressions in their eyes. The smile on Yang Wei's face became even more intense. He smiled, picked up the microphone that Xiao Yang had used to sing and confess his love, and said slowly, "I came here this time to discuss relevant matters with Director Li of the University of Finance and Economics. We plan to set up some plans every year to recruit outstanding talents to come to the company for internships, including grassroots personnel and of course management talents. For example, for junior sister Lin Qiu, a gifted talent, we at Xingyang are willing to offer a high salary to hire her as a management talent, without the internship period, and to start working directly." After saying that, he looked at Lin Qiu in a very showy way. "Junior sister Lin, although our company is young, it is very powerful. If you can join our company and fight side by side with me, I believe we will definitely move forward hand in hand and stand at the top of the world." The words fell. Everyone looked at Lin Qiu with envy. As expected of goddess Lin, she was invited to work in a large company before she even graduated, even at a management level, without an internship period. This is so awesome. The expressions of others when they looked at Yang Wei also changed. It has to be said that although Yang Wei is very narcissistic, as he said, they are just students now, and he has already got a high salary and joined a large company, while he himself is mediocre and doesn't know where his life direction is. Director Li's expression also relaxed. With this project, the principal can't blame himself. After all, I am also considering the students. Although the University of Finance and Economics is a strong university and is considered a famous university in Jie Province, there are only a few outstanding students. It is truly rare to be able to provide a certain number of internship places to provide job opportunities for students who have not yet graduated. And compared to campus recruitment, such young companies are more reliable. They are willing to employ and train students, do not require work experience, and have very strong capabilities. It's a particularly good project. He cleared his throat and said slowly, "Student Yang Wei is right. His visit this time can be regarded as a benefit for the students of our school. Students, don't look down on young companies like this. A society is complex. You may not have a chance in a Fortune 500 company. Large companies with a market value of hundreds of millions may not look down on undergraduates. This is an opportunity." Director Li raised his head even higher. Looking at the students again, each of them seemed to be thinking about something. Freshmen and sophomores may not be in a hurry, but juniors and seniors are naturally already considering it. Yang Wei nodded in agreement, took a step forward and stretched out his hand. "Junior sister Lin, on behalf of Xingyang Food Company, I formally invite you to work in our company." He looked at Lin Qiu, and Lin Qiu's next move had already appeared in his mind. She would be overjoyed. "Take my hand and accept my invitation." Next, he and Lin Qiu will become a couple that everyone in the company envies. Together they fought on the battlefield, invincible, and became a feared elite couple in the business world. When they are old, their names will be on the Forbes list and they will become legends in the business world. Thinking about it this way, I feel a little excited. But Xiao Yang, who was standing aside, almost couldn't hold it together. "Good job. If you really count, Lin Qiu is the boss lady of Xingyang Food Company. You invite your boss's wife to work as an employee in your company and want to touch her hand. What are you thinking?" Lin Qiu's face turned cold. "Psycho. You." Yang Wei was stunned. He didn't expect Lin Qiu to refuse his invitation. She is only a sophomore, but she can enter a strong company as a manager in her sophomore year. Isn't she moved? Didn't I make it clear? This company has injected hundreds of millions of funds. Billions. Not 10,000. How could she reject herself? Okay. Xiao Yang couldn't hold it in any longer and was about to speak. But Yang Wei interrupted him the next second. You can't." Yang Wei shook his head and looked at Xiao Yang with disdain. He said coldly, "I said before that our company only recruits outstanding talents. And you are so low quality and unbearable. I don't think you're even qualified to clean the toilets in our company." Xiao Yang himself was stunned by Yang Wei's words. "Are you sure you want your boss to clean the toilet?" He looked at Yang Wei with a smile, as if he was looking at a fool. The latter thought that Xiao Yang had changed his attitude and was trying to be friendly with him. So he became even more excited. Okay, since you want to join our company so much, how about this? As long as you tell me right now that you don't like Lin Qiu, I will promise you to join our company without internship period and get a 5-figure salary a month. How about it?" Yang Wei smiled. Television dramas always feature plots where love is tested by money. Okay, now you can try it yourself. He looked at Lin Qiu. His meaning was very clear. Come and see what kind of person the boy you like is. A 5-figure salary, is this a job that a sophomore can refuse? I just need to test it gently and you will know what kind of person you like is. If he hesitated even a little, it meant that he was moved. He doesn't love you. So, junior sister Lin, look at me. I am the one who misses you the most and loves you the most. Chapter 211 Clown. Lin Qiyu suddenly smiled, her face as bright as spring breeze. Xiaoyang also laughed, the same smile he would have when watching a comedy in a movie theater. Everyone was stunned. I don't know why Lin Qiyu was laughing. And Xiaoyang laughed too. Yang Wei was also stunned. Looking at Xiaoyang, wondering why he was laughing. Didn't he know that he was mocking him? The two of them suddenly stopped laughing in unison and looked at each other again. And he turned his head and two words popped out of his mouth in unison. Idiot. They have such a tacit understanding, it would be hard to explain if they were not a couple. Just a moment later, Lin Qiyu immediately covered her face. Oh my god. Why would I swear in front of so many people? Xiaoyang was amused by Lin Qiyu's expression again. He smiled and put his arm around Lin Qiyu, then looked at Yang Wei and said slowly, I'm curious, how did you become the executive director? How did Zhang Shengzhu fall for someone like you? What did you say? Yang Wei's face changed slightly. Xiaoyang didn't explain, he just took out his cell phone and dialed a number. Hello? Xiaozhu, Xiaoyang spoke directly. Oh my. I'll come you, the boss, have time to call me. Zhang Shengzhu's voice sounded a little tired. But he still did not forget to tease. After Xiaoyang handed Xingyang over to him, he paid little attention to anything else except transferring money. He never asked whether the company was making money or whether there was any progress in any projects. He was like a hands-off boss. Xiaoyang coughed. Take care of yourself. After that, he continued, does our company have an executive director named Yang Wei? After he finished speaking, Yang Wei was stunned for a moment and looked at Xiaoyang with confusion. Our company? Light Snow? Could it be that Xiaoyang is calling Zhang Shengzhu? How is this possible? His expression changed slightly, but he forced himself to remain calm, as if he was just a spectator. At this moment, Zhang Shengzhu was stunned for a while when he heard Xiaoyang's words, as if he was recalling something. After a while, she said, yes, there is such a person. My teacher recommended a senior to me. He was said to be very capable and had won a national competition award. I looked at his information and saw that he had a good resume. So I let him intern at the company. Now it's time to go to various universities to discuss recruitment matters. Intern, Xiaoyang was stunned. Yes, Zhang Shengzhu nodded slightly and continued. Didn't we say this at the beginning? Because gourmet restaurants mainly rely on barbecue recipes and are mainly self-service. They don't require many professionals with experience. We can recruit some interns from schools, mainly to train talents independently and save costs. In addition, we can use the power of the school to promote our food store. After all, the target audience of our food store is basically around this age. After Zhang Shengzhu said this, Xiaoyang also understood. This has indeed been discussed. A gourmet restaurant does not need many professional talents, but rather administrative talents, waiters and other such talents. They can be recruited through schools, do not require much work experience, and can be trained independently. So, I first recruited some management personnel, and then communicated with the school through them, so that the school could promote our company, and we could also cooperate with the school to continuously supply talents for our company. Then this Yang Wei, is he qualified to select managers or recruit staff? No, Zhang Shengzhu said directly. He is only qualified to recommend. The specific recruitment will be assessed by colleagues from the Human Resources Department. Xiaoyang nodded thoughtfully. So, that's what an intern is. And it was Zhang Shengzhu's teacher who recommended him to the company. He actually had the audacity to say that he wanted to recruit Lin Qiyu into the company's management team. Xiaoyang also understood what he meant. He is qualified to be recommended. And Lin Qiyu, who has won the National Finance Competition Championship, has a very good resume and excellent results. So normally speaking, if Lin Qiyu enters the company and enters the management level, it will be related to her own strength and has nothing to do with Yang Wei. Even after all this, you still want to trick our little Yu? Xiaoyang thought about it and said, then fire him. Is there anything wrong with your teacher? Zhang Shengzhu couldn't help but laugh. You are the boss, of course you have the final say. She also had some impression of Yang Wei. He seemed to be quite famous in school and had participated in some competition and won the runner-up. However, for Zhang Shengzhu, it was just some impressions. It was just a virtual competition. She knew better than anyone that only after actual competition would one know that one would not be able to learn much real knowledge from just those test questions. Especially since she is in the Zhang family, she understands these principles better. He is just a student on internship, so just open it. Okay, I'm fine now. Xiaoyang hung up the phone directly. Then he looked at Yang Wei and smiled slightly. Yang Wei himself was stunned. He didn't hear clearly what Zhang Shengzhu said, but he heard clearly what Xiaoyang said. What is he talking about? He asked Zhang Shengzhu to fire him. How is this possible? Why should he? He still remembers that when Zhang Shangzu first entered school, he was the one who helped her find a dormitory. At the welcome party, I also got Zhang Shangzu's contact information. She is such an outstanding senior. And also a favorite student of the same teacher, Professor Wang. And my junior sister in the same school. How could I be fired just because of his words? Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. He looked at Xiao Yang, shook his head suddenly, thought for a moment, and then asked Xiao Yang with a slightly weaker tone. Do you know junior sister Zhang Shangzu? Xiao Yang smiled and said casually. We know each other. After all, she is my sister-in-law. But at this moment, Li Ji suddenly came over. Zhang Shangzu. Why does it sound so familiar? After thinking about it, he suddenly realized, Zhang Shangzu, isn't she the pretty cashier lady in your store when we opened? Puck, why does it sound so familiar? Xingyang Gourmet Company and Xingyang Gourmet BBQ self-service restaurant are the same thing. Li Ji looked at Xiao Yang in surprise. And think back to the car you just saw. That's right. Everything fits right. Damn it, Lao Shao is just a rich second generation. A super rich second generation. All those big companies with hundreds of millions of dollars invested are just Xiao Yang's toys. What a guy, he even wants to hire the boss's wife as an employee and let the boss clean the toilet. Young man, you have a very rich imagination. He looked at Yang Wei meaningfully, with a smile on his face. The latter got goosensed from being stared at, and immediately took a step forward. What are you looking at? Li Ji shook his head and said slowly, you, remember, when you join the company in the future, you must listen carefully to the corporate culture training class. TSK 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 TSK, it's excellent to excellent. What do you mean? Yang Wei was stunned. Just then, a phone call came in. Hello, this is Yang Wei, right? We are now officially notifying you that you have been fired for abusing your power. Please take some time to come to the Human Resources Department to complete the resignation procedures. During your working time, we will provide you with certain compensation according to the law based on the signed contract. Yang Wei didn't hear a single word of the following long passage. He just stupidly listened to the voice coming from his ear. I was really fired. He looked at Xiao Yang again, but at this time, Xiao Yang had already hugged Lin Qiyu and walked away. Among the crowd, he seemed to hear two words, clown. Chapter 212 Domineering Female CEO. In an office with elegant decoration, Zhang Shangzu rubbed his forehead and looked a little tired. But his eyes were still bright. She smoothed her hair on her forehead and slowly leaned back in her chair. With her legs crossed, the black stockings under her short skirt give people endless room for imagination. At the age of 20, Zhang Shangzu gives people the mature beauty of a professional woman. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Mr. Zhang, come in. Zhang Shangzu didn't even look at it. Just closed her eyes. It was lunchtime at this time. Although she worked hard on her career, she also cherished the half-hour break in the afternoon. Yang Wei's matter has been settled. The Human Resources Department has issued a notice. I see. The voice fell, but the person who came in did not leave. She slowly walked behind Zhang Shangzu, placed her slender hands gently on Zhang Shangzu's temples, and began to rub them. Zhang Shangzu did not stop him, but instead let out a long sigh of relief. Boss Zhang, I just heard you answer the phone as the person calling from our company's boss. A pleasant sound fell into my ears. This is Zhang Shangzu's new assistant. After all, she has to manage the entire company now. And it would be unreasonable to not have an assistant. The assistant is also a girl, and an extremely beautiful one. Zhang Shangzu didn't deliberately look for someone based on appearance standards. It was just a coincidence. The girl was a fresh graduate from Kyoto University with an excellent resume, a personal image, and outstanding abilities, so Zhang Shangzu kept her. In addition to personal abilities, one thing that has to be said is that what surprised Zhang Shangzu the most was how well her assistant took care of people. Not to mention basic work like serving tea and water. When she is tired, the other party will also give her a massage, which is a different kind of enjoyment for Zhang Shangzu. The assistant's fingertips brushed across Zhang Shangzu's earlobe. She closed her eyes tightly, feeling extremely comfortable. But that was all when Zhang Shangzu heard the other party's question. She just casually said, "It's the boss call. I always thought that Mr. Zhang was the biggest boss of the company." That's not the case. Zhang Shangzu chatted casually. Then why are you working so hard? I've been in the company for quite a few days and I haven't met the boss yet. Is our boss a man or a woman? After saying that, the girl couldn't help but licked her lips. Could she be a peerless beauty like Ms. Zhang? That would be too amazing. A man. Isn't he Mr. Tian's boyfriend? If that's the case, then it makes sense. After all, it's your career. I don't have a boyfriend. Zhang Shangzu shook her head. Suddenly, the assistant's beautiful eyes lit up. Okay Jia Yu, stop pressing it and bring me a cup of coffee. Okay, the girl reluctantly moved her hand away, walked aside and started making coffee. Around her neck hung a work badge. Chujiayu, CEO assistant. Chujiayu poured coffee, turned her head away, looked at Zhang Shangzu, bit her red lips slightly, and couldn't look away. What a beautiful Ms. Zhang. Or he's like a domineering president. Love it. She quietly pressed the shutter button of her mobile phone. A beautiful photo was saved directly. In the photo, Zhang Shangzu was lazily lying on a chair, with a pair of beautiful, round and slender legs under her professional attire. Black stockings tightly wrapped around the long legs. But this way, it adds a bit of mature charm and is extremely sexy. Zhang Shangzu naturally had no idea that this good-looking, school-level assistant of hers actually had his eyes on her. She just closed her eyes and took a rest, not noticing that the girl who was obviously very beautiful had a perverted look on her face. For a long time, Zhang Shangzu didn't know how long he had slept. When I opened my eyes again, what I saw was an exquisite face, smiling as if staring at me. What are you doing? Zhang Shangzu was startled. But when he saw it was Chujiayu, he was relieved. No, I just saw that there seemed to be something on President Jiang's face. She opened her eyes wide, then lifted a thin hair from Zhang Shangzu's face and raised it. Zhang Shangzu thought it was nothing, but frowned slightly and asked, "How long have I slept?" "About an hour," Chujiayu said. "What, an hour? Why didn't you wake me up earlier?" She rubbed her eyes quickly and looked at the documents piled up in front of her. "I see that Mr. Zhang is working so hard. I want you to have some rest." "Why work so hard? The company is just starting out. I can't take a break." Zhang Shangzu let out a long sigh. "Look, all my hair is falling out." Chujiayu raised the fine hair that she had not thrown away just now. Only one fell off. Zhang Shangzu didn't care at all and glanced at the document. Chujiayu suddenly took the document from her hand. "What are you doing? Close your eyes and listen. I'll tell you. I'm just an assistant after all, you can't just ask me to serve tea and make messages. Believe me." Chujiayu rubbed Zhang Shangzu's shoulders, but put the document aside and said slowly, "This is a document about Rongsheng Edible Oil Company. They want to provide us with exclusive edible oil. Rongsheng Edible Oil Company is a private enterprise established in 1998. They mainly have two types of edible oils, one is animal oil represented by pork, and the other is tea seed oil. However, the former is more suitable for our gourmet restaurant. It has a special fragrance that can greatly arouse the appetite of diners. The contract they offered was for unlimited supply for 2 years at a price of. This is the newly launched Tap Hungry or Not. They want to invite all the stores under our company to open their stores and start takeout lines. However, our store focuses on self-service, which is also our feature. If we want to promote takeout services, we need to upgrade the structure of the store." Chujiayu's face was full of confidence as he spoke incessantly. Zhang Shangzu was stunned for a moment, then took the document and took a look at it. "After reading a few documents, I realized that what Chujiayu said was basically the essence of the documents. And some of them were completely absent from the materials. It can be said that a lot of effort was put in." Chujiayu's hands did not stop at this moment, gently rubbing Zhang Shangzu's shoulders. Memory and service capabilities are maxed out. Zhang Shangzu just listened, and when she finished speaking, he glanced at it, made sure there were no major problems with the document, and signed his decision on it. I have to say, with Chujiayu around, she did feel much more comfortable than before. She glanced at Chujiayu, her face full of admiration. The latter smiled as if a little shy, and suddenly she took out a small dessert from the side. "Boss Zhang, this is a pastry I made at home. It's not high in calories. Try it." As he said that, he asked Zhang Shangzu to open her red lips and gently fed it in. Behind him, Chujiayu's mouth corners slightly raised. A domineering female president. Get it? Chapter 213 Fire Reduction. Chujiayu couldn't help but move closer to Zhang Shangzu and sniff the scent on her body. There was a fragrance on Zhang Shangzu that fascinated her. And this professional attire adds a bit of temptation. Seeing Zhang Shangzu enjoying it so much, Chujiayu raised the corners of her mouth slightly and continued to talk about the documents on the desk that she had just browsed. Chujiayu is an outstanding student at Kyoto University and a famous talented woman at Kyoto University. But she is not short of money, nor is she obsessed with her career. If she wanted, she could easily be hired by most of the Fortune 500 companies. The reason for staying in Xinjiang is because of the woman in front of him. It's perfect for her taste. She has a temperament that does not belong to any man. She is independent and a domineering female president. She is simply the goddess of her dreams. Thinking of this, Chujiayu unconsciously moved slowly down and touched Zhang Shangzu's collarbone. Zhang Shangzu was originally enjoying Chujiayu's massage service with her eyes narrowed. But suddenly the slender hand fell on her collarbone. Her whole body trembled and she stood up directly. Yu was stunned for a moment, not knowing how she had touched Zhang Shangzu. Looking at Zhang Shangzu's almost flawless figure, she couldn't help but lick her tongue. So big. Damn, I almost touched it. Then, Yu said with a hint of panic on her face. Are you okay? I'm fine. Zhang Shangzu breathed a sigh of relief. By the way, you have such a good memory and are so capable. It would be a waste of talent for you to be my assistant. So, I will transfer you to the administrative department. Before he finished speaking, Yu shook his head repeatedly. I don't think I'm good enough for other positions. And besides, I think this position is more suitable for me to train myself. At this point, Yu bit her red lips and slowly said, Boss Zhang, you actually need me too. I'm afraid that other people can't take good care of you. You are the pillar of the company. She complained slightly. What's wrong with the boss? How can you put so many things on your shoulders? Zhang Shangzu smiled helplessly. The boss has other things to do. And this is also what I like to do. After thinking about it, she agreed with Yu. Then you can continue to stay with me. Okay, Yu shook her head cutely. What was transferred to other departments? She doesn't want to. I'm here for you. Yu secretly looked at Zhang Shangzu's collarbone again. Why did Zhang Shangzu have such a big reaction when I touched her? She can't be. Yu felt as if she had discovered a new continent and was extremely happy. Okay, you go out first. Zhang Shangzu waved his hand. Yu knew that everything should be done in moderation. Especially when it came to flirting with girls, she wasn't in a hurry. Take your time. She smiled and said gently, then if you have anything, remember to call me directly. I'll be outside. Go ahead. By the way, since Yang Wei has been fired, we need to find new candidates to take over the school cooperation. Please notify the colleagues in the Human Resources Department and ask them to submit a list of people who are qualified for this position as soon as possible. Okay. After leaving the office, Yu did not rush to the Human Resources Department, but sat down and stretched. I just memorized so much information word for word, so naturally I need to take a break. She made herself a cup of coffee and took a sip. He took out his cell phone and admired the photo of Zhang Shangzu that he had just taken. This leg. She let out a long sigh and put it on Zhang Shangzu's upper body again. He looked at himself again. This. Why does it seem like I'm malnourished when I compare myself to others? What a pity, I almost touched it. She sighed again and her fingers slipped. Suddenly, a photo of a charming woman in a long skirt, revealing long legs, appeared in front of him. Yu quickly wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth. Goddess. This is the photo she stole from Lin Qiyu's computer. She was intoxicated by the beautiful girl in the photo. To be honest, this girl is not as pretty as Zhang Shangzu. But the charm she exudes makes her unable to extricate herself. Especially this face. Such a clear face looks heroic no matter how you look at it. He even looks more like a domineering president than Zhang Shangzu. She admired it for a while, and seeing that no one was paying attention, she strode into the bathroom. Closed the door. Yu looked at the photo and slowly put her hand under the hem of her skirt. His eyes were blurry and his breathing became heavier. After a long time, she came out of the bathroom with a flushed face. After washing his hands and looking at himself in the mirror, Yu cursed inwardly. You have fallen, Yu. In fact, Yu had rarely done such a thing. Until I saw the goddess photographed by Lin Qiyu. Every time I see the photo, I feel hot all over. Reduce fever. But it's not just something men need to do. Zhang Shangzu fixed her makeup and wiped the sweat from her forehead. After fixing her makeup, she rushed to the Human Resources Department to report what Zhang Shangzu had said. At this moment, in Zhang Shangzu's office, a blush flashed across her face. She has a dark secret, her collarbone is extremely sensitive. Who would have thought that Yu would suddenly move towards this place? Zhang Shangzu suppressed the ripples in his heart and continued to work. 50 shops in Jiangdu are all busy at this moment. From decoration to opening, she has to coordinate everything personally. This is the beginning of Xingyang's business and she cannot afford to be careless. Come to think of it, she was indeed a little lax about personnel matters. Yang Wei was a student recommended by the teacher himself, and his resume was considered decent and impressive. But unexpectedly, he was the first employee to be fired since the company was founded. And it was Xiao Yang who called personally. She didn't ask Xiao Yang the reason, but she knew in her heart that Xiao Yang was a boss with a good temper. This was evident when the store first opened. For someone to be personally notified of a dismissal over the phone, it must not be a problem of professional ability, but a problem of character and morality. Zhang Shangzu was thoughtful and knew that he had not spent much energy on human resources in the beginning. So, he had to grasp this point well. By the time she finished her work, it was already evening. It's brightly lit outside. Looking again, many departments had already turned off the lights and gone home. Zhang Shengzu packed up the documents and put them in her bag. Just as I was about to turn off the lights and leave, suddenly a figure opened the door and walked in. Boss Zhang, Jia Yun, aren't you off work? Zhang Shengzu asked in surprise. It was already past 8 o'clock. The company's regulations stipulated that the working hours were only 6 o'clock, and there was no such thing as overtime. I didn't expect you to still be here at this time. Hey, I feel bad for our CEO Zhang. I was afraid that you would forget to eat because of work, so I made some food for you. After saying that, he shook the thing in his hand. They are all household bowls and chopsticks and insulated food boxes. I made this at home, don't worry. It doesn't contain any gutter oil or anything like that. This is a healthy meal specially prepared according to your physical condition. I guarantee that you won't gain weight after eating it. I have a qualification certificate as a health manager. Jia Yu smiled, walked to the table, put down his things, and laid out the food one by one. A killer weapon for picking up girls. Grab her stomach. Jia Yu's mouth corners slightly raise. Chapter 214 Wan Qian. At the same time, it is also an office. But it is a little shabby and the decoration is also from more than 10 years ago. Unlike Xingyang, the lights in this company were still dim, and several people were sitting at the conference table, sometimes frowning, sometimes showing a hint of expectation. Old. Don't call me boss. The woman sitting at the conference table looked no more than 25 or 26 years old. There was no extra makeup on her face, but she looked particularly charming under the dim light. After all, this company is the only thing my father left me. She glanced around, but some unpleasant memories came to her mind. If it weren't for me, I'm afraid this company wouldn't have developed to this point so quickly. Mr. Wan, has the new boss contacted you? Someone asked. The woman's name is Wan Qian, and she is the owner of this long-established company. But it soon became a different matter, as the company had been successfully sold. This was the reason why she was so emotional, and it was also the reason why the other people present were still gathered here at this moment. No, Wan Qian smiled bitterly. Everyone frowned again. In fact, company transfers are not uncommon in this era. But what is strange is that the company has been transferred for nearly half a month. But the new boss has not arrived yet. This made them feel a little uneasy. But there was also a hint of anticipation in this emotion. What kind of person is the new boss? It is to support the company to continue operating without changing the team. Sometimes he would just bring a new team over and eliminate them all without anyone knowing. Knowing that the new boss hasn't contacted Wan Qian yet, everyone felt even more worried. They are like commodities, waiting for their owners to come and inspect them. No one knows whether it will be discarded directly or continue to be used. Okay, it's so late, let's all go back. Wan Qian sighed and stood up. The others thought about it and had no choice but to turn around and leave. The company suddenly became quiet. After everyone had left, Wan Qian looked around the company, feeling reluctant to leave. This is where she has lived since she was a child, and she has a special feeling for this place. Unfortunately, everything here no longer belongs to me. Would it have been better if I had agreed to him at the beginning? She frowned slightly and shook her head with a hint of disgust on her face. At this moment, if there were someone here, they might be able to recognize her. Although she is not a top star, she was once very popular. She turned off the lights in the company sadly, looking a little lonely. Looking back, several big words are clearly visible in front of the company's gate. Noise Music Company. After dragging herself back home, Wan Qian collapsed on the sofa. If the company was not in its current state, she would naturally not resell it after all. It was the only thing her father left her. Opening her mobile phone, Wan Qian, like other young people, has downloaded various short video apps. However, while others use these software to kill time, the purpose of her downloading these software is not to kill time, but to find people. As the boss of a music company, Wan Qian has been trying to find a newcomer who can revive this company over the years. And in short video apps like Douyin, there are many short video bloggers who sing. Over time, watching short videos has become one of my habits. Lazily lying on the sofa, Wan Qian still frequently watched short videos. The sounds came from the mobile phone, all of which were some popular songs on the internet. This expression is too unnatural. This beauty filter is too much. Like a chatterbox girl, Wan Qian occasionally complains about these bloggers. In fact, she also found some bloggers who are very popular on short video platforms. But the embarrassing thing is that after removing the beauty function in the short video, she seems like a completely different person. The young puppy turned into a greasy uncle. The school's most beautiful girl had freckles and pimples all over her face from staying up late. As for the singing and humming in the short videos, they have basically gone through countless versions of audio editing. It's all emotion, no technique. After browsing for a while, Wan Qian threw her phone aside and let out a long sigh. It is really difficult to find a real person on the internet. After resting for a while, Won Keon picked up the phone again. This time it was not Douyin that was opened, but Bilibili. Although it is also a video platform, Bilibili does not focus on short videos like Douyin does. It focuses more on media-length videos, most of which are more than 10 minutes or even an hour long. The music area here is also a place Won Keon often visits. After watching a few videos, suddenly, a video popped up on Won Keon's homepage. Ampus Confession, Chongde University of Finance and Economics' top male idol sang passionately, and everyone in the room cried. A number of views is not high, but that may be because the video was posted at night. Won Keon clicked on it. At the beginning, thousands of students were seen holding up their mobile phones to film the scene. This video was also shot with a mobile phone, so the clarity is not very high. There were chaotic voices all around, but they all seemed to be calling out one name. Xiaoyang. Is he a campus star? Won Keon frowned. To be so famous in a school and have so many students following him. He must be a child star who has been famous since childhood. However, Won Keon, who has been in the entertainment industry for many years, has never heard of the name Xiaoyang. Since we are from Jiangdu, we are from the same hometown. Gradually, the sounds around gradually quieted down. The person who filmed the video with his mobile phone squeezed his way to the front row, and his figure in the video gradually became clearer. He is a boy with a handsome face. But calling him a male god is a bit too much. Won Keon shook her head. All kinds of monsters can be called male gods. Isn't his appearance just average in the entertainment industry? But the boy looked to have a good complexion, looked in good spirits, and was not wearing any makeup. In this regard, Won Keon gave it a thumbs up in her heart. Lin Q, I like you. In fact, I have said this 99 times. This is the 100th time, and it is also the 100th time I confess my love for you. The sound came clearly. Looking around, there were crowds of people, but it was unusually quiet, and the boy's voice was extremely clear. Won Keon widened her eyes and couldn't help but look at the boy with admiration. Even among the most popular singers and stars, you can impress so many people. It's not easy to calm so many people down with just one sentence. Looking at the reactions of the people around, they all seem to be expecting something. 100th confession. If you can confess your love 100 times, you are a god. Won Keon immediately became interested. The boy in this video is not ugly. If he confesses to me 100 times, I would probably be moved. Everyone will look at such an infatuated boy with new eyes. Perhaps this is why he has such a high reputation among students. Won Keon watched the video carefully. When she heard the boy in the video say he wanted to sing a love song he wrote, she couldn't help but frown. A love song you wrote yourself? Is it okay to listen to a love song written by a student from a finance and economics university? As a professional musician, Won Keon has very high requirements for music. She knew that some young people were extremely confident and thought that they could just write something and it would become a song. But the reality is, to some professionals, it's just a bunch of garbage. Some music written by internet celebrities is full of plagiarism, without any of their own ideas, and they don't even know some basic music theory. It's just to fool little girls. Won Keon's interest suddenly dropped and she was about to turn off the video. Suddenly, the sound of guitar came into my ears. Her finger was still on the exit button of the video, and she paused for a moment. A melodious melody slowly came into my ears. Melodious and simple. It's a very simple melody, but it's extremely moving. It's not easy to arrange music. No, the arrangement is obviously very simple, but it's not easy. Won Keon's face was full of surprise. How can such a beautiful melody be played by playing 3 chords repeated over and over again? She released her hand and pressed the pause button. Then he looked around hurriedly, as if looking for something. Where are my headphones? She couldn't wait to finish listening to this song, but she couldn't bear to listen to this song on such a poor quality phone. So her face was filled with anxiety. For a professional musician like her, it is an insult to a good song to play it with such sound quality on a mobile phone. Although she didn't hear the songs that came after it, this melody alone is enough to kill all the popular songs nowadays. You can tell whether a song is good or not just by its melody. Finally, she put on her headphones, took a long breath, and clicked the play button. The simple yet melodious and catchy melody is still in my ears. Finally, in addition to the sound of the guitar, the voice of the handsome singer in the video finally rang in my ears. Little Yellow of the story. I've been floating since the year I was born. Childhood swing. My memory keeps swinging until now. The sound is pleasing to the ears. With such a simple melody and lyrics, Won Keon's mind has already emerged with her campus, her secret crush, her youthful innocence and the pure eternity. A masterpiece. Won Keon's face was full of surprise. This made her feel like she was back to the time when she first fell in love. And Xiaoyang in the video looked like the young boy who was expressing his love by singing and playing the guitar. Everything seems like the green youth during school days. She suddenly felt a little envious of the girl, to whom he had confessed his love 100 times. This is the love that many people had envied. As for the one just mentioned about fooling the little girl, DSK, I have no idea who said that. Preso so si du si la so la si la so. The voice came. The water that Won Keon had just drunk suddenly sprayed out of her mouth. What the hell is this? Music score? Did you forget the lyrics, or do you really not know how to write lyrics? How can someone sing the music score as if it were lyrics? The corners of her mouth twitched, but her eyes widened. No, this piece of music is sung well. This is the truth. Green campus, hazy love. Forgot the words? No, this fits the mood. She continued to listen, playing the prelude and looking at the sky. I remembered the petals trying to fall. A day skipped school for you. The day it fell. The classroom. Why can't I see it? The disappearing rainy day. I want to shower again. The image of the boy in the video secretly skipping class to confess his love immediately appeared in my mind. Confess 100 times. Every time I skipped school to confess my love. On rainy days, from early morning to dusk. Looking at the boy's face again. It was already covered with tear marks. Sounds good. It sounds so beautiful. Won Keon was a person who was easily moved by emotions. And for a moment, her eyes became red. So infatuated. Who wouldn't love such a passionate boy? Male god. She swallowed and continued listening. A few minutes. Won Keon felt that she was immersed in the ocean of Xiaoyang's young love. The only figure in her mind was that boy. What kind of girl is worthy of a boy's desperate confession? Envious. Then I continued listening. From confession to being sought after by thousands of people. There is one last song, a secret that cannot be told. Become a god. Invincible. Won Keon was thinking to herself. Already getting impatient. She must go to the University of Finance and Economics to find this boy. He will definitely be able to save this now desolate noisy music company. Early morning. Xiaoyang woke up. Zhang Yan was sleeping beside him. Xiaoyang reached out and pinched her little head. The latter pushed his hand away directly, pouting with some dissatisfaction. Xiaoyang chuckled, picked up his phone and said good morning to Lin Qiyu. This has become a daily routine. Lin Qiyu responded quickly. The two chatted for a while, and Lin Qiyu sent an expression with a stomachike. Wait. Xiaoyang got up directly. He was not as listless as when he woke up in the morning. Although he fought with Zhang Yan a little late last night, he was still in high spirits. It's good to be young. Xiaoyang stretched lazily. At this moment, he also had to make breakfast for Zhang Yan, and then cook some other dishes, including red ginger water for drinking during menstrual cramps. After making breakfast, Xiaoyang went straight back to the room and slapped Zhang Yan, who was only wearing pajamas, on the buttocks. Wake up. No, let me sleep a little longer. Zhang Yan bit her red lips and pretended to be aggrieved. Wake up, didn't you say you had to go back to school for tennis training soon? Oh, I'm the captain of the tennis team. It's okay if I'm a little late. Zhang Yan buried herself with a pillow. Just then, the doorbell rang suddenly at the door downstairs. Hurry up. Xiaoyang rubbed Zhang Yan's butt after taking advantage of her. He went downstairs to open the door. Hello, is this Zhang Yan? I have a package for you. Do you think I'm someone who would choose this name? Xiaoyang rolled his eyes at the man and took the package from him. Zhang Yan is my girlfriend, give me the stuff. After putting the things away, Xiaoyang looked at the express delivery with a puzzled look on his face. What kind of express delivery can be delivered early in the morning? Return to the room again. Your delivery. What is wrapped so tightly? Xiaoyang took a glance. Chapter 215, Women's clothing only 0 times and countless times. This thing is wrapped so tightly that it is hard to tell what it is. I shook it and there was nothing inside, it was very light. Xiaoyang looked at Zhang Yan lying on the bed, picked up a pair of scissors and tore open the package. At this moment, Zhang Yan smacked her lips and yawned. Her eyes slightly opened, and she saw Xiaoyang opening the package. What the hell? I don't know, your package. Mine? Zhang Yan replied in a daze. But the next second, she suddenly remembered something, opened her eyes quickly, stood up, and dodged the package in Xiaoyang's hand. Be careful. Xiaoyang rolled his eyes at Zhang Yan. He had a pair of scissors in his hand and was not afraid of hurting himself in such a hurry. Zhang Yan took a glance and seemed to have guessed something, and her face suddenly turned red. Seeing this, Xiaoyang asked in confusion. What is that? Hey, don't worry about it. Let me see. The more this happened, the more curious Xiaoyang became. He sat down and leaned on Zhang Yan's legs, blinking and asking. Don't want. Let me see it. Xiaoyang's hand slowly rose up and grabbed Zhang Yan's soft spot. The latter uttered a moan, and something fell to the ground. Xiaoyang chuckled and took the thing over, but his hand was rubbing it gently. Zhang Yan blushed and slapped Xiaoyang. Is this how you prepare breakfast for me? If possible, I can be your breakfast. Xiaoyang smiled slightly and tore open the package. A thin strip of cloth suddenly fell out of the package. When he saw clearly, Xiaoyang's eyes almost bulged out. Is this a small piece of cloth? No, strictly speaking. It is called the guillotine. It was the photo that the female anchor named Xiao Yuguan sent to him that day. A bra as big as a fingernail. Xiaoyang gasped, and Zhang Yan had already buried her head in the quilt out of shyness. Damn it, I wanted to give him a surprise. Zhang Yan's face flushed. Xiaoyang took the small strip of cloth and tore it open. As if thinking about what it would look like on Zhang Yan. He said slowly, didn't you say you would never wear something like this? Even if you were beaten to death? Yeah, I just don't wear it. I bought it just to keep it, is that not okay? Since she had been discovered anyway. Zhang Yan immediately climbed out of the quilt and raised her head with confidence. Okay, you have the final say. Xiaoyang smiled and suddenly pounced on Zhang Yan. What are you doing? Zhang Yan was pressed on the bed, pouting and mumbling. What do you think I can do? Xiaoyang smiled and waved his hand. Zhang Yan was only wearing thin pajamas, so her perfect figure was clearly visible. I've already bought it. It would be such a waste if I don't wear it. The two looked at each other. Zhang Yan turned her head away, groaned, and pretended to struggle. You know, I used to love dress-up games. Xiaoyang held a small piece of cloth in his hand and slowly changed the clothes on Zhang Yan's body. The sun is at noon. After taking a shower, the two put on their daily clothes and came downstairs. As for breakfast, it was already cold. Xiaoyang had no choice but to go back to the kitchen to cook. But there was no need to prepare breakfast as it was already time for dinner. Zhang Yan limped on the sofa, her legs covered with red marks. As for the things that were just bought, they are now hanging in the bathroom to dry. Zhang Yan thought about what happened just now and couldn't help mumbling. What? As promised, the fun will increase now, it's better and the combat effectiveness is stronger. It hurts. She wants these red lips, but she doesn't know whether it is happiness or distress. I'm playing tennis for a while, but how can I run? Damn it. I have to stay at home for another day. Zhang Yan took out her cell phone and asked for leave from school. Xiaoyang also quickly prepared the meal in the kitchen. The rich aroma teased Zhang Yan's taste buds, and she soon forgot what Xiaoyang had done. After eating and drinking, Xiaoyang glanced at the time. After doing some calculations, he said something to Zhang Yan and went out with the insulated box. When they arrived at the University of Finance and Economics, Xiaoyang sat in the car. Here comes the question. Are you still dressing as a woman today? Xiaoyang looked at the skirt on the back seat and fell into deep thought. Someone once said that there are only 0 times and countless times for women's clothing. Xiaoyang thought about it and felt that this sentence made sense. That's not right. What the hell am I thinking? Shuoi has already made peace with me. Can't I just ask her to come down and get it? If not, just wait until her roommate finishes class. Xiaoyang patted his head and looked at himself again. At this time, he had already put on his long dress and wig. As for putting on makeup, Xiaoyang has become very proficient at it after trying it a few times. Although not as good as Lin Qiu's, but at first glance, there is not much difference between her and other girls. Except that there is something missing on her chest. Xiaoyang posed and looked at himself in the rearview mirror. Beautiful, this figure. Wait, I'm not interested in myself. Xiaoyang shook his head, drove out all the unhealthy things, called himself a lunatic, and then rushed to the girls' dormitory with his things. It's not that he likes women's clothes. Mainly, all of this has been put on makeup. It's such a pity to remove makeup so quickly. Xiaoyang wore a mask and strode into the girls' dormitory. The dormitory manager just glanced at him casually and didn't care. Arriving at the door of Lin Qiu's dormitory, Xiaoyang knocked lightly. The person who opened the door was Li Shaikan. Who are you looking for? Xiaoyang's face twitched, and he had to lower his voice and whisper softly. Xiaoyang gave it to Lin Qiu. As soon as the voice fell, Lin Qiu immediately leaned over from the bed to take a look. Xiaoyang didn't know that Lin Qiu didn't have class today and all his roommates were there. If he had known this, why would he have made so much trouble? Li Shaichao couldn't recognize Xiaoyang, but Lin Qiu did. When she saw Xiaoyang's lunchbox and the skirt she wore yesterday, she recognized her at a glance. Cousin, you're here. Come in quickly. Lin Qiu blinked and smiled with some surprise. She didn't expect Xiaoyang to come wearing women's clothes again today, so she thought of teasing him on purpose. Xiaoyang himself was stunned. Cousin? He frowned, looked at Lin Qiu lying on the bed, and immediately smiled. Yes, I came to see you, Xiaoyang said in a low voice. Fortunately, his voice was clear to begin with, and when he lowered his voice it sounded like a neutral female voice, so no one could tell the difference. After entering the dormitory, Xiaoyang looked at Lin Qiu with a smirk on his face. And the latter squinted her eyes and smiled. Cousin, yours is really beautiful. Xiaoyang was speechless. Wanna play? Let's play. Seeing that Lin Qiu wanted to get out of bed, Xiaoyang immediately stopped her and said, Don't get out of bed. Don't you have a stomachache? He carried the lunchbox, took off his shoes, and climbed directly onto Lin Qiu's bed. Xiaoyang said that he wanted me to take care of you personally. Seeing Xiaoyang climbing onto his bed, Lin Qiu was also stunned. The bed in the dormitory was small to begin with, and when two people squeezed together, the bed was immediately filled up. Xiaoyang was not in a hurry and put the food box aside. Come, I'll feed you. As he said this, he lifted Lin Qiu's quilt. He couldn't help but swallowed and lowered his voice. Aren't you wearing that? Lin Qiu's face flushed. Who wears that to sleep? She quickly blocked it with her arms, while Xiaoyang boldly straightened his chest. The meaning is obvious. Look, I'm not wearing anything either. I'm not scared at all. Lin Qiu immediately gave Xiaoyang a set of yin-yang fists. Okay, open your mouth, Xiaoyang said softly, holding the red water. The latter opened his mouth slightly, closed his eyes, and was full of happiness. Chapter 216 I will always be by your side. He ate the rice one bite at a time, and Xiaoyang fed him one bite at a time. No matter what the food was, it all turned sweet in Lin Qiu's mouth. Seeing this, Li Shiqiao teased. If you don't know, you would think your cousin is your boyfriend. Lin Qiu just smiled secretly. This is my boyfriend. While eating the delicious food, Xiaoyang couldn't help but look at Lin Qiu. The latter's face flushed red. He rolled his eyes at Xiaoyang and looked around. Fortunately, no one was looking at him. Xiaoyang whispered in his ear and couldn't help but put his hand down. What are you doing? Lin Qiu blushed and scolded in a low voice. But he didn't dare to speak too loudly and could only glare at Xiaoyang. He was wearing clothes. Lin Qiu was both shy and afraid. There were other people in the dormitory, and it was difficult for her to stop Xiaoyang's actions. The bed was so small that the two of them squeezed together, their bodies pressed tightly against each other, and Xiaoyang's hands were not at all at rest. Lin Qiu turned her head away, fearing that Li Shiqiao and the others would notice something. Don't move. Lin Qiu bit her lower lip and murmured. I didn't move. Xiaoyang's hand stopped and just placed it inside Lin Qiu's pajamas. Xiaoyu, have you ever heard a saying? What? Lin Qiu's face turned red and her voice was as soft as a mosquito. When you are well fed and warm, you will desire money. Xiaoyang whispered softly in her ear. The warm breeze brushes across my earlobes. Feeling warm. Get out of here. Lin Qiu pushed Xiaoyang. I should have known not to let him in. Now, he originally wanted to play a trick on Xiaoyang, but who knew that he would become the victim instead? This guy's hands are not restless at all. It would be fine if there was no one else there. But everyone in the dormitory was there, and he didn't even know how to behave himself. Lin Qiu pouted, but could only let Xiaoyang do whatever he wanted. Xiaoyang chuckled, and while no one else was paying attention, he lowered his head, took off his mask, and gently kissed Lin Qiu's red lips. Suddenly, a voice came. By the way, I have to go out in a while. I need to take a shower first. Meet that Li Ji? Someone asked. Bullshit, he deserves it. You guys live in the same dormitory. So how come there is such a big gap between Li Ji and Xiaoyang? Li Shiqiao snorted. Xiaoyang turned his head away. He didn't know when this kid Li Ji hooked up with Li Shiqiao. From what he said, it seemed like they were planning to go out on a date. Suddenly, there was a bustling sound. Xiaoyang was stunned for a moment. Then he saw Li Shiqiao actually taking off her clothes like that. Don't look. Lin Qiu quickly pulled Xiaoyang's head over. Xiaoyang had no intention of looking at it from every aspect. Lin Qiu was much more delicious. Lin Qiu was also anxious. She pulled Xiaoyang's head directly into her arms, not paying any attention to what was happening. The quilt covered Xiaoyang's head. Lin Qiu glanced at Li Shiqiao and saw that she was still saying something and did not let go of Xiaoyang. Damn it, shouldn't have let him in. It's okay for me. But if he takes advantage of other girls, I would be a sinner. At this moment, before Xiaoyang could understand what it meant, darkness had already appeared before his eyes. A burst of fragrance wafts into my nose. Xiaoyang roughly calculated the location in his mind, and immediately understood. The next second, Lin Qiu's eyes widened and her face blushed to the extreme. She bit her red lips, trying not to make any sound and be discovered by others. Xiaoyang in the quilt was already beaming with joy and looking extremely proud. Who isn't a child yet? To supplement nutrition. Let go. Lin Qiu reached her hand into the quilt and slapped Xiaoyang hard. Rogue, Lin Qiu cursed with a red face. You are the gangster. I am a gentleman, and gentlemen use words, not violence, Xiaoyang replied. You. Lin Qiu looked aggrieved. Through the clothes. Oh, then I'll take it off. Roll. Lin Qiyu grabbed Xiao Yang's ear and pulled him out of the quilt. Looking at her clothes again, there was a layer of lipstick marks on her chest, which was exactly the same color of lipstick that Xiao Yang used on her women's clothes. Will you still call me cousin from now on? Xiao Yang chuckled and rubbed Lin Qiyu's little head. TSK, stinky cousin, Lin Qiyu cursed, not daring to even look at Xiao Yang. Shout again. Xiao Yang was naturally not convinced. He directly seized the weakness and threatened him. Okay, I won't scream anymore, let go of me. Lin Qiyu agreed with a pout. Call me husband. Old what a scumbag. Lin Qiyu snorted. Xiao Yang's hands became bolder. Lin Qiyu blushed and whispered softly. Husband? That's right. Call me daddy. Dad didn't come. But he came with a bang. Lin Qiyu looked at her roommates and smiled. There are mosquitoes. He turned around and glared at Xiao Yang, who was covering his face with a look of grievance. Okay, don't feel aggrieved. I didn't use much force. Lin Qiyu smiled and comforted Xiao Yang. The latter naturally didn't feel any pain. He was just joking with Lin Qiyu. Xiao Yu, why can't you hear your cousin talking? Someone suddenly asked. She is sleepy and is sleeping, Lin Qiyu said as she pulled Xiao Yang down. The two of them huddled on this small bed. Xiao Yang just looked at Lin Qiyu tenderly, and suddenly remembered the scene in the hotel a few days ago. At that time, it was Lin Qiyu who sneaked into the quilt. She just lay on Xiao Yang like this. This situation is somewhat similar. Lin Qiyu's face was flushed. She snuggled in Xiao Yang's arms and felt a little sleepy. Yawning, Lin Qiyu blinked and stared at Xiao Yang. This narration is naturally very uncomfortable, although Xiao Yang was with her. Her period came yesterday. She got up very early in the morning, and after eating to warm her stomach, she felt a little sleepy. Xiao Yang hugged Lin Qiyu, with the beauty in his arms. Xiao Yang closed his eyes. The two of them hugged each other, and Lin Qiyu cursed softly, You hooligan. We are an old married couple. Lin Qiyu turned her head away. After a long while, she turned her head again. My period has come. I know. Are you feeling uncomfortable? Of course it hurts. So do you want to? Xiao Yang pointed at Lin Qiyu's mouth and thought of the scene in the hotel. Suddenly a smirk appeared on his face. Get lost. Lin Qiyu rolled her eyes at Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang smiled and hugged Lin Qiyu even tighter. Okay, go to sleep. You'll be fine in a while. Xiao Yang smiled. Lin Qiyu nodded obediently and closed her eyes. Xiao Yang kissed Lin Qiyu's forehead lightly. Seeing her eyelashes trembling, which was so cute, his heart calmed down. Go to sleep. I will always be by your side, Xiao Yang murmured softly, and soon fell asleep. Chapter 217 Goddess. The last chapter was blocked, but it shouldn't have much of an impact, so I'll just skip ahead and read it. I'll drive less in the future, as my mentality has collapsed. I slept until the afternoon. After the two of them ordered some takeout for dinner and ate together. Xiao Yang also left the girls' dormitory. On campus, the sunset was beautiful. A woman slowly got out of the car and looked around. She was wearing a long black dress, with ink stains, and wrapped tightly. Hello, classmate. At this moment, Xiao Yang had just come down from the girls' dormitory when someone patted him on the shoulder. When I turned around, I saw that the other person was wrapped tightly like me and could not be seen. Could it be that he is also a crossdresser like me? Xiao Yang said something in his heart, but he replied. Hello, what's the matter? I want to ask if you know Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang was slightly stunned, then smiled and said. Who doesn't know Xiao Yang in this financial university? The tightly wrapped woman was none other than Wan Qian, who came to the University of Finance and Economics to find Xiao Yang. Hearing Xiao Yang's words, Wan Qian couldn't help but be stunned. She didn't expect Xiao Yang to be so well known. She smiled and continued. I mean, can you help me find Xiao Yang? Cannot. Why? Because, Xiao Yang hesitated and asked, why are you looking for Xiao Yang? I actually know him. It's like this, I'm the head of a music company. I happened to see Xiao Yang's confession on the internet. I think he has great potential and want to recruit him to our company to be a singer. Wan Qian didn't intend to make up any excuses and directly stated her purpose. Singer. Xiao Yang was slightly stunned. This was a path he had never thought of. After the system rewarded me for my voice control, my singing really sounds much better. But he also knows that the gap between him and those professional singers is huge. Besides, who would be worth hundreds of billions and have nothing better to do than to be a singer? I know Xiao Yang, he has no interest in being a singer. I think you came here for nothing, Xiao Yang said with a smile. Really? Wan Qian was stunned for a moment. Don't all the young people today want to be big stars? Especially the kids nowadays. If you ask any of them, everyone's answer will be a star, or at least a big internet celebrity. However, Wan Qian naturally wouldn't believe what the man in front of her said. She smiled and said, well, can you take me to see him? I don't think he will reject me. I'm busy, sorry, please find someone else. Xiao Yang said this and wanted to turn around and leave. How can I find myself? Xiao Yang didn't want to be a singer in the first place. So he decided to leave after thinking about it. But at this moment, another hand climbed onto his shoulder. Classmate. Xiao Yang turned around and saw that it was not the tightly wrapped woman, but a girl in professional attire who looked to be about 22 or 23 years old. Am I so popular with women today? Xiao Yang couldn't help but ask himself secretly. Although Wan Qi unwrapped herself tightly, Xiao Yang could guess from her temperament that the person beneath the mask and sunglasses was probably not an ordinary person. The girl in front of him who was patting his shoulder was even more beautiful. Like Lin Qiu, she was a school-level beauty. But this girl has a slightly raised mouth corner and short hair and a ponytail, which gives her a heroic feeling. The girl chuckled and suddenly reached out to lift Xiao Yang's chin. Hello, classmate, do you know which girl's dormitory Lin Qiu is in? Xiao Yang was not short, but this girl was a little taller than him and actually lifted his chin in public. Xiao Yang only felt that his male self-esteem was severely hit. He immediately slapped the girl's hand away and snorted. I don't know. My god, it's too embarrassing to have my chin touched by a girl. The girl giggled, but did not leave immediately. Instead, she put her arm around Xiao Yang's shoulders, touched her lips with the thumb of her other hand, raised the corner of her mouth slightly, and said slowly, Miss, you are so beautiful, especially the eyes. Xiao Yang couldn't help but blush. Oh my god, am I being teased by a girl? He was obviously stunned. This was a completely new experience he had never had before. Xiao Yang turned his head and looked at the girl. I saw that the other person was staring at me closely, and it seemed that he was quite ruffian and was ready to push me against the wall at any time. Eyes met. The girl was stunned for a moment. She was just high on it, teasing him casually, but at such a close distance. When I looked closely, I felt that these eyes were somewhat familiar. The eyeliner is very long, but it has a standard phoenix eye with a hint of heroism. The eyes are clear, the spirit is elegant and the mind is clear. The eyebrows are raised and the lines are beautiful. This. Fuck, goddess. The girl suddenly exclaimed. Before Xiao Yang could say anything, he felt spit sprayed all over his face. What goddess? Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment, obviously not reacting. I have been called a male god many times, but this is the first time I have heard the concept of goddess. The girl's surprised expression changed slightly, and soon turned into surprise. Yes, the person who knows Shuoi must be a student from Zhongde University of Finance and Economics. Why didn't I think of it? A girl was delighted. She pointed to the distance and suddenly asked, Where are you looking? Xiao Yang turned his head away subconsciously. However, the next second, a pair of small hands appeared beside his ears. His fingertips passed through and directly took off Xiao Yang's mask. Xiao Yang didn't have time to stop it, and the girl was quick-eyed and quick-handed. And the next second, the mask was already in the girl's hands. Xiao Yang's face was directly exposed to the air. He turned around in surprise, only to see that the expression on the girl's face had frozen. In just a moment, the girl's face was suddenly covered with a blush that was extremely inconsistent with her. Fuck, Xiao Yang cursed and quickly covered his face with one hand. He is well known in school. If someone saw me wearing women's clothing, the whole school would probably know about it. Give me back the mask, Xiao Yang said coldly. The girl ignored Xiao Yang at all. Instead, she reached out and tried to pry Xiao Yang's hands apart. What are you doing? I miss you so much, my goddess. The girl widened her eyes and her voice became much softer. The girl was none other than Lin Qiu's half-sister Chujia. She came to the University of Finance and Economics this time to find Lin Qiu. But she didn't expect to meet this goddess who kept her awake at night and thought about her day and night. Xiao Yang's appearance in women's clothing had long been deeply engraved in her mind. How could she not remember it? She recognized him just by looking at his eyes. When Chujia took off the mask and saw the goddess of his dreams, his heart was already filled with joy. She had thought of all the possible scenarios, but she had never imagined that she would meet the goddess on the path in the campus. This. So fucking romantic. Chujia's face was rarely flushed, but Xiao Yang was already stunned. Goddess. This word directly refreshed his three views. Chapter 218 Waldong. Well, did you recognize the wrong person? We have never met before. Xiao Yang was a little confused. He swallowed and pushed away the hand on his shoulder. Can you give me back the mask? Xiao Yang glanced around furtively. Fortunately, it was dusk and no one should be able to see his face clearly. No, I want to take a few more looks. Chujiyu playfully put the mask behind her back and looked at the somewhat helpless face, finding it very interesting. Ah, why is the goddess' voice so sweet? In fact, Xiao Yang's voice is still very masculine. But to Chujiyu, it is understood as a smoky voice with a neutral beauty. No, aren't you looking for Lin Qiu? Go find her quickly and give me back the mask. Here, Xiao Yang was also at a loss whether to laugh or cry. Looking at this absolutely beautiful face, he wondered if there was something wrong with this beautiful woman's brain. How can she be so beautiful but have such a bad brain? But Chujiayu refused to return the mask to Xiao Yang, and instead moved closer. I've already found you, why would I look for Shuoi? The beautiful face was getting closer and closer, and Xiao Yang could only step back slowly. If this were seen by others, I would not be able to explain myself even if I spoke 10 times. Especially in this well-known campus of the University of Finance and Economics, where many people know me, not to mention that I will be socially ruined. How can I explain this to Lin Qiyu, since I finally got it back? Bang! Xiao Yang felt that he was retreating to a tree and leaning against the tree. There was no way to retreat. Chujiayu's face was getting closer and closer, and she looked at the face in front of her. The corners of her mouth couldn't help but rise. Is this the feeling of being moved? She just felt her heart pounding. Well, I'll take you to find Lin Qiyu, please let me go. Xiao Yang couldn't help but look sad a minute. He was bullied by a woman. Of course, he could definitely perform a set of Wing Chun. But regardless of whether he could do it or not, if he was discovered, it would be a big problem. Chujiayu shook her head, and her heart was filled with satisfaction. I actually pushed the goddess against the wall. She slowly raised her legs. Do you know what leg bang means? Chujiayu's long legs instantly crossed over Xiao Yang's shoulders. Just like that, long legs and black textured stockings appeared directly in front of Xiao Yang. Depend on. Xiao Yang cursed. It's okay to just do a wall dong. But it's also about the leg dong. I was hit on the leg by a girl. And I don't care about my dignity anymore? Xiao Yang grabbed Chujiayu's long legs. But the latter looked very proud and snorted. Does it smell good? Bah, it smells like feet. Xiao Yang turned his head away. Don't mention it, these legs are really. Bah, those stockings are pretty. Where did you buy them? I'll buy a pair for Zhang Yan right now. Xiao Yang cursed secretly in his heart, while grabbing the other person's ankle. Their eyes met, and there was an indescribable feeling in the air. TSK, my feet don't smell, Chujiayu said proudly. Put her legs down awkwardly, with a stern look on her face. I don't care whether you have smelly feet or not. I'm leaving you, go find your Lin Qiyu, okay? Xiao Yang rolled his eyes at Chujiayu and was about to leave. Hey, wait. How? Leave me your contact information. Chujiayu smiled slightly. No, get out. Xiao Yang waved his hand. Then I'll follow you. Xiao Yang had no choice but to read it out directly. 152. Give me back my mask. Chujiayu chuckled. But did not return the mask to Xiao Yang directly. Instead, she put her arm on his shoulders again. Let's take a photo together. No, it's too dark here, we can't see faces clearly. Let's find a coffee shop, or hotel? Chujiayu's expression brightened and she looked at Xiao Yang. Let's go get a room. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Yang almost vomited the blood that had been accumulating for many years. Open a room. Are the thoughts of girls nowadays progressing too fast? Has our acquaintance come to this point? Especially Chujiayu's face. If she showed it to others, I'm afraid everyone on the street would be happy with it. Goddess, do you have your ID with you? I'll take your sister. My sister. Chujiayu was stunned for a moment, then slowly said, if it's my sister, that's not good. No, you know my sister. My sister is Lin Qiyu. Do you want to? Chujiayu widened his eyes. Sure enough, the goddess and Shuoi are in love. That's right. Otherwise, how could they take such a set of photos? So, maybe they are also lesbians? Isn't this a coincidence? No need to bend it. Chujiayu was immediately delighted. But thinking that this was the time when he could enjoy the goddess all to himself. How could he bring Shuoi along? She shook her head. Shuoi has her period these 2 days, so let's not call her. It's just the two of us. Xiao Yang was stunned. Is this what I mean when I say take your sister with me? Why are there only 3 of them? What's in your head? Xiao Yang really wanted to open Chujiayu's head to see what was inside. But if there are 3 of us, etc. Lin Qiyu is your sister? Yes, Chujiayu smiled. That's even more unacceptable. Xiao Yang let out a long sigh. This was no big deal. He held his forehead, feeling that the impact was a bit too much. And he needed to relax and adjust his worldview. Well, I really have something else to do. Let's talk about taking pictures later. Okay. While Chujiayu was still in a daze and hadn't reacted, Xiao Yang quickly fled the scene. This is too fucking horrible. How come I became someone else's goddess? On this side, Chujiayu glanced at Xiao Yang's back, thought about it, and decided not to chase after him. Chujiayu understands that more haste makes waste. I have written down the goddess phone number so I can call her when I have nothing to do. She has a good memory, and she can almost recite Xiao Yang by heart after he tells her the story once. After entering the phone number into his mobile phone and making a note, Jujiayu suddenly remembered that he hadn't even asked the goddess name. She snorted and dialed the number. Hello, the number you dialed is invalid. Please check before redialing. Sorry. Jujiayu was stunned for several seconds. The goddess actually deceived herself. This. On the other side, Xiaoyang was also still in shock. It's too exaggerated that I could be kicked in the leg by a girl. Of course, this is nothing. The most important thing is that this is Lin Q's sister. If Lin Q knew about this, wouldn't it be? It's so fucking exciting just thinking about it. No, it's outrageous. Xiaoyang took a breath of cold air. This is the last time. I can't dress like a woman anymore. At this moment, a pair of hands were placed on Xiaoyang's shoulders again. Xiaoyang's mouth twitched. A faint voice came from behind. Classmate. Xiaoyang turned around and saw a boy. Well, you're so beautiful, I guess I can meet you. You're looking for death. Xiaoyang raised his fist directly. But after a while, a slightly obscene boy rubbed his dark circles and rushed to the infirmary. Muttering, girls are too scary, woo. Chapter 219 First Love Goddess. I can't kill you. Xiaoyang took his hand back and said, don't pat my shoulder anymore. If you do that, I'll have psychological trauma. But before this thought was completely settled, another pair of slender hands fell on my shoulders. You. Classmate, we meet again. Xiaoyang withdrew his hand and said, it's okay if she's a woman. Do you really know Xiaoyang? Can you take me to find him? It was the same tightly wrapped woman from before? Xiaoyang frowned slightly. Are you anxious? Yes. I really want to see him, the woman said with a hint of joy. I don't understand. As a music company, do you really need Xiaoyang to be a singer? And I know that Xiaoyang is not interested in this. You can actually give up, Xiaoyang said with a smile. But I still want to see Xiaoyang. I think he will agree to my request. Xiaoyang frowned slightly. He didn't expect this woman to be so persistent. Send her away quickly. After thinking for a while, Xiaoyang said, then you just wait here. I'll call him over for you to meet him later. When he arrived at the parking lot, Xiaoyang took a quick look around and saw that there was no one around. Then he got into the car, changed his clothes, removed his makeup, and returned to his manly form. Get off the car again and return to the tree. The woman was still waiting, so Xiaoyang stepped forward and asked, are you looking for me? When she saw Xiaoyang, the woman's expression brightened. At this moment, Xiaoyang looked exactly the same as when he was singing and confessing in the video. He was dressed in casual clothes, but there was something strange on his face. Like, makeup that hasn't been removed cleanly? But no matter how you look at it, he looks like he's wearing no makeup, and he's already much more handsome than those stars on EV. Besides that, it's the temperament. She had rarely seen a student so young and not a star who could have such a temperament that was unforgettable at first sight. The most memorable thing about a person is his temperament. And Xiaoyang possesses such a temperament. She looked Xiaoyang up and down as if she saw a treasure. If a person like him debuted, he would definitely be a rising star. All the young handsome men and beautiful women would be killed in seconds. Even someone as knowledgeable as her in the industry couldn't help but be attracted by Xiaoyang. Thus one word or one action can make girls crazy. No wonder everyone in the University of Finance and Economics knows Xiaoyang. Who is handsome and infatuated. He also sings beautifully. When you have both talent and good looks, that's the code to wealth. She is now really envious of the girl who was confessed to that day. This is like saving the galaxy, right? Xiaoyang naturally had no idea what Wan Qian was thinking. He just felt a little uncomfortable. This was the second time he had been stared at like this. Seeing that the woman was reluctant to speak, Xiaoyang had no choice but to say, I know why you're here. My friend has already told me. You're a talent scout, right? But to be honest, I don't have any intention of entering the entertainment industry. If everything is okay, I'm leaving now. Bye. Xiaoyang waved his hand, turned around and wanted to leave. Wait, Wan Qian had finally found Xiaoyang. How could she let him leave so easily? Can we talk some more? I'm the head of Xuanhua Music Company. You should know Xuanhua, right? It was once the largest music company in Jiangdu. Believe me, if you join Xuanhua, we will definitely give you the best resources and make you a household name and the biggest star in China. Having said that, Wan Qian quickly handed over her business card. Xuanhua Music Company? Xiaoyang was stunned. Isn't this the music company that I bought at the auction dinner? If Wan Qian hadn't mentioned it, I would have almost forgotten about it. The system has two more tasks. One is about the music company, and the other is to sign Shang Xin. It can't be said that Xiaoyang has a bad memory. It's mainly because he has been trying every possible way to get Lin Q back. And he has to fight with Zhangyan every day. He had forgotten about the system's mission. This may be the land of intoxicated beauty. So is this actually your own employee? He immediately became interested and looked Wan Qian up and down. You found your boss and said you want to make him famous. Your idea. TSK TSK TSK. Thinking of this, Xiao Yang smiled and said, "You also said that Xuanhua was once the largest music company in Jiangdu. As far as I know, Xuanhua has been in decline for a long time now. It doesn't even have an artist worth showing off, let alone any resources. What resources do you think you can get to support me?" Xuanhua may be unable to protect himself now. After she finished speaking, Wan Qian herself was stunned. His expression suddenly became much more lonely. Yes, Xuanhua is in a difficult situation now. The entire company has been sold long ago. Logically speaking, he is not even the person in charge of the company. Who knows if the boss will fire him when he takes over the company one day? What's the point of praising others? And you even have the audacity to say that you want to make this person a household name? If a young talent like Xiao Yang wants to enter the entertainment industry, there is no better place to go than Noisy, but he has no advantage at all. It only took less than a minute to go from the initial joy to the current loss. Wan Qian's face looked ashen. Although Xiao Yang couldn't see her expression clearly, he knew that his words were very heartbreaking. Xiao Yang glanced at the business card and frowned slightly. Wan Qian? He glanced at the woman in front of him, a little surprised. She knew the name Wan Qian, or rather, most young people of her age had heard of it to some extent. She was once the pride of Jiangdu and the first love goddess in the hearts of thousands of boys. She debuted at the age of 18 and became a national star with just one song. She has a pure and beautiful appearance. At the age of 20, she entered the film and television industry and became famous all over the country again with a costume drama, becoming a popular young actress. At that time, Xiao Yang was only 15 or 16 years old, a young girl in high school. Strictly speaking, Wan Qian is the first love goddess in his mind. My dormitory used to be covered with Wan Qian's posters. In the dead of night, when no one was around, I would do some strange things to the posters. But later, for some unknown reason, Wan Qian exposed several pieces of negative information in succession. Things like acting like a big shot, beating the supporting actress on the set, beating the director, etc. After that, he disappeared from the public eye. It has been 5 or 6 years. These 5 or 6 years are enough for the entertainment industry, which has a very fast metabolism, to go through several waves of idols. Naturally, Wan Qian also sank to the bottom of her heart. Xiao Yang raised his head and smiled. "When you're free, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Although I'm not interested in being a singer, there are some things I want to know." Wan Qian was stunned for a moment. She thought Xiao Yang had already refused, but now he offered to treat her to coffee. Suddenly her look brightened up again. She nodded repeatedly, feeling that her emotions were as exciting as a roller coaster. There is still a chance. Must get it. She secretly comforted herself. And seeing that Xiao Yang had already walked away, she hurriedly trotted after him. Chapter 220, Noisy Secrets. When Xiao Yang came to his car and opened the door, Wan Qian was also stunned for a moment. At this moment, she finally understood why Xiao Yang had no intention of becoming a star. People who can afford this kind of car must be from wealthy or noble families, and it is very likely that they really look down on careers like celebrities. Having been in the industry for a long time, Wan Qian is also very clear that in a big melting pot like the entertainment industry, there are only a few pure and innocent people, most of them the concubines of those group tycoons. She sighed, as if the hope that had just been ignited was extinguished by a basin of cold water. Xiao Yang didn't know she was thinking so much. He opened the car door and saw her in a daze. So he said, "Get in the car." Wan Qian nodded quickly and sat next to the passenger seat. Xiao Yang went straight to the nearest coffee shop. In the car, he also sent a message to Shang Xin to see if she was free to come over. "It just so happens that we can deal with these two things at once." Xiao Yang only knew that Shang Xin was from Jiangdu, but he didn't know what she looked like or who she was. But at least she has a beautiful voice, so it will definitely be a good deal if she signs with Xuanhuo. "Wan Qian, aren't you looking for a singer to save the world? I'll call in for you right away." In terms of professional level, Xiao Yang is naturally not as good as Shang Xin. He is very self-aware. Not to mention that he has no intention of entering the entertainment industry at all. Seeing Wan Qian's confusion, Xiao Yang smiled and said, "I'll take you to see someone. Maybe you'll be more interested in her." Wan Qian was slightly stunned and had to nod. She looked at Xiao Yang and felt that this boy was very special, but she couldn't tell what was special about him. Xiao Yang drove the car very steadily. While Wan Qian was looking at the interior of the car, beautiful women in luxury cars are not just boys' favorites. People like Wan Qian also like cars. She had bought many luxury cars privately, but after her family fell into poverty, this interest gradually disappeared. Suddenly she saw a long skirt on the backseat of the car, as if it had been thrown away casually. Next to the car, there is a bottle of exquisite makeup remover. This is? She took one look at the long skirt and felt that it was somewhat familiar. Why did she seem to have seen this skirt before? After comparing them in my mind, my eyes widened immediately. Then look into Xiaoyang's eyes. Yes, the eyes are exactly the same. If you cover half of your face with a mask, I wipe. So, the girl he took a photo of when he first entered the school was him. Xiaoyang. Wan Qian gasped, suddenly, as if she had discovered something incredible. But Xiaoyang didn't notice this detail at all and just concentrated on driving. Normal. Some boys just like to cosplay, and in their circle there is a title called cross-dressing guy. Well, it's normal. Dear, Xiaoyang said slowly, it's quite stuffy inside the car. Why don't you take off the things on your face? It's so dark now. Can you see the road clearly wearing such dark sunglasses? Wan Qian thought about it and agreed. She wrapped herself so tightly because she was afraid of being recognized. There were only her and Xiaoyang in the car, and she had already shown the business card to Xiaoyang, so it didn't matter. Taking off the sunglasses and the mask, the extremely delicate and beautiful face was suddenly exposed to the air. Red light. Xiaoyang's car stopped, he turned his head away, and was stunned. Different from the pure and beautiful girl on the screen at that time. Or perhaps with the passage of time, Wan Qian has a more mature woman's flavor, but that face is still as delicate and beautiful as before. Apart from that, the extra femininity combined with the word pure creates an indescribable feeling, and this feeling is called heartbeat. In terms of appearance, Zhang Yan and Lin Qiyu are not inferior to Wan Qian. But this kind of femininity and maturity is something that Lin Qiyu and Zhang Yan do not have. Xiaoyang couldn't help but feel his heart beating a little faster. She is worthy of being the first love goddess. He let out a long sigh. But although he was moved, he did not have any improper thoughts. He already had 2 wives at home, and if he had more, they could play Ochhorn together. In his mind, Xiaoyang couldn't help but imagine Wan Qian as the costume film that made Wan Qian famous. The feeling now was like the temperament of the heroine after surviving a disaster and going through hardships. I don't know what she went through during the years she disappeared from the entertainment industry. When they arrived at the place, Wan Qian put on the mask again. The two got out of the car, and Xiaoyang checked into an elegant private room. Come to think of it, I was your fan back then. After sitting down, Xiaoyang spoke with a smile. Really? Wan Qian was a little surprised. But it's nothing when I think about it. I had so many fans at the beginning and was called the first love of 900 million young people. So what, I still ended up like this. Yes, I really like your light rock song, Gentle You. It's still in my playlist and I take it out to listen to it whenever I have nothing to do, Xiaoyang said with a smile. By the way, I haven't seen you on the screen in many years. What happened? Xiaoyang frowned slightly, took a sip of coffee, and asked softly. Wan Qian's expression suddenly changed. As if she didn't like talking about this past event? And she refused directly. I'm sorry, I don't want to answer this question. But I want to know this question. Xiaoyang did not avoid the subject in a gentlemanly manner, but instead pressed the issue directly. I really want to know what happened to make the once popular noise music company fall into its current state overnight. Back then, Xuanhua Music Company was one of the best in the country. And the company had countless popular singers. I remember that the singer Dong Yan, who is still active in the first tier, was originally from Xuanhua. And so was Lin Hang. It should be at the same time that these singers all left the entertainment industry at the same time. And you also began to fade out of the entertainment industry during that time. What happened during that time to make the noise become what it is now? When the voice fell, Wan Qian was stunned for a moment. Obviously, she didn't want to recall these things when she heard Xiaoyang's words. Her brows furrowed even more. I'm sorry, I can't comment on these matters. If you are interested in our noise and want to become our singer, I welcome you very much, but there are some secrets about the company that I cannot tell you. After saying this, Wan Qian's face turned cold. Xiaoyang stood aside and just smiled. System, manifest. Xiaoyang just reached out casually, and a document appeared in his hand. He put the document on the table and said slowly, No, you have to tell me. I have to know the reasons why the company went downhill. This is the only way I can solve these problems and become a competent boss. Otherwise, wouldn't all this money be wasted? Wan Qian looked at the documents on the table and was slightly stunned. What's the meaning? Xiaoyang just pointed at the document. You can take a look. The latter picked up the document, glanced at it, and was immediately stunned. Boss? Chapter 221 Jingliu Entertainment. Wan Qian's surprised expression did not fade away for a long time. More than 10 seconds passed quietly before she could fully react. The young man in front of him, a sophomore student who was only 20 years old, was actually his boss? The mysterious person who spent hundreds of millions of yuan to buy the company. In fact, Wan Qian had also heard about the auction dinner. She only knew that her company was successfully sold. But she didn't know that the boss was so young. A sophomore student. The most important thing is, he actually wants to poach his boss to be an artist in the company. What the hell? My head hurts. She rubbed her temples and sat in the chair, thinking over and over again but still couldn't understand what had happened. She picked up the coffee and wanted to take a sip, but put it down again just as she was about to pick it up. She stared at the boy in front of her blankly. Are you really the mysterious person who acquired our company? Yes. Xiao Yang glanced at the documents on the table. There is no problem with the document. It is the company's transfer document with my personal signature on it. And it is legally binding. And there is also Xiao Yang's signature on it. Therefore, there is no doubt that Xiao Yang is the real boss of Xuanhua Music Company. Wan Qian took a long time to calm down, and then she realized that it was impossible to recruit Xiao Yang as an artist. Which boss would be so idle as to show up in public himself? Although celebrity artists are considered a high-end industry in the eyes of the general public, in the eyes of truly powerful people, this industry is more like a big melting pot of all kinds of people. All those wealthy people jokingly call some celebrities actors, and treat them as their own harem. It's really clean, and it's not even the entertainment industry's turn. Okay, since that's the case, I won't hide anything. Wan Qian thought about it and went straight to the point. It was obviously impossible to fool Xiao Yang using the same tricks again. I don't understand, a music company like ours is already in its sunset years. Why would you acquire it at such a high price? Wan Qian asked. Since she had bought it, and at a considerable price, she knew that Xiao Yang had probably investigated it thoroughly. There was no need to sugarcoat it anymore. It would be better to speak frankly. And you don't have to worry about it. Xiao Yang naturally couldn't say that this was a task from the system, and that he had taken it down out of spite with Fang Jingyang. He smiled and continued, come to think of it, I've also read the information. If the company is acquired, the artist contracts of the company will also be included. But you are not included in these artist contracts, right? That is to say, strictly speaking, you are no longer considered a noisy person. The words fell. Wan Qian was stunned for a moment, and frowned and asked, do you want to fire me? No, what I mean is, after all, the noisy future has nothing to do with you. Why would you spend time on it and want to recruit me into the company? Normally, you are already a free man, and the hundreds of millions of funds you got from selling the company are enough for you to start a new business. Xiao Yang said bluntly. How could it have nothing to do with me? Wan Qian shook her head subconsciously. This made Xiao Yang even more confused. Wan Qian did not continue to speak, but stared at Xiao Yang and said, what about you? You still haven't told me why you spent so much money to buy Xuanhua? How can an employee question his boss? Xiao Yang smiled. No, you also said that, to be precise, I am not a noisy person anymore. And you are even less qualified. Wan Qian's face darkened. Okay, if I have to find a reason, it's that Miss Wan is my first love goddess. Is it okay to spend a lot of money to win her smile? Xiao Yang smiled. The latter was stunned, and a rare blush appeared on his face. But it was only a fleeting thought, and she didn't take Xiao Yang's casual words seriously. Do you think there is still a future for noise? She asked. Yes, Xiao Yang smiled slightly. Why? Because of me. Didn't you say you didn't want to be a singer? I didn't say I wanted to be a singer. Xiao Yang replied awkwardly, and continued, you don't think I can just buy a company for fun with so much money? That's true. Wan Qian felt relieved. In fact, she is now a free person just as Xiao Yang said. The company's package of artists for sale did not include her. After all, she was the original boss of the company. As for why he was already a free man but was still looking for a future for the company, and why he was trying so hard to poach Xiao Yang, it all started with his feelings for the company. Xuanhua was founded by Wan Qian's father. She has been working in the company since she was a child, and has deeper feelings for the company than anyone else. She even wants to witness the company's rise in her dreams. But there is still a certain gap between ideal and reality. She could no longer afford the salaries of the artists and the money needed for the daily operations of the company. She was already heavily in debt right up until the moment she sold the company. After deducting the overdue salaries of artists and staff members, Xiao Yang also received a large bank loan from the money he used to acquire the company. There was almost no money left for her. She has been able to hold on until now only because of her passion for the company, which is the only thing her father gave her. She doesn't want to see the noise disappear into the dust of history. So even though she was going to leave Xuanhua, she still wanted to find some useful help for Xuanhua. As long as she can see the business thriving and regaining its former glory, she feels that everything is worth it. She looked at Xiao Yang with a clear expression and slowly spoke of her feelings about the noise. Xiao Yang let out a long sigh. He didn't expect that Wan Qian had such deep feelings for this company. Don't worry, Xuanhua is here with you and me, so he won't fall so quickly. Having said that, Xiao Yang asked the previous question again. That is what happened. There was so much noise that led to the artists leaving and Won Keon being banned. Although he had only seen Won Keon on the screen, Xiao Yang also understood that those negative stories were probably fabricated. Everything happened at the same time period, which is absolutely impossible to be such a coincidence. There is only one problem, that is, someone is deliberately targeting the noise. After some questioning, Xiao Yang finally knew what Won Keon had experienced. It's Jingyu Entertainment, Won Keon sighed. Jingyu Entertainment. Xiao Yang was stunned. Jingyu Entertainment is the largest entertainment company in China. And we have offended them. Speaking of this, a trace of disgust flashed across Won Keon's face. Xiao Yang understood immediately. It seems that Won Keon didn't want to be contaminated by the dirty air in the entertainment industry. Which is why she ended up like this. Chapter 222 Won Keon's request. Jingyu Entertainment has been inviting me to join them, and has been trying to acquire Xuanhua to become their subsidiary. But I have rejected them all. Won Keon began to talk about the past. It can be seen that she was deeply resistant to this matter. And her brows were never relaxed while she spoke. Just because of this? Xiao Yang asked, puzzled. Lie. That's not the case. Jingyu Entertainment was filming a martial arts drama at the time and invited me to audition. That day, I met Liu Cg, the young master of Jingyu Entertainment. At the hotel he wanted me to. Won Keon took a long breath and continued. He wanted me to be his lover. I didn't agree and I escaped from the hotel under the pretext of making a phone call. The next day, an actress kept provoking me and came up to me to fight. I just pushed her lightly, and it was filmed and uploaded to the internet. You can find out what happened later on the internet. Won Keon frowned and continued. Those negative stories were basically fabricated. Later, Liu Cg contacted me again, with the same request as before. After I rejected him again, he contacted the media to ban me, and spent a lot of money to poach several pillars of our company. Jingyu Entertainment is too powerful. I have no ability to resist it all. She was a little helpless, and it was obvious that she had gone through a lot in the past few years and no longer had the arrogance she once had. He can ruin my future and my dream in the entertainment industry. But he can't ruin Xuanhua. That's the only thing my father left me. Won Keon suddenly widened her eyes and looked at Xiao Yang, feeling a little agitated. Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment. He could tell from Won Keon's expression how she felt about the noise. Xiao Yang picked up the coffee and asked in confusion. Then why did you sell Xuanhua again? Won Keon shook her head weakly at this moment. I no longer have the money to run Xuanhua. I can only gamble that the buyer can keep Xuanhua alive. She suddenly looked up at Xiao Yang. If possible, consider it as a plea from me. Help me manage the noise. Even if I can't restore the glory of Fang Nian, I won't let it just disappear from this world. After telling all these things, Won Keon herself didn't know whether it was good or bad. She looked at Xiao Yang's clear eyes. Anyone who has eyes like this must be a good person. She didn't know whether the boy in front of her, who was a few years younger than her, could help her, but there was no doubt that he was the only person who could help her. She was very afraid that Xiao Yang would shake his head in refuse. The noise is now considered Xiao Yang's personal property. With just one word from him, the noise will disappear from this world, and the only thing he cares about so much will be gone with the wind. Xiao Yang looked at Won Keon. He didn't expect that the woman in front of him would be so persistent. It was no problem for him that the noise wanted to continue to exist. With just a few artists and a brand that has been around for more than a decade, it is not difficult to keep it going. Only, Xiao Yang suddenly looked at Won Keon with a hint of amusement. You told me so much, have you ever thought about it? If I am like Liu Cg, I want to. There is no need to finish the words. But the meaning is obvious. Won Keon was stunned. She didn't expect Xiao Yang to say this. But it's not surprising. She is very aware of her own charm. If a man has no interest in her at all, then there may be something wrong with his sexual orientation. Only, she bit her red lips lightly and looked at Xiao Yang. Maybe it was because we talked too much just now, so he was very emotional and looked pitiful. If it were you, Won Keon hesitated. She recalled the time when she met Liu Cg in the hotel. At that time, I rejected the other person before he even finished speaking. Why are you hesitating now? She looked at Xiao Yang, who was just looking around. His clear face always gave people a sense of warmth. Xiao Yang laughed out loud. I'm just kidding, I have a girlfriend. Won Keon was stunned for a moment. She didn't dare think about it anymore. If Xiao Yang really made such a request, would he agree? Meeting. A bar. In fact, she was a little moved just now. A difference between Xiao Yang and Liu Cg was not just in appearance. Until now, she had not read any intention of possessing him for herself in Xiao Yang's eyes. She couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. After thinking for a while, she continued, Jingyu Entertainment is huge, but the entertainment industry is so small. In fact, I also think it is very difficult to restore Xuanhua to its former glory. My requirements are not high, I just hope that the noise can survive. She frowned slightly and spoke bluntly, giving Xiaoyang a shot of prevention first. Xiaoyang just nodded slightly and didn't say anything. Seeing this, Wan Qian had no choice but to continue. What I mean is, helping me might cause some trouble. She let out a long sigh, knowing that this was not an easy time. I'm not afraid of trouble, Xiaoyang suddenly smiled. After what happened with the Fang family, his fighting spirit increased significantly. Not to mention that Xuanhua is already linked to the system's tasks. Just the fact that this was bought with my own money. You can't spend so much money on a toy, right? Since it is already his. It is inevitable that he will do it well even if Wan Qian doesn't ask him to do it. He will still do it. However, Wan Qian didn't know that Xiaoyang had thought so much. She just looked at Xiaoyang straight and saw that there was no hesitation on his face. Instead, he looked a little more sharp. She didn't know why. But she felt very relieved. Having been in the circle for a long time, she has seen too many handsome boys. But this was the first time she had seen someone like Xiaoyang. His eyes and the space between his brows are like whirlpools that make people fall in love with them at first sight. This is a temperament and charm that cannot be described in words. Xiaoyang picked up the coffee and glanced outside the door, as if he was waiting for someone. After a moment, he turned around and said, "Speaking of it, the money in the entertainment industry should be easy to make. I've seen some celebrities evade hundreds of millions just by evading taxes." Wan Qian was stunned for a moment. I don't really understand the entertainment industry or how music companies operate. Didn't you say that this is the only thing your father left you? How about this: from now on, you will be in charge of the noise, and I will only be responsible for transferring the money. Xiaoyang thought for a long time. I really don't have many people on hand, so I might as well let Wan Qian do it herself given her feelings towards noise. I'm sure she won't do anything rash. As for how Xuanhua would expand his territory, he already had some ideas in mind, and he would just let Wan Qian implement them when the time came. After she finished speaking, Wan Qian was stunned for a moment. What do you mean by this? What I mean is, you are still Mr. What of Xuanhua? I can get money to Xuanhua to keep it operating, Xiaoyang said slowly. But I really like your image on the screen. Xiaoyang thought with his chin in his hand, and the image of Wan Qian on the screen, whose pure and beautiful appearance fascinated millions of boys, appeared in his mind. By the way, have you ever thought about returning to the entertainment industry? I'm not talking about management, but being an artist, Xiaoyang asked. Chapter 223, was he discovered by his employees wearing women's clothing? Return to the entertainment industry. Wan Qian was stunned. She had never thought about this question because she knew that under the pressure of Jingliu Entertainment, it would be extremely difficult for her to return to the entertainment industry. In such a large circle, it is no exaggeration to say that Jingliu Entertainment has everything under one hand. But when Xiaoyang asked this, she didn't know how to answer. Do you want to return to the entertainment industry? Certainly. Wan Qian has always been a proud person and never admits defeat. This is also the reason why she was unwilling to agree to be Liu Ciji's lover, and why she has been able to hold on until now. She really wanted to get up again. Stand at the top of this circle, tell those who slandered her that she had never given up, and tell them that she would stand up where she fell. But it is so difficult to accomplish these things. She looked at Xiaoyang in front of her, not knowing how to answer. You say do, even in my dreams? But what's the use of that? Even though she said she didn't want to, this was another chance for her. She didn't know what this young man could bring to Xuanhua. Nor did she know what he could bring to herself looking at Xiaoyang's clear eyes. She was confused. Xiaoyang could also tell what Wan Qian was thinking from the expression on her face. But he was just asking, he didn't know what the future would be like. Let's give it a try, Xiaoyang said it casually. Just these words created ripples in Wan Qian's heart. As if these words were a life-saving straw, saving her. Just then, there was a gentle knock outside the private room door. Chang Xian was standing outside the door at this moment, feeling extremely nervous. She didn't know what Mr. Yang looked like, nor did she know what Mr. Yang's real purpose was. After giving so much money in tips, do you really just admire her talent and want to sign her and make her an artist? It sounds like a fairy tale to tell others about this. Could it be an old man, a greasy middle-aged uncle? Could he have any bad thoughts at this late hour? She didn't know any of this. After taking a long breath and calming down, Chang Xian knocked on the door of the private room. Come in. The voice that came was that of a young man. It sounded even more favorable. Chang Xian's expression brightened and he quickly pushed the door open. What caught my eye was a man and a woman. The men are handsome and the women are stunning. Chang Xian was stunned for a moment, and asked with a hint of doubt. Is it Mr. Yang? Thriving, right? Yes, that's it, Xiao Yang said with a smile. A girl in front of him looked familiar. He felt as if he had seen her somewhere before. However, Xiao Yang couldn't remember who she was for a while because she was wearing a mask. Chang Xian felt the same way. She felt that Xiao Yang looked familiar. But she couldn't remember where she had seen him. She nodded at Xiao Yang and Wan Qian. And sat aside feeling uneasy. Xiao Yang smiled and said, "Take off your mask there. No one else here. I've been listening to you singing online for so long. But I've never met you in person." Chang Xian bit her lip lightly. But she didn't expect that President Yang was so young. About the same age as her. The most important thing is handsome. He has a pretty face and clear eyes. She couldn't help but think of the topic she and Xiao Yi had joked about in private. Her face suddenly turned red and she took off her mask. At this moment, Wan Qian's expression suddenly brightened. And Xiao Yang was also greatly surprised. "It's you." Xiao Yang blurted out two words. Chang Xian looked at Xiao Yang with confusion. Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment, then quickly smiled and said, it's okay, I saw it wrong. I didn't expect you to sing so well and be so beautiful." Xiao Yang suddenly remembered, isn't this the girl he bumped into that day? If I remember correctly, he was wearing women's clothing at that time. It's better not to let her remember it. Xiao Yang quickly turned his head and said to Wan Qian, "Haven't you always wanted to find someone who can say Xuanhua? She's coming." Chang Xian didn't understand anything at this time and just nodded, wouldn't lie. It was Wan Qian who heard what Xiao Yang said and looked at Chang Xian again. It has a good image, but, she hesitated and did not say anything final. Xiao Yang took out his phone slowly. Just look at the song she sang during the live broadcast. And you will know. When Wan Qian heard Xiao Yang say this, she quickly took the phone. This is a recorded video of Chang Xian singing live. Wan Qian clicked on it, and a beautiful melody immediately came into her ears. Chang Xian on the side had a flushed face. It was the first time she heard someone play her song in front of her. And she was a little at a loss for a moment. She glanced at Wan Qian, then looked at her a few more times. Suddenly she covered her mouth to stop herself from screaming. Wan Qian. Speaking of which, Chang Xian's idol has always been Wan Qian. Wan Qian is not only the dream of thousands of boys. She also has a large number of female fans. It can be said that from her appearance to her strength, she has won over men, women, young and old, and she once led the trend of a small era. Chang Xian never expected that she would see her idol in a small private room in a coffee shop. The most important thing was that the other party was listening to her singing very seriously. She immediately became excited. She looked anxiously at Wan Qian, who was listening to the song attentively and was extremely nervous. Instead, Xiao Yang sat next to Chang Xian and slowly said, "From your appearance, you are still a student, right?" "Yes, I'm a student at Chengdu Conservatory of Music. And I'm now a junior," Chang Xian replied quickly. Xiao Yang nodded thoughtfully and continued. "I told you why I came before. I wanted to sign you to become a singer. This person, Wan Qian, I think you should know she is the head of Xuanhua Music Company. As for you, I want you to sign a contract with Xuanhua. If you have any ideas, you can tell me directly now." "Idea? Yes, you are probably aware of your ability. Xuanhua is currently at a low point, and there are many music companies offering you options. You can think it over carefully before deciding whether to agree to my offer or not." Although Xiao Yang also wanted to complete the system's task, he also didn't want to deceive Chang Xian by saying something like Xuanhua had great potential. It all depended on what Chang Xian himself thought. After the words fell, Chang Xian looked up at Xiao Yang and said, "Is Xuanhua Mr. Yang's company?" "It's my company. And I'll sign up for the noise. Won't you consider it again?" Xiao Yang asked in surprise. Chang Xian shook her head, her eyes full of trust in Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang smiled immediately. This was the best. He stretched out his hand and said, "By the way, I've always called you Xian. What is your name?" Chang Xian shyly held Xiao Yang's hand. "My name is Chang Xian. It's a nice name. You don't have to call me Mr. Yang all the time. Just call me Xiao Yang." "Xiao Yang?" Chang Xian was stunned. Suddenly several figures appeared in my mind. She stood up immediately. "Xiao Yang." Seeing Chang Xian's expression, Xiao Yang's mouth twitched suddenly. "It's over, the truth is out. I seem to have told Chang Xian that my name was Xiao Yang when I was dressed as a woman. And she even enthusiastically called me Sister Xiao Yang. So you discovered by your employees that you were wearing women's clothing? The society is dead. Chapter 224 is over, and I am even more moved." Chang Xian looked at Xiao Yang, her face full of joy. This actually made Xiao Yang's scalp tingle. "No way, girl, stop looking at me. If you keep looking at me, I will dig a hole and bury myself in it." He felt more and more that Chang Xian's eyes were a little strange. It felt like admiring yourself. Just like the girl with long legs who pressed herself against the wall? But it be that she also has an obsessive love for cross-dressing men? Xiao Yang was shocked. Chang Xian quickly took out her phone and flipped through it. Found it. She quickly walked in front of Xiao Yang with her cell phone in hand. Xiao Yang's face was full of bitterness. Could it be that he was photographed wearing women's clothes that day? This Nima. But soon, a melodious melody came from the phone. Sunny day. Xiao Yang frowned slightly. But it doesn't sound like the song I sang when I confessed my love yesterday. Looking again, I saw myself playing and singing on a guitar on a crowded street. This was when I first played and sang Sunny Day in JM City. Xiao Yang was a little surprised. This must be President Yang. Chang Xian said in disbelief. It's me, Xiao Yang nodded. At this moment, Chang Xian was already filled with surprises. As early as the first time she heard the song Sunny Day, and saw the video, she had already had an infinite liking for the boy who played and sang Sunny Day. She has listened to this song over and over again hundreds and thousands of times. But she has never gotten tired of it. Instead, the owner of this voice gives her endless imagination. And now, this boy was right in front of him. Not only that, he is his own boss. It was Mr. Yang who rewarded him with a gift worth hundreds of millions. Chang Xian was still a teenager, and she had read many novels about overbearing presidents falling in love with her. And those modern urban idol dramas and TV dramas also had these routines and plots. She had always thought that those plots only existed in novels and could only be presented on the screen. But now, it became a living reality. This handsome and talented young president is right in front of him. Chang Xian's heart suddenly started beating fast. She was at the age when she loved to fantasize. And she felt like a little girl, feeling a little at a loss. Xiao Yang, on the other hand, was bewildered. He just felt that Chang Xian, this girl, a little shy. That's all. Little did people know that Chang Xian had almost thought of a name for the child. On this side, after listening to several songs sung by Chang Xian, Wan Qian was already greatly surprised. She turned around and looked at the somewhat shy girl. These songs, how do you sing them? She was indeed shocked. Among the songs sung in the live broadcast, there are those sung in a deep and lyrical voice. And there are also those sung in a loud and angry voice. Generally speaking, every singer has his or her own strengths and weaknesses. But for Chang Xian, both the high and low notes are perfect. She can actually control it. Coupled with the beautiful voice and appearance, it is almost flawless. Of course, his skills may not be as mature as those of veteran singers, and may be a little immature, but this is enough for a new singer. She finally understood why Xiao Yang said that she was the one who could save Xuanhua. This is a sound that can completely destroy the world. Wan Qian looked enthusiastic, as if she had already seen this future superstar who would rise in the music industry. There is no doubt about her ability. You can tell from her that she didn't adjust or tweak the sound during the entire performance. It's pure strength. The most important thing in modern times is appearance. And there is no need to worry, because Chang Xian's appearance is no less than any leading actress, and may even be better. But this shy face, she is definitely the new generation of pure goddess, just like myself back then. The pure and innocent top board is gone. How is it? Xiao Yang asked. Amazing, these were the only two words Wan Qian could say. Chang Xian, let me tell you one last thing with your qualifications. You are qualified enough to join some bigger companies. Our Xuanhua is currently in a trough. Are you really willing to join us? Xiao Yang turned around and looked at Chang Xian. I do. Chang Xian seemed not to have thought about it at all. She just stared at Xiao Yang with a slightly red face. It was as if she was not agreeing to sign the contract, but rather as if she was in a holy cathedral and a priest was asking, "Are you willing to marry Xiao Yang?" Her heart was pounding. Is this love? The girl thought simply. Xiao Yang didn't know that Chang Xian had so much drama in her mind. So he said slowly, "Then we welcome you on behalf of Xuanhua." Wan Qian, sign Chang Xian with the highest artist contract standard in the market. You don't have to worry about the salary, just tell me how much you need. Wan Qian nodded, although she was a little surprised that Xiao Yang would give such high treatment to a newcomer. She didn't have any objections after all. Xiao Yang was the boss now. Chang Xian said somewhat uncomfortably, "Boss Yang, this isn't good. I'm just a newcomer." Seeing Chang Xian's little girl's look, Xiao Yang couldn't help but laugh. "But you have the potential to become a superstar. Come on. This is a task chosen by the system, and Xiao Yang also believes that there must be nothing wrong with the system's vision. Okay, it's getting late, let me take you home." Xiao Yang stood up. The two girls stood up at the same time. After leaving the private room, both of them put on masks at the same time. From now on, you will handle the contract signing matters yourself. Wan Qian. Good. By the way, boss, did you write the lyrics and music for Sunny Day and Secret yourself? Wan Qian suddenly asked. I guess so. Xiao Yang could only nod. He couldn't make up a Jaichu. Won Qian was suddenly surprised. She originally thought that Xiao Yang was just a good singer. But now she heard that he could also write lyrics and compose music. This is so awesome. He is rich, talented, and handsome. He is simply the Prince Charming in my mind. Shang Xian, on the other hand, looked confused. Sunny day she knew. A secret that cannot be told? However, Shang Xian was too embarrassed to ask. So she could only follow Xiao Yang closely, keeping her head down as usual. Shang Xian, did you drive here? Xiao Yang suddenly asked. No, I can't drive. And I'll take you back, Won Qian. Your car is still parked at the University of Finance and Economics. Right? The two nodded. When he arrived at the car, Shang Xian was stunned. This car. Seemingly familiar. Etc. Was this car wrecked? Xiao Yang didn't notice Shang Xian's expression. Or maybe he was too insensitive to expect this. Shang Xian got in the car and sat in the back seat. A long skirt caught my eye. Look at the interior of the car. It's exactly the same car as the one driven by Sister Xiao Yang before. This long skirt and Xiao Yang's height and figure. WTF, Shang Xian was shocked. Sister Xiao Yang. My idol. Is it the same person? She covered her mouth, not daring to make a sound, secretly moving the long skirt and cosmetics aside. Shang Xian was petrified. This is the secret that cannot be told? Mr. Yang still has this hobby. The corner of her mouth twitched. And the image of Sister Xiao Yang, that day appeared in her mind. Sister Xiao Yang is so cool and awesome. What to do? Both men and women want it. Shang Xian's throat moved slightly and she swallowed. It's over, I'm even more excited. Chapter 225, First Love ends before it even begins. Won Qian naturally sat in the back seat. She needed to have a good chat with Shang Xian after all. It was now obvious that Shang Xian was expected to become a rising star. The two added each other on WeChat and left their phone numbers. Won Qian then asked, by the way, how did you get to know Xiao Yang? She secretly glanced at Xiao Yang, wanting to see how he would react. It's okay for her to call Xiao Yang Mr. Xiao, but it seems that Xiao Yang is not the kind of person who is so particular about titles. Sure enough, seeing that Xiao Yang didn't react, Won Qian finally felt relieved. Mr. Yang, Shang Xian thought for a moment. Where should I start? At this time Xiao Yang was not used to this title, and just said casually, just call me Xiao Yang. Shang Xian nodded. Somewhat happy. Wouldn't it be closer if we call him Xiao Yang? She glanced at Xiao Yang who was concentrating on driving. Seeing his face reflected in the rearview mirror, Shang Xian became more and more satisfied. After hesitating, she slowly said, I am actually a live streamer on the Funny Cats platform. Coincidentally, the day after my live broadcast, Mr. Yang, Xiao Yang appeared in my live broadcast at that time. I was not very popular. Later, Xiao Yang kept giving me tips during the live broadcast. At this point, Shang Xian glanced at Xiao Yang and bit her red lips and said, to sum up, he should have given me more than 150 million. After she finished speaking, Won Qian was stunned. 150 million. Shang Xian nodded slightly. Won Qian quickly held her chin to avoid being startled. 150 million. Give a tip to the female anchor? This is too wasteful. However, Xiao Yang heard the conversation between the two and smiled. You can see it too. It's worth the money. Xin singing is worth the price. Hearing Xiao Yang's words, Shang Xian suddenly felt a little shy. Logically speaking, the most disrespectful thing to do is to put a price on something. If someone came up to her right now and said, is this song of yours worth 1,000 or 10,000? Shang Xian would probably slap him hard and call him a psycho. But 150 million. That's completely different. Won Qian thought for a moment. Then suddenly leaned forward and said, what about me? How much is my song worth? Give me a price. Xiao Yang was also amused by Won Qian's funny behavior. You are my employee now, your salary, your price? And I want the best and highest artist contract. Won Qian took it. Have you thought it through? Xiao Yang suddenly said. Won Qian was stunned for a moment. She understood what he meant. If she signed an artist contract, it would mean that she would return to the entertainment industry. But returning to the entertainment industry is not a matter of a single word. But it depends on the attitude and work you bring with you when you return to the entertainment industry. Won Qian didn't think it through, so she just waved her hand and slumped in the back seat, looking into the distance. Shang Xian thought about it and suddenly said to Won Qian, you and Xiao Yang. I'm his employee. Won Qian knew what Shang Xian was thinking and responded directly. Shang Xian felt relieved immediately. She had initially thought that Xiao Yang and Won Qian were a couple. If they were not, then she still had a chance. Xiao Yang. General Yang. These two people turned out to be the same person. So wonderful. Zhang Xian's mouth corners slightly raised. Wan Qian seemed to have noticed something after thinking about it. She let out a long sigh. Poor girl's heart. By the way, have you seen the video of Xiao Yang confessing his love by singing? Ah? Zhang Xian was stunned. Confession? Yes. Wan Qian took out her mobile phone, opened the small broken station, and played the videos in her collection. The number of views is quite high, already over 400. Wan Qian said with some surprise. Xiao Yang didn't turn around, but asked curiously, what is it? Your confession video. Xiao Yang frowned slightly, but said nothing more. In the video, Xiao Yang was holding a microphone and making a passionate confession in the crowd. Zhang Xian, who was standing aside, was petrified. Xiao Yang. There is someone I like. No, actually when he sang Sunny Day, in JM City, he already had a girlfriend. She knew this but she actually forgot about it for a moment. After all, who would have thought that President Yang and Xiao Yang were the same person? Zhang Xian bit her lips lightly with her little canine teeth. And her nose felt a little sour. Lingqiu, I like you. A voice came. Zhang Xian suddenly felt very envious of this girl named Lingqiu. When she heard the song Sunny Day again, she suddenly understood. Lingqiu was Xiao Yang's girlfriend when he sang Sunny Day, in JM City. And this song was written for her. I have heard of Sunny Day many times. Zhang Xian said softly. It's okay, there's another song later. Wan Qian glanced at Zhang Xian and knew what she was thinking. There's nothing I can do, I can only blame you for meeting me too late. And I. Too old. Wan Qian sighed. How the hell am I already 25? At 20, maybe there would be a chance to poach someone else. A secret that cannot be told. Zhang Xian silently recited the title of the song in her mind. After a while, Xiao Yang's singing voice rose. Her expression brightened slightly. I now have a secret that I cannot tell. That means that my first love ended before it even began. I don't know if it was because Xiao Yang sang so beautifully, or because the confession scene was too tear-jerking, but Zhang Xian's eyes suddenly became red and tears rolled down. Wan Qian suddenly frowned and said slowly, Xian's voice and musical skills are all good. But, just what? Xiao Yang asked. Wan Qian couldn't help but sigh and continued. Too many people have left our company's arrangement department. Now there are only a few arrangers, although Xian has mastered many skills. I'm afraid they can't come up with any great songs for Xian to debut successfully. It's not easy to become famous overnight. There are many talented singers and many good-looking singers in this circle. Although Zhang Xian excels in these two aspects, the most critical question comes. Where does the song come from? The album or single released upon debut is the most critical. It would be best if it becomes a hit, but if it fails, it will probably have a great impact on the future. If it were a big company with a huge composing team, it wouldn't be difficult to release a few songs, but with Xuan who has current strength, comfort is worrying. Song, right? Xiao Yang thought about it. Let me try. You, Wan Qian and Zhang Xian were both stunned. Don't you think I have a talent for writing lyrics and composing music? Xiao Yang said jokingly. The two of them looked slightly brighter. Sunny Day and Secret are both extremely excellent works. Being able to write such a song, how could Xiao Yang not understand music? If you can write a song of the same quality as Sunny Day, then it is basically inevitable that you will become an instant hit. Xiao Yang didn't think this was a problem. I have only extracted one song from the music library. And there are still 9 songs, which are enough for Zhang Xian to make her debut. Soon, Xiao Yang drove the car to the University of Finance and Economics. Wan Qian got out of the car and parked it here. Xiao Yang just needed to send her there. Where do you live now? Xiao Yang asked. University East Road. Zhang Xian said the place name with a choked voice. Xiao Yang smiled and said, Why, you can cry when you listen to my songs. Zhang Xian sobbed violently. Yes, because the girl who confessed her love in the video was not me. It was not far from where Zhang Xian lived, near the university town. Zhang Xian still sat upright, silently took out her mobile phone, and found the video of Xiao Yang's confession. Click to open. Although it's sour, the way he sings is so nice. Woo, I'm addicted. Zhang Xian cried while listening. Xiao Yang stopped the car and glanced at Zhang Xian, his face full of confusion. Is it so touching that it's just a confession video? Chapter 226. My evaluation is, Perfect Male God. Return home. As soon as I entered the door, Xiao Yi came up to me. She had been waiting for Zhang Xian to come back. In just a blink of an eye, Zhang Xian's eyes turned slightly red and she looked depressed. What's wrong? Did Mr. Yang bully you? Xiao Yi asked quickly. Zhang Xian shook her head. Boss Yang is a greasy old man. Short, fat and ugly? Zhang Xian shook her head again and again. Then why are you crying? Is it because you didn't sign with Mr. Chang Yang's music company? Zhang Xian just said nothing. Then sat on the sofa, put on headphones and continued listening to music. Then, as she listened, she started crying again. This made Xiao Yi look confused. What on earth happened that made her cry so miserably? Broken heart. The 3 words just fell. This time, Zhang Xian did not shake her head. Instead, she hugged Xiao Yi and said, "Wow, my first love hasn't even begun, and it's over. Woo. First love? When did you have your first love? Why didn't I know you?" Xiao Yi looked confused. It's President Yang. Mr. Yang." Xiao Yi was shocked. "It's only been a short time and I've already fallen in love with Mr.